reborn into an abusive man's body. As I opened my eyes, I found my wife holding a knife, stabbing towards me. Without much thought, I quickly rolled off the ground and shouted, "Stop!" Early evening. After dinner, Nai, who had been playing all day, couldn't stop her sleepiness, and her little head went down a little bit from time to time. Just like that, she still fought hard and insisted on hearing Guxingyi tell her a bedtime story before she drifted off to sleep. Guxingyi smiled, covered the little one with the quilt, kissed her forehead, and tiptoed to the living room. It was now just 7 o'clock in the evening. Guxingyi had been pondering what kind of song to prepare for Xia Shirya for the past 2 days, only so far he had no clue. There were so many songs in the original world that he had to cut through them all at once, and on Xia Shirya's side, there didn't seem to be any movement coming back from her arrival at Sound and Sea Entertainment. Guxingyi thought for a moment and still had no clue, so he opened Douyin and prepared to brush the video for a while before going to bed. The heat of "As Long As It's Ordinary" on the internet still hadn't dissipated, and Guxingyi swiped 3 or 4 of them to basically get a related video. Many netizens exclaimed that after listening to Xingyao's songs, their ears couldn't tolerate any other songs, and they even formed their own Xingyao fan support club, with their avatars being little Nai's expressions when she sang about her courageous outbursts. Guxingyi then realized, I do not know when, they actually frame by frame will be small Nai's expression made into an emoticon, and the use of "not happy." Luckily, most of the netizens' focus was on Xingyao, and only a small number of mom fans and kid fans were fans of Nai, or else the little guy would have to wear a mask when he went out in the future, and that would be troublesome. Aside from the heat, as long as it's plain, the hottest topic on the internet right now is the upcoming Star Song Exchange. Once a year the Star Song Exchange, every time there can be 1 or 2 singers that burst into flames, which makes a lot of people have been talking about it, and the fans of the singers who participate in this Star Song Exchange are even more actively pulling votes for their own little master. Previous Star Song Hui is in the form of a full live broadcast, a total of 4 famous veteran mentors to vote. There is no vote tie, because there is still a vote, will be voted by the majority of netizens in real time. This also allows the audience to participate directly full. Sometimes the audience in the hands of a vote will directly determine the contestants stay or go. The schedule of the Star Song Festival is also very simple, a total of 16 contestants to participate in, 2 against 2, draw lots to determine the opponent, no resurrection match, the winner advances, the loser eliminated. The winner advances and the loser is eliminated. It's cruel and realistic. Until the top 4, still draw lots 2 against 2, the winner advances to the final, the loser can only compete for 3 or 4. Only the final will compete in 3 matches, by the organizers to provide song keywords, singers with keywords to come up with the corresponding original songs, to compete. It is worth mentioning that in the second game of the final, guests can also be invited to help sing. This is not only a test of the contestant's own play, but also a test of the ability of the lyricist behind the contestant, as well as their connections. That's why after every Star Song Festival, many popular original songs would appear online, which greatly satisfied the ears of the majority of netizens. Guxingyi just looked at it for a moment and then scratched it. The reason why he knew so much about it was entirely because of the original owner's memories. There were not many people who mixed with the entertainment industry who didn't know about the Star Song Exchange. But now Guxingyi is not very interested in this. Guxingyi then continuously scratched many times and realized that this big data was really outrageous. He had just stopped by for a while, and now all that was being pushed to him were videos of Pingfan and Star Song Exchange. Guxingyi, who was tired of swiping, could only turn his cell phone off and gently return to his bedroom. Sleep. Tomorrow also have to go out to walk the baby. Early the next morning, Guxingyi was woken up by the ringing of the phone, and beside him, little Nai had long since woken up, and was counting her eyelashes with her big black eyes open. But the little guy will only count to 50 now, and every time he finishes counting 50, he starts counting again from 1. I don't know how long the little one has been playing. Guxingyi only saw that she was having fun. Patting Nai's little head, Guxingyi copied his cell phone in his hand, and the incoming call displayed on it was actually that little girl Tao Lele. Hello? It's early in the morning, what are you doing? Guxingyi yawned and asked. Hello? Guxingyi. You quickly control Sister Shiryao. She's bewitched. From last night until now, she hasn't slept. Telua Lele whispered as if she was a thief. She was making this call to Guxingyi behind Xia Shiryao's back. What happened? Guxingyi frowned. Why is this person so uncaring of his body? He took the trouble to just put on a bit of weight. Don't lose it back again. Sister Shiryao participated in the Star Song Festival, but we don't have a song. Sister Shiryao has been possessed in order to create a song out of it. Guxingyi scratched his head. He didn't expect that Xia Shiryao was going to participate in the competition only a few days after this. Originally, inside the Treaty of Cooperation with Soundsea Entertainment, it was that he would write a song for her. This was indeed his own negligence. He was still thinking of a song here for a long time, but it turned out that side was already on fire. Got it. I'll give her a call, Lele. Thank you for helping me take care of her too. Shay, who helped you? It's only natural for me to take care of Sister Shioyo. Okay, let's not talk about it. Sister Shioyo is out. Taluolo was busy hanging up the phone, and glanced at Xia Shiyao somewhat as a thief. Fortunately, Xia Shiyao hadn't slept for a night. Her spirit was very poor at this time, and didn't notice her small action. Xia Shiyao was very irritated now. She felt she was about to catch that melody, but every time she was a little bit short. She didn't understand where the shortfall was, so naturally her mood wasn't very good. Also at this time, Gu Xingyi's phone call came in. Xia Shiyao was busy gathering her mood and picked up the phone. Hello? Is it Nai Nai who missed me? Can't I call you if Nai Nai didn't miss you? I'm your husband. Gu Xingyi's voice came from the phone. Xia Shiyao blushed slightly. This was the first time Gu Xingyi called himself her husband. Xia Shiyao didn't reply, and for a moment both of them were a bit silent. After a while, Gu Xingyi's sighing voice came from the phone. Why didn't you tell me when you participated in the Star Song exchange? Things that can be easily solved. Why tire yourself out so much? Really boil the body, Nai Nai, how sad? Gu Xingyi said helplessly. In his opinion, this is obviously something that can be easily accomplished. Xia Shiyao could have told him directly, but she just didn't say anything. Xia Shiyao had stayed up all night. Her spirit was already on the verge of collapse, and now that she heard Gu Xingyi's asking this, Xia Shiyao felt like he was questioning herself. She suddenly felt a great aggression hit her heart. She subconsciously bit her lip, a hint of stubbornness flashed across her face, and tears gradually filled her eyes. Xia Shiyao did not speak. She was afraid that her voice would reveal her current state. She didn't want him to see her embarrassing side. Gu Xingyi couldn't see her expression and subconsciously frowned. A moment later, he suddenly heard sobbing over there. She was crying? What had happened? Gu Xingyi just felt outrageous, and he didn't seem to have said anything? Big head. This emotion thing. It's kind of hard to get Hey, what are you crying for? Still not holding back herself, Xia Shiyao felt so useless. Gu Xingyi. Xia Shiyao spoke out with a crying voice. Her voice was loud, and in Gu Xingyi's ears there was some hint of annoyance. Gu Xingyi was stunned. It was the first time he heard Xia Shiyao talking to him like this. With a trilling voice and full of aggression, he suddenly could think of her little expression right now. Xia Shiyao pursed her small lips, tears still in her eyes. She also realized that she was out of line. It was just that there were some words that she didn't say. She was so uncomfortable in her heart. Gu Xingyi, do you think I'm not useful at all and will only rely on you? I don't want to be like this. I'm sorry. I'm not blaming you. I'm just worried about your body. Forgetting about the matter of writing a song was indeed my negligence. So she was thinking about this? His own words just now were indeed somewhat problematic. Gu Xingyi reacted with hindsight, and busily said with a compensatory smile. Before Xia Shiyao finished her words, she was interrupted by Gu Xingyi. Over there he laughed surprisingly somewhat happily. He was so aggrieved. He couldn't even see it, but he still laughed. Xia Shiyao was even more aggravated. After she met young Qianlin, she suddenly felt that she was useless compared to her. That imperial lady had a body, a temperament, and a good talent, and from her eyes, Xia Shiyao saw her appreciation for Gu Xingyi. While Xia Shiyao was rambling, on the phone, Gu Xingyi's voice continued to come through. But Xia Shiyao, I really want to crack open your little head to see what's inside. For me, you and Nai Nai are the best gifts from heaven. Don't get any ideas. I'm telling you seriously, you, Xia Shiyao, are my wife, unique, no one can replace her. Gu Xingyi said loudly. His voice was so firm. From the moment he came to this home and was accepted by Xia Shiyao and Nai Nai, they were a family. There was nothing in a family about who depended on who, there was only holding each other up. Xia Shiyao was shocked by Gu Xingyi's words. She didn't expect him to say this. What wife, what unique. These words made Xia Shiyao's originally rosy pretty face instantly red. Her big watery eyes flashed with crystal light. It was the first time she had heard such domineering love words from him. Xia Shiyao softly hummed. Her mood obviously improved a bit. Her delicate and naive appearance made Tao Lele, who was peeping from the side, hate to rush over and ravage her. This kind of Shiyao is simply too invincible. I don't know what Gu Xingyi did over there. A single phone call will make Shiyao's sister pinch her to death. Okay, no more messy thoughts like that in the future, okay? I'll pass the song to you at night. Take advantage of these 2 days to practice a little more. If you die before you're ready, that's not a slap in my goose face. Put. Gu Xingyi's voice continued to come from the receiver. Xia Shiyao listened to the bullish words and snorted out a laugh. Still Gu someone? Those who didn't know thought he was some historical celebrity. But the phrase die before you leave the office is so good, and I don't know how Gu Xingyi is suddenly so cultured. Good, then I'll see what kind of songs you Gu Rinrin can write. Xia Shiyao, who had been talked through by Gu Xingyi, swung for the fences, burrowed out of the previous bullseye, and no longer bothered to dwell on the question of who relied on who. Once that taut string was relaxed, Xia Shiyao was immediately sleepy. She was now like a lazy kitten, her voice dainty and with an inexplicable playful flavor. This voice was so lethal that Gu Xingyi's scalp was numb from listening to it. Cough cough, go to sleep, You can only practice your song when you have the spirit. Gu Xingyi couldn't take it and just wanted her to hang up the phone quickly. Xia Shiyao hummed, before she yawned and walked into the bedroom, saying goodbye to Gu Xingyi and hanging up the phone. Gu Xingyi heard the blind tone on the phone, and only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. Coaxing his wife felt even tougher than coaxing a baby. But fortunately, it wasn't even hard for him. Gu Xingyi glanced in the direction of the living room. Nai Nai was still watching her favorite cartoon and didn't need his company for the time being. Let's get started on preparing the song then. Gu Xingyi took out a pen and song manuscript paper from the drawer and agonized over which song would be appropriate. If others knew about Gu Xingyi's present entanglement, they would probably be so angry that they would vomit blood. People have to exhaust their minds to create a song, but he doesn't know which one to choose among the thousands of songs. It could only be said that all of them should be euthanized. After half a day of agonizing, Gu Xingyi still couldn't decide. He had too many good songs in his mind. All of them were crowding in his head at once, making his thoughts very confusing. Gu Xingyi was a bit annoyed and opened the window. A cool breeze blew, lowering the annoyance in Gu Xingyi's heart a bit. Downstairs in the small area, a pair of young couples are separating. The boy dragged a large suitcase, full of reluctance, the girl tearful, reluctant to say goodbye. Seeing this scene, Gu Xingyi suddenly remembered a saying. Love rises with the wind, and the wind stops it. They are now parting. The boy returned again. The two will still be together? Unknown number, but the boy is still going to go outside to the wider world to venture, to see. Thinking of this, Gu Xingyi could not help but be stunned, and then he quickly walked to the desk and raised his pen to write on the curved manuscript paper. The wind rises. Youth is a string, love is a wind, a song of rising wind, blew in youth, also blew her away. Gu Xingyi's mind is now filled with this familiar melody. When this song came out, how many people's youth is difficult? Spread out the manuscript paper, Gu Xingyi's eyes flooded with memories, bit by bit to write on the surface of the various notes. Slowly, he was completely immersed in this wonderful music. His mouth cannot help but begin to follow the humming up. I don't know how long it took, until little Nai Nai's childish voice rang out, and only then did Gu Xingyi suddenly come back to his senses. Daddy! Hungry, hungry! Rice, rice, rice! I don't know what kind of poison little Nai Nai had been subjected to, but in the past 2 days, she had been using superlatives, which made Gu Xingyi's ears go soft. The key is the tender voice of the child to say this kind of superimposed words. The gods came also cannot carry ah. Gu Xingyi immediately revealed an ant-like smile. Little baby, are you hungry? Daddy will prepare lunch right away. His daughter's words were imperial edicts, and Gu Xingyi, who was a slave to his daughter, didn't dare to delay for a moment, threw the pen away, and turned around to go to the kitchen. As for the song, it was written a long time ago. As for those memories, all go with the wind. 2 hours later, the father and daughter who had eaten and drank enough were paralyzed on the sofa, their sizes uniformly assuming a guyu-lying posture. Hiccup. Gu Xingyi burped. Nai Nai smiled cheekily and didn't forget to rub her dad's little tummy. Then she hiccuped herself, and father and daughter were a playful mess. Xia Shiyao's video also called right on time at this moment. Her eyes still had big dark circles hanging on them. Obviously she hadn't slept enough. Seeing this father and daughter in this lazy posture, Xia Shiyao was envious in her heart. Alas, people work hard outside. You guys share the joy of family at home. A big and a small one are all heartless. Xia Shiyao rarely made a pitiful appearance. A pair of almond eyes watery accusation. That one phone call seemed to completely remove her defenses, allowing her to resume her small woman-like posture, and also brought the two closer together. Where Gu Xingyi could withstand this kind of test, he immediately raised his hands in surrender. I'm not idle either. The song has been written. I'll send it to you later. Little Nai Nai also came over, similarly following Gu Xingyi's example of raising her hands, a pair of the same almond eyes just as watery, seemingly competing with Xia Shiyao to see who was more pitiful. Nai Nai wasn't idle either. Nai Nai watched 2 less cartoon episodes today. Learned 5 more numbers. Xia Shiyao immediately couldn't tense up and instantly broke. She admitted that she couldn't compare to this little goblin. Good. Our family Nai Nai works the hardest. Quickly let mommy kiss it, Trojan horse. The little guy immediately happily sent his little mouth up, and similarly rewarded Xia Shiyao with a wooden horse. Ahem. Don't reward me with one? Gu Xingyi coughed and shamelessly put his face in front of the cell phone, causing Xia Shiyao's pretty face to evenly redden at a speed visible to the naked eye. The most crucial little guy was still coaxing on the side, asking mom to reward dad with one as well. In the end, Xia Shiyao really can't resist the little one's enthusiasm, but also can't resist Gu Xingyi's thick skin, pouted her mouth and symbolically kissed, just didn't make a Trojan horse sound. Getting rewarded, Gu Xingyi's face was all smiles. He quickly ran to the bedroom and handed the written song script paper to the cell phone camera. See, didn't lie to you, the song is really written. You kisser didn't waste it. Xia Shiyao gave him a flavorful blank look, but in her heart, she was shocked beyond words. It's only been a few hours? He wrote a song already? There was struck. He had thought about it for so many days, and there was a little bit of melody but he couldn't catch it. but Gu Xingyi had a finished song out in just a few hours. This man is a demon. The family of three chatted for a while longer before hanging up the phone. Gu Xingyi photographed the sheet music and lyrics in their entirety and sent it to Xia Shiyao, before throwing the phone onto the table and continuing to accompany little Nai Nai to lie down. Xia Shiyao received the WeChat and clicked on the picture above with some anticipation. A large caption came into her eyes. The wind is rising. What kind of divine song is this? After Xia Shiyao read the lyrics and the music score, she only felt her heartbeat accelerate slightly. She now finally understood the gold content of those comments on the internet. What did it mean that Star Yao's product must be a fine product? This was it. And the most terrifying thing was that he had only used a few hours to create such a song. Xia Shiyao was a little impatient to ask Gu Xingyi how much he had hidden behind his back in his head. Thinking of this, Xia Shiyao took a deep breath and picked up the phone. Gu Xingyi had just changed little Nai Nai's clothes at the moment and was about to go out to walk her baby, when he saw Xia Shiyao's video screen call again. Anything else? Gu Xingyi was puzzled. Hadn't he just hung up not long ago? How come it's coming again? In the video, Xia Shiyao's eyes were fiery, looking straight at herself, making Gu Xingyi a bit overwhelmed. What? What? Gu Xingyi's voice stuttered, his eyes dodging. This woman, what did she mean? Showing off her good-looking eyes? Can't I call you a video if there's nothing wrong? Good guy. Now learning. She had just used this reason to dislike her earlier, and she immediately returned the favor. Not only was this woman beautiful, she also held a grudge. Gu Xingyi thought darkly, but his mouth snorted. Ha, can. That must be Abel. Gu Xingyi. What the hell are you hiding behind my back? Ha? Where did this come from? How could she defile someone's innocence for nothing? Gu Xingyi scratched her hair, frowning in confusion. Seeing Gu Xingyi in such a state, Xia Shiyao's pretty face reddened, somewhat annoyed, and her voice unconsciously grew louder. These songs of yours. These ah. Do you believe me when I say that I suddenly became enlightened on a certain day? Ha ha ha. It was just kinda sudden, wasn't it? Gu Xingyi didn't know how to explain, and could only rub his nose to try and muddle through. Xia Shiyao looked deeply at Gu Xingyi and didn't pursue the question, instead looking down at the lyrics, only to suddenly open her mouth half a day later, her voice soft and sticky. Thank you. Gu Xingyi was completely confused by this sudden sentence from her, and could only nod his head. You practice your song well, Nai Nai, and I will cheer you on then. Good. Xia Shiyao's voice was small, and when she looked up again her face already had a smile on it. I won't let you bury the song. Gu Xingyi nodded and took little Nai Nai's hand and shook it in front of the camera. Nai Nai and I are going out. The video screen hung up, and Xia Shiyao picked up her cell phone and knocked on Tao Leilei's room door. Leilei, get ready, let's go to the company. Sister Xiaoyo, are we going to the company? Tao Leilei walked out from her room. She didn't understand why Xia Shiyao suddenly wanted to go to the company. Xia Shiyao raised the cell phone in her hand, a smile on her face. Going to practice, we have a song. Really? Did Gu Xingyi give it to you? I knew he wouldn't just sit back and do nothing. Tao Leilei got excited, a look of surprise on her face, directly grabbing Xia Shiyao's hand and shaking it, not realizing in the slightest that she had let her mouth slip. Xia Shiyao blushed slightly and glanced at Tao Leilei, only then did she realize that it was this guy who betrayed her. Next, Sister Yun was also called back by Xia Shiyao. She was still out contacting lyricists, and after hearing that Xia Shiyao had a song, there was excitement in her tone. She had been bumping into walls everywhere in the past few days, and now that she finally didn't have to look at other people's faces, she was naturally very happy. The three of them drove to Sound Sea Entertainment and went up to the 11th floor, where there was a special recording studio. Xia Shiyao was going to stay here for the next 2 days until she was satisfied with the song. Until she actually sang out the wind, she didn't realize how good the song was. Especially Tao Leilei and Sister Yun, after hearing Xia Shiyao's clean singing, their eyes went wide, completely not expecting the song to be so stunning. For a while, they became even more excited about this star song exchange. After trying to sing a few times, Xia Shiyao also slowly found her feeling. She sang more and more calmly. If Gu Xingyi was here, he would definitely gasp in amazement. This was not far from the original song he heard in the original world. The time for practicing passed very quickly. Time unknowingly came to the afternoon. Xia Shiyao had already rewritten the manuscript paper Gu Xingyi had taken down on the manuscript paper, and Tao Leilei went to contact the company's recording team to record the background music of the song and register the copyright. The company's team was very professional, and for original songs like these, it didn't require much effort from Xia Shiyao. They would naturally do everything right. Moreover, the manuscript paper Gu Xingyi gave her was very complete. Even which instrument should be used was clearly labeled. Xia Shiyao was surprised when she first saw it before she contacted Gu Xingyi, because this was something that a mature lyricist could do completely. It was only after Tao Leilei returned that Xia Shiyao finally came out of the recording studio. She was ready to continue practicing after dinner. There was still 1 day left tomorrow, and the day after that she would be going to participate in the Star Song gathering. Time was running out. She would not allow Gu Xingyi's song to have any slip-ups in her mouth. As the three of them came out of the recording studio, the door to the opposite room also happened to open, and a cute girl with a baby face also happened to come out of it at this time. She froze for a moment when she saw Xia Shiyao, but still nodded to Xia Shiyao in a friendly manner. Xia Shiyao returned a smile. In the face of kindness, she always held greater kindness. It was just that the man with the golden eye sockets standing behind her had his nostrils turned to the sky, and didn't give Xia Shiyao the slightest bit of goodwill. Xia Shiyao didn't recognize him either, so naturally she didn't greet him and turned around to leave the place with Tao Lele and Sister Yun. After Xia Shiyao left, the man snorted coldly. Really no eyesight, don't even know to greet the leader when you see him. I don't know how the company chose her. Uncle. People just came to the company, it's only a problem if they can recognize you. You must sing well this time, okay? You were elected by me, don't lose your uncle's face. Got it. This girl was none other than Chang Di, who was going to participate in the Star Song exchange with Xia Shiyao, and her uncle, who was no one else, was none other than Yin Ping. After Chang Di finished speaking, she glanced at the already closed elevator place, pondering. She naturally learned from Yin Ping how Xia Shiyao was selected, so she was also curious as to what kind of song Xia Shiyao would actually come up with. After all, it was written by Xingyao, so it shouldn't be bad, right? She was also a fan of Xingyao. As for what kind of person her uncle was, Chang Di naturally knew that if Yin Ping wasn't her own uncle, she wouldn't want to pay much attention to him. In the next few days, Xia Shiyao left early and returned late every day, practicing very hard. This effort made Tao Lele's heart ache, so much so that the nutritious meals she made became even more generous. Sister Yun wasn't idle either. She picked up Xia Shiyao's siege blog back up and released a comeback statement. Hello everyone, I'm Xia Shiyao. On August 7th, on Star Song Wii, I'll be making a comeback. Sound and See Entertainment singer Xia Shiyao is on her way. I hope everyone can take care of me more in the future, and I also hope that everyone can interact with me more at the bottom of my Weibo. Thank you all. The statement was very short. Xia Shiyao's remaining fans were only a few thousand. Most of them were still zombie fans, so after the statement was sent out, it also seemed like a stone sinking into the sea, and didn't set off any storms. Only a small number of old fans and some small marketing number found this statement. Although Xia Shiyao retired from the circle for more than 2 years, but can't help the flow of the Star Song exchange is enough, so these small marketing numbers have begun to edit. Through the publicity of these small marketing numbers, many people vaguely remembered this former popular young flower. But they didn't take it seriously. It's all old news, who cares about this? On August 7th, at the Magic City Stadium, the Star Song Festival officially opened. But this time, Ren Chao, the director of the Star Song Festival, was very worried, because one of Xingyao's songs had been dominating the hot searches, so the traffic of their Star Song Festival was completely incomparable to before. But the annual Star Song Exchange couldn't be postponed because of one person, so he can only start this edition of the Star Song Exchange with a hard head. It was a pity that he couldn't contact Xingyao. If he could get him to sit in on Star Song Wii as a mentor, wouldn't the traffic explode? Ren Chao had also sent private messages to Xingyao's account many times, but unfortunately, they were all dropped like a stone, without a single response. But fortunately, during this period, Xingyao did not release any new works. The influence of the last works has been reduced a lot. In addition to his video, now the highest online traffic is the Star Song Wii. At this time, Gu Xingyao did not know this in the slightest. He was taking little Nai Nai, walking in a long line towards the stadium. That's right. He had concealed Xia Shiyao from the Magic City after lunch. Since he wanted to help her cheer, it must be live cheering. Little Nai Nai was also excited in Gu Xingyi's arms. She had come on a big airplane today, and she heard her dad say that she would be able to see her mom soon. She misses her mom. The atmosphere at the scene was very enthusiastic. Gu Xingyi looked around. Basically everyone was holding a support stick in their hands, and there were also people holding up support signs for the singers they supported and waving them around, cheering endlessly. Gu Xingyi is considered an anomaly, only he looks like a thief, holding only a Nai Nai in his hands, quietly looking for his seat in the arena. Gu Xingyi is very lucky. His seat is still relatively forward. The official opening time of the Star Song Festival is 8 p.m., which is also convenient for people who are bored at home after work to watch the voting through the live broadcast. At this time, the live broadcasting room of the Star Song Exchange has already opened. The competition has not yet begun, and it is playing the advertisements of various sponsors and the information of the contestants. The pop-ups in the live broadcast room were also sending the viewers' own opinions at the right time. Gu Xingyi took a little look at the pop-ups. None of them seemed to be supporting Xia Shiyao, and there were 4 favorites to win the championship: Chang Di, Lu Qian, Xiao Feibai, and Miao Anquan. Gu Xingyi only knew one of them, Lu Qian, the woman who dared to extend her claws to Nai Nai. The other 3 he had not heard of, so he did not pay much attention. The match was about to begin, and the backstage was very unsettled at the moment. Xia Shiyao, why are you here? Lu Qian's face was blue, she couldn't believe her eyes, she actually saw Xia Shiyao backstage. You can even be in. Why can't our sister Shiyao be there? Tao Lei directly rolled her eyes and choked back. That look of disdain made Lu Qian even more irritated. Lu Qian's eyes were cloudy, how could she not expect Xia Shiyao to show up, and Tao Lei and Sister Yun were still by her side. This feeling reminded her of the Xia Shiyao that had always suppressed her back then. The old Xia Shiyao seemed to be back again. Especially with Xia Shiyao's outfit today, it made her face even more ugly. She herself seemed like a clown in front of her. Can't compare to her anywhere. Cowardice before battle, that's what Lu Qian's mood is at this moment. Xia Shiyao is wearing a sky blue dress today, the edge of the skirt is decorated with light green 5-leaf clover, her hair has been pulled up, tied into a lovely pill head, slightly powdered pretty face is letting her exude youthful charm. She just raised her head and glanced at Lu Qian, letting Lu Qian feel the pressure all of a sudden. Seeing this, Sister Yuan hurriedly pulled Lu Qian away, looked around at the gazes cast by the other contestants, and whispered in her ear to persuade her. Xiao Qian, here is the backstage, don't make jokes, a Xia Shiyao only, what she wants nowadays is nothing. It's not worth it for you to degrade yourself. Lu Qian's face was much better after hearing Sister Yuan's words. Right. Today's Xia Shiyao is not the same as the popular young flower. What is she going to compete with herself? Not to mention that she had a song by the godfather of music, Wu Fan. There was even less need to be afraid. Thinking like this, Lu Qian regained her composure and glanced at Xia Shiyao with disdain. What's the use of singing well? What's the use of being good-looking? What kind of good song can a married person like you come up with? What happened backstage was naturally unknown to the program team. Outside on the stage, the host was already on stage with a microphone. She simply said a few words before inviting the 4 judging mentors to take their seats. With the thunderous applause on the scene, for spotlights shone down from the roof, several veteran mentors who have been in the music industry for years have entered. They waved to the audience on the scene, and then sat on the mentor's seat. The 4 mentors took their seats and the competition officially began. The rules of the Star Song Festival competition were very overbearing. The photos of the 16 contestants scrolled on the big screen in turn, and the audience called for a stop to determine the contestants' number. No. 1 versus. No. 2, and so on, for 8 matches, which also eliminated the possibility of cheating in advance, because no one knew when the audience would call a halt. The audience's favorite part was also this part, where they themselves introduced the PK candidates, and the completely unknown outcome made them even more excited. Not long after, the 8 groups of dueling candidates were smoothly selected. Looking at the list of duelists on the big screen, Gu Xingyi smiled. And that was when the host's voice resounded throughout the room. Let's give a round of applause to welcome the 2 contestants of the first match to the stage. One of them is Xia Shiyao from Sound Sea Entertainment. One is Lu Qian from Tianmei Entertainment. 2 spotlights appeared again, and at the back of the stage, Xia Shiyao and Lu Qian slowly stepped onto the stage with the spotlights. It could be seen that Xia Shiyao was more or less a bit nervous. The first time someone who hadn't been on stage in years went on stage, she was also a bit apprehensive in her heart. Lu Qian on the other hand, sank a face, she also completely did not expect. The first game will be so dramatic, and Xia Shiyao PK. The audience under the stage exclaimed in shock. There were quite a few people who didn't recognize Xia Shiyao. How come they hadn't heard of such a beautiful woman? So they asked the people around them. Gu Xingyi also saw Xia Shiyao's nervousness. When she was nervous, her eyelashes would lightly blink. So he raised little Nai Nai high and waved it. At this moment, little Nai Nai directly transformed into a sign of support. Her round little face, big eyes curved into 2 crescent moons, her mouth kept shouting mom cheer. Xia Shiyao on the stage, suddenly saw this familiar figure, she fiercely covered her mouth, and unbelievably looked towards that spot under the stage. Those 2 lively figures dispelled the tension in her heart instantly. In the next moment, an unprecedented luster suddenly bloomed in her eyes, and then her eyes suddenly curved up, forming the same crescent shape as little Nine Eyes. The tenderness displayed in this instant melted the hearts of the audience present. Papa! Dad! Mommy saw us! Little Nine Eyes' gaze locked with Xia Shiyao's as her little short hands waved even faster. Gu Xingyi also looked at Xia Shiyao, a gentle smile on his face. Yeah, Mommy saw Nine Eye. First match, Xia Shiyao PK Lu Qian. Xia Shiyao sings the first song. Let's give the stage to her. At this time, the host's voice once again resounded throughout the room, and then she walked backstage with Lu Qian. The lights gradually dimmed on the stage, with only a spotlight hitting Xia Shiyao. As the music played in the background, Gu Xingyi wrapped little Nai Nai in her arms and slowly closed her eyes to listen. For some reason, Xia Shiyao's pure smile just now stayed imprinted in his mind, lingering. Gu Xingyi suddenly thought of that one song lyric. Now walking through this world, 10,000 lingering, turning over the years on different sides. I was caught off guard and broke into your smiling face. The melody of the song rang out, like a warm wind blowing in the face, gently brushing the audience's ears. The scene unconsciously quieted down, their mouths slightly open, quietly listening. At this time on the big screen, the name of the song also appeared. The Wind Rises. The name was very simple, but the lyricist and composer that followed underneath it caused everyone's eyes to narrow slightly. Xing Yao. This unfamiliar singer had managed to hire the mysterious Star Yao to write a song for her. Everyone unanimously perked up their ears. They now desperately wanted to hear Star Yao's new song, what it was really like. Lu Qian backstage had long been dumbstruck, and if one was careful, one could notice that her hands were trembling. The intro was simple, yet it firmly gripped the ears of the crowd as Xia Shiyao's song followed, walking and stopping along the way, following the traces of a teenager drifting. The moment before I stepped out of the station, there was some hesitation. I can't help but laugh at this near hometown feeling of timidity, still unavoidable. The sky in Jiangqing is still so warm, and the wind is blowing up from the past. The wind is blowing. Memories rise. The scene is still becoming a pin drop. They followed the music, as if they saw the footsteps of their youth, never stopped. However, after half a lifetime, when they saw their familiar hometown, that kind of near hometown feeling engraved in their bones made them vaguely excited again. Xia Shiyao at this time has been completely immersed in the song. This song she practiced countless times, only this time, she is the most committed. That is a kind of let go of the heart of the commitment, her eyes full, looking down to the stage. There were the two people who were most important to her, and they were both there. Once upon a time, when I first knew this world, I lingered for a long time, looking at the sky as if it were in front of me, also willing to go through fire and water to walk it again. Now walk through this world, all kinds of lingering, turn over the years different side face. I was caught unawares and broke into your smiling face. Another divine song. Regardless of the audience at the scene, or those who were watching the live broadcast, all of them were completely infected by the song at this moment, and their minds, flickering and flipping like a slideshow, coincidentally recalled countless familiar and unfamiliar side faces from the past, and finally settled on one person's smiling face. That was the most unforgettable person in their youth. It turned out that this was the rising wind. The wind that was blowing was their wind that had long been buried in the bottom of their hearts and was called youth. Xing Yao. This then, came to tug at their heartstrings again. The song continued, and the crowd was mesmerized. I had a hard time extricating myself from the greatness of the world, and indulged in its dreams. No truth or falsehood, no struggle, no fear of jokes. I've turned my youth into her, and I've played summer with my fingertips. I'm not sure what I'm talking about, but I'm sure that I'm going to be able to do it. Walk against the light, let the wind blow and the rain beat you. The large stadium was silent, everyone fell into memory with the song. Lu Qian at the back of the stage, sat on her but on the ground, her face ashen, the corners of her mouth couldn't stop trembling, she didn't have the courage to sing. Xia Shiyao with the brightest appearance, the most perfect singing, with this almost invincible song, completely and utterly tore all her courage to shreds. Sister Yuan stood not far from Lu Qian, her eyes all confused. Who in the world is the godfather of music? She had heard the song that Wu Fan had written for Lu Qian, and now that she had heard this song by Xing Yao, she felt that that song was not even worthy of this song. Sister Yuan smiled miserably. Her skills were not as good as others, after all. She was crushed to death in the past, but now that she's back, she's still crushed to death. Not only was this the case backstage, even the mentors on the judges' table were infected by the song at the moment. As mentors and veteran singers, they were vaguely envious of Xia Shiyao. If they had such a song to pave the way for them in the beginning, they might have already achieved the heavenly king and queen status. It was a pity that there was no second Xing Yao in the world. The melody of youth continued. Xia Shiyao, dressed in a fluttering long dress, moved with a light step, gently walking a few steps forward, like a butterfly spreading its wings, tracing out the trajectory of everyone's youth. The short road walks and stops, but also has a few points of distance. I do not know whether to caress the story or paragraph mood, perhaps looking forward to nothing more than an enemy of time. Seeing you again in the cool morning light, smiling sweetly. Obviously, it seems to be talking about a trivial matter, returning to see that it is still her. But the audience's hearts welled up with infinite regrets. They also want to go away for half a lifetime, and return to the original heart remains unchanged. But regret is regret. They seem to see the cool morning light in the face of the smile, is slowly fuzzy disappearance. At this time on the pop-up screen of the live broadcast, I don't know who brushed a sentence. I said how to get separated, it turned out to be the wind. The originally quiet pop-up screen suddenly exploded. Countless people with tears in their eyes, followed and brushed up. All the netizens directly broke their defenses at this moment, and after listening to this song, their hearts were filled with youthful regrets. They shed tears, brushed the pop-ups, and told the stories of their youth. In the end, the unification became. I said how to go apart, it turned out to be the wind, love with the wind stops the intention but it is difficult to level. Just at this time, Xia Shiyao's singing gradually came to an end. Her voice as deep and mellow as wine was like soothing the hearts of the crowd, and like giving an answer to youth. The evening breeze blows up the gray hair on your temples, smoothing the scars left by memories. In your eyes, light and darkness are mixed, and a smile is born. The twilight obscures your hobbling steps as you walk into the painting hidden above your bed. You in the painting, talking with your head down. The end of the song. Like in an account of themselves, all the people from the youthful dream of a big dream, wake up, life is still going on, and those memories, just their own touch. Memories are regrettable, but there is no regret of youth, and how can we call it youth? Youth should be flaunting indulgent youth, memories of regret, but make people infinite nostalgia. Exploded. I don't know when. The viewing data in the background has exploded, far exceeding the ratings of previous years. Director Rin Chao wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. He was also infected by the song. After all, who doesn't have a youth anymore? But now he wanted to be happy and shout. This roller coaster-like mood made his heart beat faster, and he couldn't help but let out a bitter smile. This is Xing Yao, the one who makes you cry and makes you laugh. What kind of god is this person? To be able to have such a great charm. When Xiao Shiyao first came, Rin Chao was still somewhat unable to look at her, someone who wanted nothing, and if it wasn't for Sound C Entertainment's insistence, he would have wanted to kick Xiao Shiyao out of the program. He didn't expect things to turn around so quickly, and now he can't wait to offer Xiao Shiyao up. Song good. Good person. You can have anything you want. Ren Chao did not feel the slightest blush for his change in attitude, making money. Not too shabby. The song on the stage is still ringing. Ren Chao put down the nonsense in his heart and continued to listen. I still marvel at the size of the world, but also intoxicated by the childhood love story. No truth or falsehood left, no struggle, no need for jokes. I finally returned my youth to her, along with the blooming summer that popped out of my fingertips. What the heart desires goes with the wind. In the name of love, are you still willing? Everyone who heard this couldn't stop smiling. The wind stops, the memories go with the wind, the melody of youth falls, and the summer remains the same. The summer is still in full bloom. Even the most difficult youth will eventually come to an end. The music fell, and the lights turned on again. Xiao Shiyao slowly recovered from the afterglow of the song and looked nervously at the stage. The silence of the stage left her somewhat at a loss for words. Gu Xingyi slowly opened his eyes and laughed out loud when he saw Xiao Shiyao's nervous appearance. Xiao Shiyao sang very well, comparable to the original song he heard in the original world. Little Nai Nai looked curiously at the uncles and aunts around her, not understanding why they all had tears in their eyes. Obviously mom's singing was very good. At her young age, she had no idea that they were still remembering the past. But none of this could affect little Nai Nai. She stretched out her little hand and tried her best to applaud for her mom. The next moment, as if a chain reaction, thunderous applause resounded throughout the audience, and with tears in their eyes, they all offered their support for Xiao Shiyao on the stage. In the live broadcast room of Star Song Exchange, there was even a tidal wave of pop-ups. It's true that Star Yao's product must be a masterpiece. No disappointment. It's awesome. I'm crying. This is not a wind-up, this is clearly a tornado, completely lifting up the memories buried in my heart for many years. It also can't be denied that Xiao Shiyao perfectly sang the feelings contained in this song. From today onwards, I'm a fan of this singer. Woo woo. The song is beautiful. The person is also beautiful. I'm in love with the whole thing. Brothers, I've just started out in society. Now I want to be impulsive. Go back for her. I don't want to have regrets in my youth. Upstairs. Support you. Go for it. I'll be luckier. My wife is my green plum. My youth has no regrets though, but it's still infected by this song. Xiao Shiyao? Xing Yao? There can't be any story between them, right? Upstairs and dares to break my Dao heart. Woo woo. Xing Yao is mine. I've been his die-hard fan since his first song. A song that picked up the wind managed to convince everyone, and at this moment, no one remembered that no one had favored Xiao Shiyao at all before. Originally thought to be here to make up the numbers, but it turned out to be a king bomb in the opening. Just like the lyrics of the song, caught off guard. It broke into the hearts of the crowd. It also put the pressure on the people behind. You're going to play the king bomb right off the bat? How can you let us 4-2s play? Xiao Shiyao on the stage bowed to the audience at this point, then glanced fondly at Gu Xingyi and little Nai Nai and retreated back to the back of the stage. The competition continued, and Lu Qian's performance was next. Lu Qian didn't know when she had gotten up from the ground, looking at Xiao Shiyao who had passed by her, a deep sense of powerlessness inexplicably arose in her heart. She didn't know how she walked onto the stage. Even when the music started, she froze for a moment before reacting. Unfortunately, she was still half a beat too slow, and she was out of her depth in the opening scene. The audience under the stage booed in unison, which made her heart panic even more, and the tune she sang couldn't help but go out of tune. After singing a song in a muddle, the sparse applause from the stage made her want to cover her face and run away. Backstage director Rin Chao looked at the real-time viewing rate, could not help but frown. This Lu Qian and what? He knows her singing ability. She used to be very good. How did she become like this today? However, Rin Chao was only slightly depressed for a moment, and then no longer think about it. Anyway, she is bound to lose, there is nothing to think about, today's ratings have exploded enough. Without a doubt, the final voting result, 5-0, a crushing victory. Xia Shuriao's message was also sent at this time, asking Gu Xingyi to meet at the backstage exit. When Gu Xingyi saw this, he didn't pay any more attention to the later matches, holding little Nai Nai and leaving the arena early. Xia Shuriao had just arrived backstage and welcomed a big hug from Taluo Lele. Taluo Lele's eyes were red and tears were welling up in her eyes. Sister Yun behind her was also, her eyes slightly red, looking at Xia Shuriao. The two of them smiled tenderly. After such a long time, once again seeing Xia Shuriao standing on the stage with infinite scenery, they had indescribable excitement in their hearts. Okay, don't cry, it will get better and better in the future. Xia Shuriao pulled Tao Lele's hand and said seriously. Tao Lele gave a heavy finally breaking into tears. Today Sister Shioto rubbed Lu Qian hard on the ground, she should be happy. Let's go, Gu Xingyi is waiting for me at the door. Xia Shuriao didn't want to delay any longer, she just couldn't wait to see them now. She wanted to take Nai Nai into her arms and love him. This was the first time she had left the little one for so long. Not only did the little one miss her, she likewise incomparably missed little Nai Nai. Ah! Gu Xingyi is here ah! Tao Lele was so surprised that her eyes widened. She didn't even know what kind of attitude she should take to meet Gu Xingyi now. Before, she hated him to death, but now she felt that he was quite good, so she was torn. Xia Shuriao didn't give her a chance to think about it, pulling her along as she walked quickly towards the exit. Outside the sky is already late, street lights on both sides of the street have long been lit. As soon as Xia Shuriao came out, she saw Gu Xingyi holding Nai Nai from afar, standing straight below the street light. They were looking towards her, the orange light pulled their shadows very long. Xia Shuriao's heart suddenly surged with a sense of happiness, the kind of husband leading the child, waiting under the light for his wife to come home from work. Plain and simple, yet extremely warm. Gu Xingyi saw Xia Shuriao in the moment she came out. She is very beautiful tonight, and the beauty of this moment is very different from the stage. On the stage, she is like a fairy who fell into the mortal world, so beautiful and dazzling that people dare not easily approach. At this moment, she is like a summer breeze, let him feel warm and friendly, natural to let him cannot stop wanting to get close. Mommy! Little Nai Nai couldn't wait to break free from Gu Xingyi's arms and ran towards Xia Shuriao with small steps. Hey! Xia Shuriao immediately squatted down, a bright smile blooming on her face, and embraced the Nai Nai who jumped over into her arms. Gu Xingyi also approached at this time, greeting Tao Lele and Sister Yun with a smile on her face. Sister Yun nodded lightly in response, but there was a hint of gratitude in her eyes. Tao Lele's eyes dodged, but she also nodded her head gently in response. Ever since she realized that Gu Xingyi was Xingyao, she suddenly didn't feel so bad about him. After all, someone who could write about having you in his life and just being ordinary, how bad could his heart be? Xia Shuriao also hugged Nai Nai and stood up at this time. Nai Nai arched in her arms and kept rubbing, her little face unwilling to lift up. Gu Xingyi smiled and looked at Xia Shuriao. How is it? This surprise is okay, right? A blush rose on Xia Shuriao's face, but she still looked straight at Gu Xingyi, her almond eyes curving up. Aha! Xia Shuriao replied softly, followed by her lowering her head and looking at Nai Nai in her arms as she replied again. It's a surprise. Then let's find a place to eat? Nai Nai and I haven't even eaten dinner yet. It doesn't matter to me, Nai Nai's little tummy has been rumbling for a long time. Hearing Gu Xingyi's words, Sister Yun walked up at this time. Go back to the apartment, there are still ingredients there, feel free to eat at home. Xia Shuriao and Gu Xingyi nodded in agreement at the same time, and the few of them walked side by side towards the parking lot. Only they didn't know that their actions at this moment, all of them fell in the eyes of Lu Qian and Sister Yuan who had just come out from the backstage. Lu Qian was holding her cell phone at the moment, looking at Xia Shuriao's back as she left, her eyes glowing with resentment. She suddenly thought of a good idea to make Xia Shuriao lose her reputation. Since she had already lost completely, she was going to pull down Xia Shuriao in the same way. What she couldn't get. What makes Xia Shuriao able to get it? Although the Star Song Exchange competition hadn't ended yet, but at this time, the internet had already exploded, for no other reason than because the first game of the Star Song Exchange, a song so good that it exploded appeared. The wind had risen and swept across the entire internet in this mere hour's time. Not only the viewers who had watched the Star Song Festival, but also various media and marketing organizations had all heard about it. As a result, all kinds of headlines with shocking outrageousness came out on the Roundup blogs. Shocked. The biggest dark horse of this year's Star Song Festival is actually her? Invincible. A song that cries everyone, bringing you a different kind of youthful memories. Outrageous. Star Yao released another new song and it was actually sung by her. Take stock of mysterious lyricist Xing Yao's creative journey. In addition to the various media marketing numbers, those who were watching the Star Song Exchange, more people directly saved the recording screen and sent it directly to their friends and family. Xing Yao's new song. Explosively good to listen to. Hurry up and listen. As more and more people clicked on the video, Xia Shiyao also began to fully enter the public's view. People were curious as to who on earth and where Starry Yao had found such a singer who was not only stunningly beautiful, but also had excellent singing skills. Starry Yao's song plus Xia Shiyao's voice, simply perfect match. But when they followed the trail to open Xia Shiyao's blog, they only saw a comeback statement. That's when everyone realized that the singer had existed before. The internet has no memory, but when you appear in their field of vision, its memory is immensely powerful. Xia Shiyao's past experiences began to be rummaged through and posted on the Hibernation blog. A popular young flower 2 years ago? Love affair exposed and retired from the circle? This hotspot out, immediately by some unscrupulous media smell. They began to take this topic wantonly speculation. For a while, Xia Shiyao's topic got hotter and hotter, and even overshadowed the Starlight Exchange. The internet was also polarized. A part of the people felt that since Xia Shiyao retired from the circle because of the exposure of her love affair, she shouldn't make a comeback, and they couldn't fan a singer who was already married. There is also a part of the people who feel that as long as the singing is good, it is their freedom to fall in love or not. Who says singers can't fall in love? Powerful singers don't need to be fancy. The two sides are arguing online. The last part of the people who feel that power singers don't need to be hyped up came straight to the kill line. I'll just ask you if the song is good. Once this sentence came out, those face value parties were instantly dumbfounded. Is the song good? Do they need to argue here if it's not good? It's just that they were still twisted in their hearts and could only throw out a sentence. If Xing Yao had given this song to someone else, the singing would definitely be just as good. At this time, Soundsea Entertainment finally came down to speak. Congratulations to our division, Xia Shiyao, for successfully advancing. I hope everyone will be able to support her more in the future. I would like to state that in the next match, Xia Shiyao will still come out again with Starry Yao's song. In addition, Xia Shiyao's songs from this Star Song Festival will be unified into an album, which will be released on Huayin after the Star Song Festival, with lossless sound quality, so please look forward to it. Once this notice from Soundsea Entertainment came out, the internet was in an uproar. Starry Yao didn't just write a song for Xia Shiyao. More than one song. It would be outrageous. In an instant, Soundsea Entertainment's announcement and Xia Shiyao's topic instantly killed the #1 hot search list. Even the song The Wind Rises could only come in second place, while Star Song Exchange could only stand pathetically shivering in the third place of the hot searches. For the online scene, Gu Xingyi several people completely unaware. At this time, Sister Yun is driving the car, Tao Lele sitting in the passenger side, to Gu Xingyi family of 3 to leave some space to get together. The family sat in the back row of the car. Gu Xingyi and Xia Shiyao were very close to each other, and little Nai Nai was surrounded by the two in the center. Xia Shiyao took the rare initiative to whisper to Gu Xingyi, so close, Gu Xingyi could smell the familiar fragrance of Xia Shiyao's body, which smelled very good. Gu Xingyi unconsciously sniffed. The small action made Xia Shiyao's pretty face slightly red. Gu Xingyi enjoyed this moment, once again smelling the nice fragrance of Xia Shiyao's body and feeling her by his side. His heart was inexplicably solid. The car quickly arrived at the artist's apartment, and several people got off. It was now 9:30 p.m. Little Nai Nai had long been hungry, and just as the group entered the apartment, Gu Xingyi fought with Tao Lele for the right to use the kitchen. Gu Xingyi squinted at her. Nai Nai likes to eat my cooking, and steamed eggs. Sister Shiyao and Sister Yun like to eat the nutritious dinners I make. Tao Lele puffed up. This guy was going to take away her great power as soon as he arrived. Oh, I don't believe it. Then ask Xia Shiyao whose cooking she likes to eat. Tao Luola twisted her head in aggravation, looking towards Xia Shiyao who was coaxing little Nai Nai in the living room. Xia Shiyao was helpless. These two were just like little kids. This was all a fight, especially Gu Xingyi. Xia Shiyao could tell at a glance that he was just deliberately pissing off Lele. It's just that she really hasn't eaten Gu Xingyi's cooking for a long time. She didn't dare to look at Tao Lele's pitiful expression and lowered her head, her face slightly red. Lele, come out. No more love. Tao Lele wanted to cry. Sister Shiyao really is still a big fan of color. The kitchen was dominated by Gu Xingyi, and soon a table of delicacies was served to him in turn. When Tao Lele saw Xia Shiyao eating so deliciously, she hatefully picked up a chopstick and put it in her mouth, wanting to see how Gu Xingyi really did. As a result, with just one bite, Tao Lele's eyes immediately turned into starry eyes. This was too delicious. She used to feel sorry for Xia Shiyao, but now she was suddenly a little envious of Xia Shiyao. After the meal, Xia Shiyao sent Gu Xingyi back to the hotel alone, while little Nai Nai stayed at the apartment and joined her tonight. Ever since Gu Xingyi crossed over, he basically hadn't been alone with Xia Shiyao, and now that it was suddenly just the two of them in the car, the atmosphere was a little silent for a moment. Gu Xingyi didn't know what to say, and looked at Xia Shiyao who was driving, then turned his head to silently look out the car window at the night scene. Xia Shiyao noticed his gaze, could not help but sneak a glance at him, but soon turned back, a small heart beating a little fast, her earlobes reddened, forcibly suppressed the dissimilarity in her heart, staring ahead, pretending to be unconcerned. Has been to the hotel. The two surprisingly have not had a little communication. If you let people who do not know see, also thought that the two do not know each other. The car was parked in the hotel parking lot. Only then did Gu Xingyi turn his head and look at Xia Shiyao. Go back, be careful on the road, give me a call when you arrive. Xia Shiyao lowered her head and didn't agree. Instead she unbuckled her seatbelt and pushed open the door to get out of the car first. Gu Xingyi's heart stirred, looking straight at her standing beside the car. What did she mean? Gu Xingyi secretly gulped, pretending to be calm as he followed out of the car. Then go up and sit down? Gu Xingyi asked, his voice taking on a tremor, inexplicably feeling a sense of nervousness. Xia Shiyao was wearing a loose housecoat, her pulled-up hair had been lowered at the moment, and she just walked into the hotel side by side with Gu Xingyi in a playful manner. The fluffy hair covered her face, making Gu Xingyi unable to see her expression at the moment. Gu Xingyi was now more nervous than he had ever been before, even more so than at the time he realized he had crossed over. He felt like his heart couldn't take it right now, and in the narrow elevator, he could clearly hear his own plopping heartbeat. Xia Shiyao wasn't much better. She didn't know what had just happened to her. When she heard Gu Xingyi ask her to go back, she suddenly didn't want to go back so soon. Until now, the fire heat radiating from Gu Xingyi's body next to her made her feel like she was going to suffocate. She didn't even need to touch her face to know that her face must be hotter than boiling water right now. Dying. Why hadn't she just left herself? What to do next? The two were married to their children, and since marrying Gu Xingyi, she had never had skin-to-skin contact with him again. She stared dead at her toes, not daring to raise her head, and not knowing what to do. Ding! Without allowing the two to think any further, the elevator doors opened and the third floor arrived. Gu Xingyi had booked a room on this floor tonight. Gu Xingyi subconsciously walked out of the elevator. Xia Shiyao dawdlingly followed. Swiping the card, opening the door to the room, Gu Xingyi walked in, looking around, a standard single room. There was only one bed in the room. Xia Shiyao's entire body was now in a daze. She didn't even know how she entered the room, how Gu Xingyi closed the door behind her. The only sound left in the room was the breathing of the two. What was going to happen next seemed to be predictable, but Xia Shiyao was suddenly a little terrified. She wasn't ready yet. She had only just somewhat accepted him. She couldn't do anything else yet. Gu Xingyi, however, didn't have the slightest idea of what Xia Shiyao was thinking. He knew even if he was stupid, a woman wanting to go to a man's hotel room to sit down. What did that mean? He was a 10,000-year-old single dog, but it didn't mean he didn't have emotional intelligence. If you haven't eaten pork, haven't you seen a pig run? For Xia Shiyao, Gu Xingyi asked himself many times in his heart, from the beginning of just to make up for her, to later slowly heartache her, to a little like, to appreciate, he clearly know his feelings. Gu Xingyi leaned on the edge of the bed and sat down, looking at Xia Shiyao who was still standing in place with her head down. He took a deep breath and took the initiative to pull up her hand. Warm and soft like jade, this was the first feeling that Xia Shiyao gave Gu Xingyi. Warm little hand in his hand, Gu Xingyi raised his head, which looked straight up into Xia Shiyao's eyes. However, in the next moment, the fire in his heart was abruptly extinguished. Her beautiful almond eyes were filled with panic, uneasiness, and fear. Gu Xingyi exhaled a deep breath and slowly let go of Xia Shiyao's hand. I'll wash my face first. The voice was hoarse. Xia Shiyao still kept her head lowered, only giving a soft "hm" with a trembling voice. Gu Xingyi washed his face with cold water for a long time before he completely calmed down. He came out of the bathroom and suddenly smiled when he saw Xia Shiyao again. She was still standing there with her head down, dumbfounded, like a quail. This idiot doesn't know that this will attract people to commit crimes. Just knowing how to light a fire without knowing how to put it out is the most shameful behavior. Let's go, I'll send you down. Ha? Xia Shiyao jerked her head up and looked at Gu Xingyi. What? Go! Gu Xingyi angrily stretched out his hand and knocked her brain. The pain caused Xia Shiyao to cover her head, her watery almond eyes looking straight at Gu Xingyi, her little mouth deflated. Simply like in Little Nai Nai, a mold printed out. Only Xia Shiyao was like this, more flavorful. Oh, this was truly a demonic spirit. Gu Xingyi couldn't stand it a bit. Didn't she know her own charm? Hurry up and go. If you don't leave again, you won't be able to leave tonight. You're still aggravated. Gu Xingyi opened the door and started to drive people away. Only then did Xia Shiyao hurriedly walk out, seeing Gu Xingyi close the door, and patting her chest in relief. After sending Xia Shiyao all the way downstairs and watching her get into the car, Gu Xingyi quietly waited for her to drive the car away. Who knew that the car had just started? Xia Shiyao suddenly lowered the window and looked straight at Gu Xingyi, her cheeks crimson. Gu Xingyi, why? Don't you want to? Gu Xingyi held his forehead and sighed long and hard. Alas! What do you say? It's just that this kind of thing, it has to be consensual. When one day your wife is ready, I'll be very happy to do it. Xia Shiyao's face instantly reddened to the base of her neck, only her eyes, however, became more and more radiant. I'm off. Slow down on the road. Call when you get home. The car drove away. Gu Xingyi smiled bitterly and turned around to walk quickly towards the hotel. Today was another day of staying up late. Gotta go back, take a shower, and hurry up to sleep before I do. Save yourself from sudden death. Gu Xingyi returned to his room and had just finished showering when he received a call from Xia Shuriyao, who had already arrived at the apartment. The two exchanged good nights. Only they didn't know that a post about Xia Shuriyao had suddenly appeared on the Roundup blog, crawling up the hot search slowly. Until the next day, this post had come to the 10th of the hot searches. Xia Shuriyao having an extramarital affair? Cheating on mysterious singer Xing Yao. The post swore with conviction, and in it, it was mainly about how Xia Shuriyao and Gu Xingyi were already married and had a daughter, but the two of them hadn't been on good terms. In order to make a comeback, Xia Shuriyao utilized her beauty and seduced Xing Yao so that Xing Yao would write songs for her. This post said it all, and many marketing numbers reproduced it, and there were even many comments. So it managed to kill the hot search early in the morning. The netizens who saw it were a bit skeptical at first, but they couldn't help the lopsided comments underneath the post, and there were even a variety of marketing numbers that were forwarding it for publicity. They went from skeptical to believing, to verbally attacking Xia Shuriyao. As more and more people woke up and saw this post instantly caused a furor. Countless people were commenting at the bottom, and Xia Shuriyao's siege blog was blasted. Ha! I said how could I get Xing Yao's song? It turns out it's by selling meat. Xing Yao isn't any good either. One can only say that it's woefully incompetent. I don't believe that Xing Yao could do such a thing. You guys just wait for your faces to be slapped. Although I don't understand Xia Shuriyao, but I believe in Xing Yao. Someone who can write those songs would cheat on a married woman? Grow a brain. Then how can you explain that Xing Yao only writes songs for Xia Shuriyao? And did you guys realize that Xing Yao created Just Plain with Hua Yin for Soundsea Entertainment and Xia Shuriyao was the one who joined Soundsea Entertainment later? It's definitely Xia Shuriyao's fault. Anyway, Xing Yao, was definitely cheated. All sorts of eye-catching comments appeared underneath Xia Shuriyao's newly posted siege blog, and in just 1 hour, at 9 a.m., this post and Xia Shuriyao's siege blog were instantly brushed to the first and second on the hot search list. At this moment, Gu Xingyi had just finished his morning run and was completely unaware of this. Xia Shuriyao had insomnia last night. As soon as she closed her eyes, her mind was filled with the scene in the hotel where Gu Xingyi held her hand. So much so that when she got up in the morning, Sister Yun and Tao Lele had already gotten up. Nai was eating the breakfast that Tao Lele had made for her, and Xia Shuriyao was yawning, topped with 2 large dark circles under her eyes, listless. Sister Yun and Tao Luo Lele looked at each other, both with a worried look in their eyes. They thought that Xia Shuriyao saw the hot search and that's what caused her to stay awake all night. Tao Luo Lele had anxiety in her eyes as she walked over to Xia Shuriyao who had just sat down at the dining table. Sister Shuriyao, what did Gu Xingyi say? Aren't you going to come out and clarify? For this kind of thing, it would be best for Gu Xingyi to personally come out and clarify. If Xia Shuriyao were to release a statement, it would only lead to the opposite effect. Xia Shuriyao was in a state of confusion. When she heard Tao Lele's words, she was bewildered for a moment, not knowing what it meant. What clarification? Did something happen to Gu Xingyi again? Tao Lele was speechless. Only then did she realize that Xia Shuriyao didn't even know what had happened. She was even more angry at Gu Xingyi, who hadn't come out to stand up for Sister Shuriyao until now, and the gossip on the internet was almost flooding Sister Shuriyao's Weibo. Sister Shuriyao, you're still thinking about him. He's fine, but you're not. You'd better take a look at your blog. Only then did Xia Shuriyao realize from Tao Lele's tone that something was wrong. She took out her cell phone and opened the blog. What came into her eyes were dense private messages and comment messages. Xia Shuriyao clicked on it. Her hand involuntarily shook after seeing these private messages full of malice. She took a deep breath and continued to scratch down. Basically 9 out of 10 were private messages scolding her. Exiting the private messages, she then saw the post, as well as several follow-up posts posted by marketing numbers. A moment later, Xia Shuriyao put down her cell phone and continued to eat her breakfast, her expression calm, as if nothing had happened at all. Seeing Xia Shuriyao like this, Tao Lele was even more worried. With such a big public opinion on the internet, would Sister Shuriyao not be able to withstand it? Sister Shuriyao, what to do? Do we not care? Xia Shuriyao patted Tao Lele's hand and comforted Tao Lele instead. Lele, those who are clear, it's good that we know. Seeing Xia Shuriyao with this look, Tao Lele sighed in her heart, saying that it's the purist who clears himself, but public opinion never cares about your death or life. Xia Shuriyao's eyelashes blinked slightly. In fact, she was also very unsettled in her heart, but since Gu Xingyi had always posted his songs anonymously, it proved that he didn't want others to know about him. Since this was the case, then she couldn't expose Gu Xingyi's identity. At this time, the majority of netizens were still waiting for the main owner to come out and explain, but it turned out that they waited for a long time, and finally waited for Xia Shuriyao's siege blog update. They couldn't wait to click on it, and then they all froze. They had thought that it would be a long-winded PR, but they didn't realize that there were only 4 simple words. The clearer the clearer. What is this? This wants to send them away? Thus, the online comments instantly became more aggressive. Jiangqing Tianmei Entertainment Mansion, Lu Qian was smiling happily, even though she was scolded by the company when she came back from Mordor, it couldn't stop her current pleasant mood. Xia Shiyao was successfully pulled down by her. This is nice. Seeing all the comments on the internet, she was now incredibly happy, although she knew that most of them were the water army she paid for, and there were a few marketing numbers that she also paid for someone to post. But as long as she could bring Xia Shiyao down, she felt that the money she spent was worth it. Sister Yuan looked at the incomparably open-mouthed Lu Qian who was smiling from the side. She only felt that this woman in front of her had gone crazy. She also only learned of this news this morning. Lu Qian doing these things even hid it from her as an agent. Lu Qian, do you know what you are doing? You are making false accusations. If Xingyao really wants to pursue this, you'll be completely finished. Hearing Sister Yuan's words, Lu Qian just glanced at her with dissatisfaction, and in her heart, she even scoffed at her words. How did I falsely accuse? Who knows if the 2 of them are alright or not? You say if they are fine, just by virtue of Xia Shiyao, a woman who wants nothing, how can she get Xingyao to write a song for her? I think they 80% have a ghost in their hearts. Look, there's not even an explanation, huh? And the purists are still clearing themselves. Fake innocence. Sister Yuan remained gloomy and didn't say anything. She looked at the mad Lu Qian and could only hope that what Lu Qian said was true, otherwise, she could only abandon Lu Qian. Dead Taoist friends don't die in poverty, the next one might be better. Gu Xingyi in the hotel is leisurely bath, but do not want to outside of the cell phone such as urging, non-stop ringing. Gu Xingyi could only act hastily, wearing a bath towel, wiping his hair and hurriedly walked out. Seeing the name of the caller, Gu Xingyi was a bit surprised. What was she doing calling herself? Hello? Why is Minister Yang free today, calling me, a loafer? Idle person? You even have the face to say you're a loafer. Do you know that ever since you appeared, the hot searches have almost been contracted by you? On the other end of the phone, Yang Lin said without a trace of anger. Gu Xingyi scratched his head and thought about it as if it was true. Ever since he posted about having you in his life, the hot searches seemed to be all related to him, and it never stopped. Alas! Who let me look too inviting? I am getting down to business. What's the matter with the call? Gu Xingyi shamelessly boasted before getting serious. Yang Chenlin gritted her teeth, she really wanted to beat this man to death. What did she mean by calling him? Can't you call him if there's nothing wrong? They are not friends? She was so angry. Yang Lin tone even worse. Humph, do you think I want to call you? It's still not about that family of yours. I mean, what's wrong with you? Xia Shiyao has been hacked like that, and you're still sitting there? Xia Shiyao? Hacked? Gu Xingyi immediately got serious. What did you say happened to Xia Shiyao? The tone of his voice was unprecedentedly serious, which made Yang Lin's heart a little sour. It seemed as if this man became incredibly serious as soon as Xia Shiyao's matter was involved. Hot search. You go see it yourself. Bye. The phone hung up directly, and Gu Xingyi frowned, not understanding what kind of nerve this woman was having. But now was also the time to think about this. Gu Xingyi hurriedly opened the Roundup blog, and the first thing he saw was the first few posts of the hot search. The moment he saw the title, Gu Xingyi's face darkened. When he finished reading all the post contents, and then read the messages and comments on Xia Shiyao's Weibo, Gu Xingyi's face completely darkened, and he directly laughed in anger. Ha! Really think that Labor's woman is good at bullying. And that stupid woman, such a big thing does not tell me, how do you think? Carry it yourself? Gu Xingyi only wanted to question that idiot to her face, whether she considered him as her husband or not. But before questioning her, he had something else to do. Since someone wanted to play, let's have a good time. How could Lu Qian have never imagined that the face slapping would come so quickly and swiftly? So much so that she hadn't been happy for long before she was in a state of trepidation. How could she not have thought that Xingyao would actually be that former gigolo? At 10 o'clock in the morning, people were still talking about Xia Shiyao's collapsed room incident, when a short video of Xingyao on Douyin was swiped. As the other protagonist of the incident, and a mysterious big brother sitting on tens of millions of fans, he had just released the video, and it was very much seen by countless people. It didn't even need Douyin's specialized push stream, the fans spontaneously pushed the video up. Xingyao showed his face and testified himself. This was a huge event. Everyone didn't expect the mysterious Xingyao to come out and release the video at this time without hesitation. He could have kept quiet, after all, the main target of everyone's attack this time wasn't him. But when everyone clicked on the video, they realized, which was a self-attestation video. It was clearly a dog food plus crusade video. In the video, Gu Xingyi was dressed in a decent casual outfit, and even though his face was very serious, he still brightened people's eyes. I didn't expect the mysterious Xingyao to be so handsome. Loved. But the next words made the netizens feel like they had suffered a 10,000-point blitz. Hello everyone.
I'm Xingyao. One just woke up from a nap and saw some very bad comments on the internet. A lot of people are questioning why I wrote a song for Xia Shiyao. Some even rumored that Xia Shiyao had an extramarital affair. I just want to ask out loud, what's wrong with me writing a song for my wife? Ha? What's wrong? My wife doesn't want to talk to you, but I don't give you a hard time. You're not the only one who knows what's going on. It doesn't exist. I tried to get along with you as normal people, and all I got in return was alienation. I'm sorry. I'm done pretending. I'll show my cards. My name is Gu Xingyi. I'm sure you can find me on the internet. When Xia Shiyao and I both retired from the industry because we were in love, then we got married, and we've been doing it ever since. As for why I was named Xingyao, because our daughter is called Gu Xingyao, now you know the result, happy? Here, I would also like to say to the person who posted that in those few marketing numbers, sorry, I have already collected the relevant evidence, none of you can get away. That's right. And those water army, those teams behind you, there is account 1, all waiting for a lawyer's letter. Well, that's all for today. I advise those people to behave themselves. Dismissed. All the people who saw this video were instantly shocked beyond words. They've been arguing for so long, and it turns out that people are supposed to be married? Everyone knew that Xingyao was supposed to be married, after all. Xiao Nainai had appeared on his doujinshi back then and looked quite similar to him. But no one thought that Xingyao was Gu Xingyi. Off the big spectrum. This video of Gu Xingyi spread like crazy at this moment, and his fans who had always believed in him were forwarding it to the Roundup blog like crazy. Damn it! I'm standing right here. Let's see who dares to start rumors. I told you that Xingyao couldn't be such a person. See? They were originally a couple. A fairy couple. Where are those jets in the morning? Open your eyes. Holy shit. I know him. He even bought his wife a cell phone. I said, why does Xia Shiyao look so familiar? I didn't realize he was Xingyao. Woo woo. So spoiled. I love it. Fans spontaneously retweeted this video of Gu Xingyi, and just like that they didn't think it was too much. Because Gu Xingyi himself didn't have a blog, Xia Shiyao's blog was instantly reduced to a battleground for them. You all owe Xia Shiyao an apology. Shiyao. Xingyao. I should have guessed this. Whoops. Xia Shiyao, I'm sorry. What more can one ask for with a husband like this? I adore it. Brothers. Perfect match. One is an unbeatable songwriter. One sings beautifully. I'll be your fan from now on. Gu Xingyi is so young. Why did you have to step into the marriage grave so early? Woo woo. It's true that all good men are from other families. Those who are clear themselves. Well said. The public opinion had only just taken place for an hour, and there was an instant two-level reversal. Xia Shiyao's Weibo comments section was once again blasted, only this time, it was all positive remarks. Just as everyone was still discussing the video posted by Gu Xingyi, SoundC Entertainment's Roundup blog immediately followed suit, posting a notice. Hello everyone. This is the legal department of SoundC Entertainment, entrusted by Mr. Gu. We will continue to follow up on the false statements and rumors on the internet. We have now submitted a lawyer's letter to the publisher of the previous post and the companies behind several marketing numbers. As for the water armies, we will be verifying with the official of the Weibo, and the related accounts will be blocked in their entirety. If it is found that there are profit-making units behind, we will also send a lawyer's letter according to the law. As soon as this notice came out, the Weibo instantly boiled over. Sharp-eyed netizens suddenly realized that the few posts that were still on the hot search before had all been cleared out, and even the people who had posted the posts had logged out of their accounts. It didn't take long for the official Gobo to come forward. Dear bloggers, good morning. After we verified and checked, we have now blocked 1,500 accounts that posted false statements, and we would like to warn certain people that the internet is not a place outside the law. Those who spread rumors will regret it for the rest of their lives. As the official notice from the blog came out, Gu Xingyi's video post was topped to the top of the hot search. Xia Shiyao's newly released Weibo also instantly took second place. Within a short period of time, the buzzwords wife-favoring fiend and cleaner than the cleaner also came out one after another. The most popular words among the melon eaters are, my wife doesn't want to take care of you. Gu Xingyi, my wife's favorite devil, will not spoil you. What cleansers clear themselves? Doesn't exist. In the Magic City artist's apartment, Xia Shiyao was still embracing little Nai Nai watching cartoons, when Tao Lele ran over with her cell phone like the wind, her face overflowing with bright smiles, and her whole body looking unusually excited. Sister Shiyao, you quickly look. Gu Xingyi he sent a video. Xia Shiyao raised her head and looked at Tao Lele in confusion. When Tao Lele saw Xia Shiyao like this, with a look of hatred, she directly handed her cell phone to Xia Shiyao's face. Sister Shiyao, what should you do in the future if you are so gentle? Oh, you should really learn from Gu Xingyi. Look at him. Straight up hardcore. It's so cool. Hard? Xia Shiyao took the cell phone and clicked on the video.
Gu Xingyi's voice then came out from the handset, and little Nai Nai also curiously came up, looking hard with wide eyes.
It's Dad's voice. Daddy is in the cell phone again?
Until Xia Shuriyao finished watching all the video, her small mouth was slightly open, obviously surprised.
Taluolu was still continuing on the side. Sister Shuriyao, do you know what people are saying about Gu Xingyi now? A wife-favoring fiend. Ha ha, it's so funny.
Hearing Tao Leilei's words, Xia Shuriyao's face quietly blushed, and her heart also slightly flushed with sweetness.
Who wouldn't want to be spoiled again?
Thinking of this, Xia Shuriyao directly left little Nai Nai behind and quickly walked back to her room. In the living room, only Tao Leilei and little Nai Nai were left staring at each other with wide eyes, not sure what was wrong with Xia Shuriyao at all. Xia Shuriyao, who returned to her room, looked at the dialing interface, suddenly some hesitation. She didn't know what to say when she called over.
Say, why do you want to say those shy words? Isn't this indirectly admitting that you are shy? Or to say dislike is good? Deep in my heart? No. Then will he think he's a flawed and petty person?
Xia Shuriyao flopped down on the soft bed, her face buried deep in the quilt, kicking her legs like a little girl. In the end, she still drummed up the courage, picked up the cell phone, directly called the voice of WeChat. The phone was answered in seconds after a beep, and Gu Xingyi's nice voice came from there.
Hello?
Xia Shuriyao's small face was still buried in the quilt, suffocating red, muffled voice said, Hello?
What are you doing now?
Xia Shuriyao didn't wait for Gu Xingyi's reply, but first waited for Gu Xingyi's mocking voice.
Ha! What are you doing? Performing to smother yourself with a quilt? Ha!
Xia Shuriyao exclaimed out in shock, raising her reddened little face in panic. She was startled, not knowing how Gu Xingyi knew what she was doing, and it wasn't until she saw the cell phone interface that she realized that what she had accidentally clicked was a video call. The big word social death was written on her face. Xia Shuriyao slightly opened her small mouth, as if in a trance, blankly looking at Gu Xingyi on the other end of the video.
Gu Xingyi touched his nose, such Xia Shuriyao was unexpectedly cute.
The next moment, Xia Shuriyao gave a cry of envy and buried her face into the quilt like an ostrich, never wanting to get up again.
Shame on you. You're not allowed to laugh.
A dull voice came from the quilt, and Gu Xingyi finally had the sense to stop laughing.
Fine. I won't laugh. I was just about to leave the house to go to my apartment. Are you coming to pick me up? Then you wait for me there.
Only then did Xia Shuriyao raise her head, a pair of watery almond eyes staring at Gu Xingyi on the other end of the video screen, her pretty face still flushed and flawless, only her voice was no longer dull. She still didn't ask Gu Xingyi why he sent that video. There are some things that don't really seem to need to be asked. It's just that she didn't ask, but Gu Xingyi was the first to talk about it.
However, there are some things I still have to say. Xia Shuriyao, what have you been hacked into? Why didn't you tell me? What the hell do you take me for?
Xia Shuriyao pursed her lips, a little silent. What does she take him for?
In fact, Xia Shuriyao is also a bit confused. Do you like Gu Xingyi?
Xia Shuriyao asked herself in her heart. Just quickly, she got the answer, is like. She likes him after the change. He carefully takes care of his own mother and his wife. Those delicate life moves make her happy. The heartache and purity in his eyes when he looks at himself can't be faked. This kind of Gu Xingyi is hard not to let people like. Only the past experience made Xia Shuriyao a little afraid to let go of her heart. After waiting for a long time, Gu Xingyi didn't wait for Xia Shuriyao's answer, and then he also fell silent. Only after a long time did Gu Xingyi's voice ring out again, only this time his voice clearly carried some feeling of loss.
It's okay if you don't say anything, I'm downstairs, come pick me up.
The video hung up before Xia Shuriyao came back to her senses, recalling Gu Xingyi's tone just now. Her heart suddenly ached like a pinprick.
Had she let him down?
Xia Shuriyao was busy getting up from the bed. She suddenly wanted to see him quickly. Thinking like this, her steps couldn't help but speed up, running towards the door. Tao Leilei was still wondering what Xia Shuriyao was doing alone in her room in the middle of the day. The next moment, she saw Xia Shuriyao stumbling out of her room, and then ran out the door just like that. Tao Leilei frowned. Sister Shuriyao seems to be crying? Xia Shuriyao did cry. She didn't want to, but she just couldn't help the tears from welling up in her eyes. She was suddenly afraid that because she didn't answer, Gu Xingyi would be sad and leave them. All the bits and pieces of this period of time flashed through her mind, and she became even more afraid. Obviously he was already working very hard to get closer to himself. Why did she hesitate? It wasn't until the car arrived downstairs of the hotel, and Xia Shuriyao saw that figure standing upright in the sunlight, that she finally breathed a sigh of relief, followed by stretching out her fists as if cheering herself up. The car stopped beside Gu Xingyi. Gu Xingyi got on the car. He didn't seem to have any fluctuation in his mood. After he got on the car, he just quietly looked out the window. Xia Shuriyao didn't start the car, so she turned around and stared at Gu Xingyi's side face. She took several deep breaths, then finally spoke. Gu Xingyi, I'm sorry. Only then did Gu Xingyi turn his head and looked at Xia Shuriyao's slightly red eyes. In fact, when Xia Shuriyao didn't give a clear answer, it was hard on his heart as well. But when he saw Xia Shuriyao like this, He couldn't help but laugh bitterly. It was like he just never had it, right?
No need to apologize.
Xia Shiyao, actually, I'm not the Gu Xingyi you think I am yet, so you don't have to feel guilty about anything.
Then are you Gu Xingyi?
Xia Shiyao was still looking straight into his eyes, her gaze still like water. Gu Xingyi suddenly remembered the conversation that Xia Shiyao had with him earlier at the playground, where Xia Shiyao asked him, "Who are you?"
He replied, "I'm Gu Xingyi."
Now that Xia Shiyao asked herself back, Gu Xingyi scratched his head.
I'm Gu Xingyi.
Then you're the Gu Xingyi I think you are.
Hearing Xia Shiyao's firm reply, Gu Xingyi was suddenly stunned as he tried to clench his somewhat trembling fists.
But I'm a little scared. I'm afraid that one day, you guys don't need me anymore.
Gu Xingyi.
Xia Shiyao suddenly interrupted him. Looking at Gu Xingyi like this, she felt heartbroken. She reached out her hand and held Gu Xingyi's somewhat trembling hand with force, gently leaning on him again. Gu Xingyi, you are Nai Nai's father and my husband. No matter when or what happens, we won't leave you. And Nai Nai and I don't want much. Those talents of yours Nai Nai and I will only appreciate. But that's not the most important thing.
The most important thing is that you are by our side and treat us well. We are satisfied.
A delicate body in her arms, warm words, nothing could put Gu Xingyi's mind at ease more than this. Gu Xingyi embraced Xia Shiyao and suddenly smiled. He got the answer he wanted, and that was enough. From now on, besides Xia Shiyao and little Nai Nai, nothing could shake his Dao heart. The two of them only coexisted for a few moments. Xia Shiyao scurried out of Gu Xingyi's arms in embarrassment, a small face parched with heat. This was already the maximum she could do right now. Gu Xingyi didn't force himself, he just had a silly smile on his face, which made Xia Shiyao even more shy. She glanced at the giggling Gu Xingyi with a flavorful glance, and snorted, and laughed out loud as well.
This fool! So well satisfied?
The car slowly drove away from the hotel and traveled towards the apartment. It was only this round trip that the two men's state of mind had completely changed.
How is it possible? Impossible. How could Xingyao be that little white boy Gu Xingyi? Pa!
Inside the Tianmei Entertainment Artist apartment in Jiangcheng, Lu Qian swept away the cosmetics on the table as if she was crazy. The cosmetics fell heavily on the ground, making ear-piercing cracking sounds. As if Lu Qian was still unsatisfied, she went up and stomped on it with her feet as if she was venting her anger, and what was scrapped together with the cosmetics was a lawyer's letter sent by the legal department of Sound and Sea Entertainment. She was raked over the coals, and the person who made the post immediately gave her up as the mastermind when he saw that things weren't right. As Tonehaven Entertainment had ordered her to take a break, she knew that she was finished. In a few more days, she would surely be sitting in the defendant's chair. Sister Yuan, who was not far away, watched the scene gloatingly. As an old fox she knew that things would definitely not be that simple.
Sure enough, things turned out to be even more outrageous than she expected. Gu Xingyi? Xingyao? Oh, what a deep hide.
Sister Yuan sighed darkly. Of course she knew Gu Xingyi. 2 years ago Xia Shiyao's matter was a big deal in the company. No one looked favorably on that little white boy in the beginning. But I didn't expect that now the little white boy had bared his fangs and steeply turned into an awakened tiger. The first one to suffer the backlash was Lu Qian. It had to be said that Xia Shiyao's vision was really good.
I'm not convinced. Sister Yuan, give me the cell phone to use.
Lu Qian was gasping for air, both her eyes glistening with blood. Her cell phone had been shattered by her long ago in the first place.
Sister Yuan just glanced at her faintly and said in a nonchalant manner, "What do you have to be unconvinced of? You can't sing better than others. You don't look as good as others. Even finding a man is not as good as others. You're here to tell me you're not convinced?"
Lu Qian abruptly twisted her head around and looked straight at Sister Yuan, who was not the least bit afraid and still glanced at her.
What? Did I say something wrong? When you are imprisoned, the contract between us will naturally end. You should understand what the company means, right? What rest? They abandoned you a long time ago. Why?
Lu Qian gritted her teeth, still unable to believe that the company had abandoned her.
Why? You're still asking why?
The company needs a money tree. You have no value at all, so you were naturally cast aside. As a person who has been there, Sister Yuan said something to you from the bottom of her heart. You also have a few good looks. When you come out, find an honest man to marry.
Don't toss and turn. Ha! Oh, then shouldn't I thank you? My good Sister Yuan.
Lu Qian gasped and laughed. This was the moment they finally tore their faces apart.
In that case, can I borrow Sister Yuan's cell phone for a bit? Just for a bit. It's also counted as a beginning and an end between us.
Sister Yuan looked at Lu Qian, who suddenly revealed a wry smile, and her brows furrowed again.
What else do you want?
Lu Qian was still smiling, only the smile was more or less oozing, causing goosebumps to rise on Sister Yuan's body.
What do I want? Fish death. What right does she have over Xia Shiyao? She used to be on top of me at every turn. It was so hard to get rid of her. I didn't expect her to come out again. She's an orphan. How can she be better than me? Even in the area of finding a man, she has to crush me. Ha ha. But now that I know that Xingyao is Gu Xingyi, Then I still have a killer weapon. If I can't move Xia Shuriao, then I'll make Gu Xingyi lose his reputation. Screw me over. Then no one will be good enough.
Sister Yuan narrowed her eyes and looked carefully at the matin Lu Qian.
She had gone insane. Sister Yuan wanted to tell her, what's wrong with Xia Shuriao being an orphan? She's never fought with you. Her character and personality are a million times better than yours. But Sister Yuan couldn't say it. She knew that Lu Qian was now at the point of dying. Any blow would make her lose her mind. Good. The cell phone is given to you. But you remember, all this that you are doing now has nothing to do with me. I know.
Sister Hope, are you scared?
Ha ha. Lu Qian laughed out loud and added, don't worry. What I'm going to do this time, that's what really happened. There's not a single bit of falsehood. Sister Yuan, you just wait and watch the show.
Sister Yuan glanced deeply at Lu Qian, but still handed over her cell phone. Lu Qian took the phone and dialed a number under Sister Yuan's gaze, and a man's voice came from the opposite side of the receiver.
Hello? Looking for someone? Hello? Gao Chang, this is Lu Qian. Magic City.
Gu Xingyi was currently eating lunch in his apartment, only the atmosphere on the table, today, seemed a bit different. Little Nai Nai hadn't changed much, still eating happily. Sister Yin had an anti-smile on her face the whole time, slowly picking at the lobster, washing it in water, and then feeding it to little Nai Nai's mouth. Tao Lele had a shocked look on her face as she lowered her head and grubbed at her meal, sneaking a glance at the two of them sitting across from her, Xia Shuriao, every now and then. Xia Shuriao's pretty face and even her neck were all red. She couldn't wait to bury her head into the bowl and didn't dare to look at the few people on the table. What caused the crowd to be like this was because of Gu Xingyi, who was giggling at the moment, helping Xia Shuriao to pick up the crayfish, and personally feeding it to her mouth with chopsticks. Xia Shuriao felt that this person was not normal anymore. Ever since he just got down from the car, he suddenly wasn't normal. But Gu Xingyi didn't feel there was anything wrong with being like this. Just now in the car, Xia Shuriao had admitted that she was her husband. Gu Xingyi, who had never been in love, could think of a way to get close was to hand-feed her.
Is that wrong? There's nothing wrong with it.
Xia Shuriao finally couldn't stand the crowd's strange eyes. She felt like her pretty face was like this crayfish.
It was all cooked. Can you not be like this? I'll just do it myself.
After saying that, she raised her head, her eyes looked at Gu Xingyi with shyness, the pout in her eyes looked at Gu Xingyi for a moment.
Original. Being watched by a girl with a pouty gaze was such a cool thing. Gu Xingyi felt completely enlightened. In the past, he always felt that love dogs don't even talk about it. Now he just wanted to say, it's so fragrant. Good. Then do it yourself.
Gu Xingyi stopped feeding his wife, turned around, and proceeded to start feeding little Nai Nai. Xia Shuriao blankly glanced at Gu Xingyi helplessly.
It seemed like this man couldn't eat properly today. The previous him wasn't like this either. But fortunately, after the meal, Gu Xingyi finally got normal. He sat on his butt on the sofa and began to think about what song to write for the next competition. With only 3 days between each competition, the rules of the Star Song Exchange had always been so cruel. 16-8, Xia Shuriao won easily, the next 8-4 match might not be so simple. As the elimination goes on, the remaining contestants will only get stronger and stronger. Their singing skills are not inferior to Xia Shuriao at all. The competition is the song and play on the spot. It was not easy for anyone to come up with a good original song in 3 days. Even Gu Xingyi was starting to worry. He was torn between what kind of song to choose this time, in order to ensure that he would get the victory. As for Xia Shuriao, she wasn't idle either. She was sitting right next to Gu Xingyi, and there were a few sheets of songwriting paper spread out on the table, as she perfected the song she had been thinking of all these days. The one that always lacked a bit of melody, but now, she slowly seemed to have caught the tail end of that bit of melody. Xia Shuriao locked her brows tightly and kept humming in her mind. This piece of melody was like a cat's claw that kept scratching one's heart. Whenever Xia Shuriao tried to grab it, it always mischievously shrunk back. Until the evening, when Gu Xingyi had already left, she hadn't been able to completely make this song out. Almost. So close. Xia Shuriao was so anxious that she scratched her originally smooth hair into a chicken nest. In the end, when it was late at night and little Nai Nai had long gone to sleep, Xia Shuriao finally put down the half-finished sheet music and lyrics, and helplessly lay down on her bed. Sometimes inspiration is something that can't be forced, not even a fraction of a mile, but once you realize it, it will be as comforting as an enlightenment. After all, not everyone is the same as Gu Xingyi, directly with a plug-in on the field. Early the next morning, Xia Shuriao had just woken up from her nap, and before she could wash up, she realized that a big story about Gu Xingyi on the internet had once again hit the hot search. These days the hot searches about Gu Xingyi and herself didn't stop. Xia Shuriao didn't take it seriously at first, but as she saw the title of the post, her eyes instantly contracted. At this moment, her heart completely panicked. The netizens seemed to have gotten used to it. Ever since Xing Yao's account appeared in the public's view, they could see his topic every day.
Today was the same, and when the melon-eating army once again saw a post with Gu Xingyao in the title, they didn't have the slightest surprise and naturally clicked on it. This kind of thing was the only thing that was familiar to the Hans. Right now, the day they didn't see Xingyao's name, they were all over the place. But this time was different. When the melon-eating army clicked on the post, they actually froze collectively. They rubbed their eyes, as if they couldn't believe what they were seeing.
Starry Yao? Domestic violence? Laughing. Yesterday they were all brushing up on the wife-favoring devil Gu Xingyi. Today you're telling us he's a domestic abuser? You'd have to find a better reason to make things up. Who would believe that? After the melon army froze, they couldn't help but laugh, and they urgently clicked on the video in the post, wanting to see what this then in the end are talking about. Two men appeared in the video with serious faces. Some people recognized them as former members of the boy band with Gu Xingyi. One was called Gao Chang and the other Su Bin. Seeing this, melon netizens will smile, these two out to brush their presents? Can't see others well? At this time, Gao Chang opened his mouth. Hello everyone. I'm Gao Chang from the Flower Boys. Some of you should recognize me. That's right, I'm the current popular lyricist Xingyao, Gu Xingyi's former friend. Why do you say former? Because later on, I was ashamed to be in the company of such people. I guess you must not believe me when you hear this, he's so hot nowadays. Why do I still hate him so much? You'll know when you hear me out. What I want to say is that ever since he got married, he's been calling members of our boy band and he wants to make a comeback. Originally, we had some consideration for his request. After all, we were all friends before, but when he called, we knew one thing. So we rejected him decisively. And that was Gu Xingyi. He's a domestic violence man. I have the phone recording here as proof. It's a coincidence that at that time, when he called about wanting to make a comeback, I happened to record it because of that, not realizing that it would now be an important piece of evidence to expose him as a hypocrite. I don't know how he could have released Xia Shiyao now and had the ability to keep Xia Shiyao from accusing him, but I guarantee that all of what I said above is the truth. Since I, Gao Chang, dare to show my face, I am not afraid to confront him face to face. When the melon-eating netizens heard this, they were all a bit silent for a moment, although they believed in Gu Xingyi and in Xingyao's character. But this Gao Chang's words, real names and evidence, made them also a little shaken for a moment. At this time, Su Bin in the video also spoke, picking up his cell phone and shaking it in front of the camera. Hello everyone. I'm Su Bin. I can testify. What Gao Chang said is all true, and now I'm holding Gao Chang's cell phone in my hand. Now let's listen to the original recording together. After saying that, Su Bin unlocked his phone, and on the screen of the phone was a recording of a phone call. With a smile on his face, he casually clicked on the recording. The netizens all perked up their ears at this moment, wanting to listen carefully to what was inside. Hello, brother Gao? I'm Gu Xingyi. Do you have time tonight? Buy you a drink. It was Gu Xingyi's voice. The netizens immediately became unsettled and continued to listen down. Gao Chang's faint tone followed. Hello, little Gu Ah? Drinking is even better. What's the matter directly? Alright, I thought you had time, brother Gao. It's like this, do you think I can still go back to the company? Xiao Gu. It's not that I'm talking about you, you're married to a popular young flower. Why do you still think so much? He. Brother Gao. Women are just like clothes, I've figured it out now. It's still important to have a career. So if you want to make a comeback, can Xia Shiyao give it to you? Didn't you guys just have a kid? Brother Gao. I won't hide it from you. This family. I'm the boss. How dare she refuse? Just give her a beating. It's all about women. You can't spoil her. Hearing this, the majority of netizens can no longer listen. This him. Still a man? Pandering to the outside world and bullying his own woman? Vomit. Disgusting. Hearing this is not only the majority of female netizens cannot stand, one by one, all transformed into a god of war, began to spray Gu Xingyi too, even the male compatriots are filled with righteous indignation. This can't be called a man. The recording was also all over at this time, and Gao Chang continued to speak with an angry look on his face. Everyone has heard it. This is the so-called wife-favoring fiend you all talk about. Gu Xingyi. I don't believe that a person can change that much in a short period of time, so please polish your eyes and don't be deceived by this two-faced person. One last word. I, Gao Chang. I am at loggerheads with this kind of domestic violence man. The video came to an abrupt end here. However, the anger of the majority of netizens couldn't be stopped, and a flood of comments appeared at the bottom of the post. Labor is really blind. Only then would I like this kind of person. Vomit. I threw up when I heard the recording. It's hard to imagine. What kind of a filthy being he is behind his back. Gmei guys. Follow me and punch Starry Yao's Dojinshi. Get a statement from him. How much I liked him before. How disgusting it is now. It's only people with no guts who would lay hands on their loved ones. Have the guts to come out and be cross. I'm also angry. But a weak word. Is it possible that this isn't Xingyao? It is him. I can hear his voice even with my eyes closed. Shit. I have to go wash my ears. It's really dirtying my ears. Where's Xia Shuriyao? Why doesn't she come out and sue him? This kind of scum. Keep him for the new year. The internet was full of curses for a while. This kind of behavior had touched everyone's bottom line. It answered the saying, how much people liked him before, how much they hated him after knowing this. No one could have imagined that their favorite idol would be something like this. Gu Xingyi's Douyin, even more so, was directly smashed, and countless people were cursing angrily below as they told Gu Xingyi to get out and speak. The online crowd was furious, and Gu Xingyi, at the moment, was also looking at this post on the Weibo. He quietly listened to the recording in the video. A few moments later, the familiar feeling of nausea surged up again, and he once again ran to the bathroom and began to vomit. At this moment, it was as if he was back in that depressing atmosphere. Regarding the past, Gu Xingyi could only feel bad. He couldn't change anything. But he couldn't refute it either, because all those things had actually existed, and the damage Xia Shuriyao had once suffered would only be more. This moment for Xia Shuriyao was also considered a vindication. Gu Xingyi just fumed, from crossing over to now. For the first time he couldn't do anything. The phone rang and rang by his side. He didn't answer it, he didn't even look at it, he didn't know who was calling, and he didn't know how to answer it. Gu Xingyi chose to escape for the first time. He covered himself into the quilt, as if ignoring it wouldn't be so hard. What's hard for him is not being scolded. What's hard is those memories coming back to his mind, those sufferings that Xia Shuriyao and Nai suffered surfaced again. What's hard is his heart. No matter how many times he comes back, he can't accept the mistakes that this body made before. It was only then that Gu Xingyi realized that he had never forgiven himself. Since crossing over, he had been making up for the two of them all the time, but he still couldn't change the fact that he had. When the bloody scars were uncovered, he realized that what he couldn't get past was himself. Gu Xingyi was like this, like an ostrich, shrinking himself into a ball, shrinking in this small space. At this moment in the artist's apartment, on the sofa, Xia Shuriyao, with an anxious face, called Gu Xingyi's phone over and over again. After seeing that post, she was incredibly worried, and she knew that no one could understand the current Gu Xingyi better than herself. She had watched him change, watched him redeem himself a little, she understood it all. Now that this suddenly happened, Xia Shuriyao didn't really have much of a feeling. What was in the past would never be seen again, she was beyond sure. But she knew Gu Xingyi, now he certainly can't forgive himself. Beside her, Sister Yin and Tao Lele had a heartbroken look on their faces. The first time they saw the post, they were also both incredibly angry. Tao Lele even wanted to kill to the hotel, questioning Gu Xingyi, are those all true? Did you really hit Sister Shuriyao? But when they saw Xia Shuriyao's worried and anxious face, they didn't know what to do. Even if those are true, but Xia Shuriyao's still anxious for him, that heartache color are almost overflowing out, and even with them seeing Xia Shuriyao like this, their hearts are not good up. The phone still didn't get through. Gu Xingyi seemed to have evaporated. Xia Shuriyao's heart immediately clenched. The little Nai in her arms raised her eyes, looking at her mom's anxious appearance. She stretched out her two little hands to reach out and hug Xia Shuriyao's hands. Mommy, are you calling Daddy? Looking at the understanding Nai, Xia Shuriyao gripped the cell phone hard and nodded her head. Then why doesn't Mommy go look for Daddy? Little Nai looked at Xia Shuriyao suspiciously. Why would Xia Shuriyao not want to go look for him? Only, she was afraid that Gu Xingyi would be even more upset if he saw her at this time. But when she saw little Nai's eyes, Xia Shuriyao couldn't sit still anymore, panicked, stood up and staggered outside. She was going to find him. Sister Shioyo. Lele. Let her go. Tao Lele anxiously tried to stop her. It was the first time she had seen Xia Shuriyao so flustered, but Sister Yin shook her head and stopped her. Both of them looked towards the door with worried faces. Xia Shuriyao figure had already disappeared. Soon, Xia Shuriyao arrived at the hotel. After getting off the car, she jogged all the way, and by the time she arrived at the door of the room where Gu Xingyi was, she was out of breath. After slowing down a bit, she bit her lips and gently knocked on the door. There was no response inside the door. Xia Shuriyao didn't hesitate and continued to knock. She must knock him out today. Gu Xingyi nestled in the quilt. He heard the knocking outside. He didn't want to move. Today he felt like a walking corpse. But the knocking outside didn't stop, over and over again, like it wouldn't stop. Gu Xingyi finally got up, dragging his heavy body to open the door. What met his eyes was Xia Shuriyao's pretty face with red eyes. Obviously yesterday, he still felt that being with Xia Shuriyao was such a pleasant thing, but after just one day, he didn't even dare to look at her when he saw her again. Gu Xingyi's eyes dodged, and he was stuck in front of the door, not knowing what to do. She must have seen that post as well. Was she remembering the past again? Get out of the way. I'm going in. Xia Shuriyao bit her lip and moved Gu Xingyi's arm out of the way, walking into the room herself first. Gu Xingyi was silent, closing the door like a prisoner about to go to the torture chamber, following behind her. You. What do you think? Gu Xingyi's voice was a little hoarse. His heart was more than a little terrified. Now that everyone knows, what will she do? Divorce?
Divorce now, everyone would turn toward her, she would never have to be wronged again.
Gu Xingyi. Xia Shiyao knew what Gu Xingyi was thinking when she saw his eyes. She was furious. She reached out and yanked Gu Xingyi onto the bed, hugging his arm and biting down hard.
Xia Shiyao was really exerting her strength.
It really hurt.
Gu Xingyi ate the pain and felt his spirit all of a sudden clear up quite a bit. He subconsciously wanted to retract his arm, but then he stopped it quickly.
Letting her vent, she would feel better, right?
Until Xia Shiyao reacted and let go of her mouth. Looking up at the still gentle Gu Xingyi, her tears could no longer be controlled.
Are you stupid?
She roared, then pulled Gu Xingyi's sleeve away. There was already a row of deep teeth marks glistening with blood on the top of his arm.
Alright, this makes it even,
Xia Shiyao said with a sobbing voice, her entire body flinging itself into Gu Xingyi's arms.
I've been domestically abused as well. It's evened out. You're not allowed to be upset anymore.
Feeling the flaming body in his arms, Gu Xingyi completely froze, and after half a day, he couldn't believe it when he touched Xia Shiyao's head. It was true. Gu Xingyi's mood seemed to go from hell to heaven at once. He grinned. It's true, Xia Shiyao said, get even. From the time he crossed over to now, he had always been careful, because he felt indebted, although he could say that it wasn't him before, but, who could know that it wasn't him? That wasn't him, it was him again, so Gu Xingyi had never been able to forgive himself. He paid more for Xia Shiyao and Nai Nai. He felt that it was not enough. Gu Xingyi had always felt this way, and he had always done the same. He had no ego because he loathed himself. Yet now, there was someone who told him to get even. It was so good. Gu Xingyi couldn't stop the tears from falling. Not only was he redeeming them, he had been trying to redeem himself as well. The two people hugged and sobbed together like fools. Take. From now on, no more of this. Nai Nai and I will worry about you. Slowly, Xia Shiyao stopped first, her voice smothered in Gu Xingyi's arms coming out. Gu Xingyi nodded, his voice still a bit hoarse. It won't. In fact, other than you guys, no one can shake my Dao heart. Humph. Just know how to say it. Xia Shiyao raised her head, her sultry red face and slightly red eyes made her look watery, as if she suddenly thought of something. Her eyes carried some hard-to-hide excitement. Right. I seem to have thought of that melody. What melody? Looking at Xia Shiyao's bird-like appearance in his arms, Gu Xingyi couldn't help but get his hands on her, rubbing her head and asking. This sense of reality gave him great satisfaction. Xia Shiyao struggled slightly and blankly glanced at him, this look of his, as if he was rubbing a dog's head? Just the song I've been working on myself. I always lacked a bit of inspiration before, but now it suddenly came to me. Xia Shiyao still broke away from Gu Xingyi's embrace. She now wanted to perfect the song quickly while she was inspired. The warm and soft petite body left. Gu Xingyi had some regrets. He hadn't hugged her enough. He scratched his head, stood up and took out the song paper from his own backpack and handed it to her. I was going to write a song tonight, I just didn't realize. Since you have a song, why don't you write it? Gu Xingyi put all the paper and pencils away and stood by the bedside, looking at Xia Shiyao. He also wanted to see what song was troubling Xia Shiyao for so long. Xia Shiyao nodded vigorously with a red face. She thought for a moment and sat on the bed with her legs crossed, taking the paper and pen over. Ever since she came to Magic City, most of the melody of this song has been echoing in her mind, and she has been composing it all along. She just couldn't always catch that little bit of melody, and now that she has caught it, the whole song naturally came to fruition. Writing the sheet music, humming a little tune, Xia Shiyao wrote very quickly. Just a few moments of work, a complete tune appeared on the paper. She raised her eyes and looked straight at Gu Xingyi under the light, her eyes glowing with joy. Finally, she had made it. She herself wasn't a vase yet. Do you want to take a look? Xia Shiyao asked. Gu Xingyi had a smile on his face and shook his head gently. I'd rather you sing it for me. Xia Shiyao lowered her head, her face turned even redder. She was a little embarrassed. This song was completely written by her according to her own state of mind. It was also considered an alternative confession. Sing. It seems like you haven't sung to me alone yet? Gu Xingyi urged. Xia Shiyao blushed and whispered, there are no lyrics yet. Humming is fine. Gu Xingyi laughed. Unable to withstand Gu Xingyi's request, Xia Shiyao shyly nodded her head. Without accompaniment, everything was so natural, and Xia Shiyao's humming sounded softly, as if it was a reflection of her mood at this moment. She and he both needed some courage. The moment the melody sounded, Gu Xingyi directly froze in place. He looked at Xia Shiyao, his gaze slightly shocked. For no other reason, this melody, he had heard it before, and it was in the original world. Just not sure yet, Gu Xingyi continued to listen attentively, until a section of Xia Shiyao's humming came to an end, and Gu Xingyi suddenly interrupted. Wait! After saying that, Gu Xingyi hurriedly picked up the pen and paper again, quickly writing on the paper. Xia Shiyao was a bit confused, not knowing why he was interrupting when she was singing properly, but when she put her head together to see what Gu Xingyi was writing, her eyes abruptly released a light. Written on the paper was the large title, Courage. Are these the lyrics? Gu Xingyi just listened to her humming and wrote the lyrics? As Xia Shiyao continued to read on, the two of their heads came together, illuminated under the light, like a pair of divine lovers. Seeing the lyrics, Xia Shiyao was even more surprised. These were the kind of lyrics she always wanted, even better than she thought. She had also written a little bit of lyrics, just compared to this, it was much inferior. Xia Shiyao blushed and shifted her gaze to Gu Xingyi's serious side face. He really looked good when he was serious. And the lyrics, he did understand what he was thinking. Thinking of this, Xia Shiyao was a bit mesmerized for a moment and couldn't help but gently kiss Gu Xingyi's side face. Gu Xingyi's hand, which was writing the lyrics, suddenly shook, his pen and ink fainted, and he froze, his eyes blank and unfocused, his whole person is petrified. He could clearly feel the wetness on the right side of his face, as well as that soft touch just now. Gu Xingyi looked down at the lyrics on the paper, his heart exploded, only to feel that heaven and earth were hanging upside down at this moment. This was the courage Xia Shiyao wanted to express, right? Xia Shiyao panicked after kissing Gu Xingyi. She lowered her face, wishing there was a crack in the ground for her to burrow into. Just now she didn't know what was wrong with her. Ghostly, she kissed him. Luckily Gu Xingyi didn't have much of a reaction, otherwise Xia Shiyao felt sure that she would have to run away in a mess. At this moment, Gu Xingyi was holding back very hard. He also knew that Xia Shiyao was thin-skinned. He forced himself to hold back the throbbing in his heart and continued to write the lyrics, until he finished writing. He then breathed a sigh of relief and turned his face around to pretend as if nothing had happened to him and handed the lyrics to Xia Shiyao. Nah, look, this time you can sing it to me in its entirety. Xia Shiyao still lowered her head, her voice as tiny as a mosquito fly, only her small hand reached out and took the lyrics and put them on her lap. Seeing the complete lyrics, Xia Shiyao realized how good the song was. You follow the lyrics to the sheet music and sing it again? Gu Xingyi looked at Xia Shiyao with anticipation in his eyes. The humming just now had already made him feel amazing. If there were lyrics again, wouldn't it be even more perfect? This song should not be too hot in its previous life. It was used by countless people to play with the existence of stems. Who gave you the courage? Gu Xingyi was a little excited at the thought of it in his heart. Then I'll sing. Xia Shiyao said in a small voice. She also wanted to hear what her tune would be like with this lyrics. The room quieted down and Xia Shiyao opened her mouth again, singing softly. Finally made this decision. I don't care what others say, as long as you are just as sure. I'm willing to the ends of the earth and sea will go with you. I know everything is not easy. My heart has been warming up to convince myself that I'm most afraid of you suddenly saying you want to give up. As soon as he opened his mouth, Gu Xingyi froze. He clenched his fists with a smile at the corner of his mouth, staring closely at Xia Shiyao. It was as if this song was tailor-made for Xia Shiyao. It was worthy of being composed by her. At the same time, Gu Xingyi was surprised that two different worlds could rub the same sparks together. Love really needs courage to face gossip. As long as you give me a look of affirmation, my love will have meaning. We both need the courage to believe that we'll be together. Crowded with people, I can feel you, in my hand, your true heart. At this point, Xia Shiyao was also completely immersed in the song, recalling every bit of her relationship with Gu Xingyi as if she was walking around in her mind. Love really needs courage. He made a change. She made a decision. From now on, one person holds an umbrella and two people walk, not caring about what others think, and withstanding all the gossip. This was the courage she had been trying to express all this time. Xia Shiyao sang softly. Gu Xingyi listened quietly. He was now listening not to the song, but to Xia Shiyao's heart. Such a treasure girl, how could he not fall for her? The song continued. Gu Xingyi and Xia Shiyao both had the courage to face the future at this point. If my strong capriciousness will accidentally hurt you, can you gently remind? Although my heart is too eager, I'm more afraid of missing you. These lyrics made Xia Shiyao like it even more. It was as if Gu Xingyi was murmuring in her ear. It was as if he was telling himself that he was more afraid of missing himself. Xia Shiyao raised her head and met Gu Xingyi's gaze. The two of them looked at each other like this. The thoughts contained in their eyes were clearly expressed. Having you is enough. At this time inside the apartment, little Nai Nai sipped her yogurt and burped. She beamed with dissatisfaction and looked at Tao Lele beside her. Auntie Lele, what's taking Mom and Dad so long to come back? Did they forget about Nai Nai? After the song, the two of them slowed down. Gu Xingyi nodded to Xia Shiyao with a smile on his face. It's very nice to listen to. Next match, steady. A touch of shyness rose on Xia Shiyao's face. She lowered her head, fiddling with the song manuscript paper in her hand. It's your lyrics that are good. No. If it wasn't for your wife's tune, I wouldn't have thought of such lyrics. The two of them began a commercial mutual praise mode. Only Xia Shiyao obviously didn't have someone's thick skin, and after hearing the 4 words your wife, she was completely defeated, like an ostrich, burying her face into her arms and refusing to come out. This was the first time Gu Xingyi called her wife face to face. Xia Shiyao's heart was shy and a little bit gorgeous. However, Gu Xingyi hadn't appreciated the beauty in front of him enough, when his cell phone unconsciously rang, interrupting the subtle atmosphere in the room. Gu Xingyi copied the cell phone, and the screen displayed Minister Yang's note.
Gu Xingyi raised his eyebrows. It seemed that Yang Lin had also seen the post. What he didn't know was that Yang Lin hadn't seen the post. She was going crazy. She didn't believe the post when she saw it, but until Gu Xingyi's Douyin was so washed out that it needed the technical department to maintain it, he didn't even come out to clarify, which made Yang Qianlin's heart drum. Could it be that what was said on the internet was true? Yang Qianlin couldn't believe it. When she thought of Gu Xingyi in her mind, he was a gentle and talented person. Would such a person commit domestic violence? She waited for a long time, but did not wait for Gu Xingyi's clarification video, so she couldn't hold back any longer and made the call. The call connected, and Gu Xingyi's still gentle voice came through. Hello? Can I help you? Yang Lin was stunned. Did he not know about this? No. Nothing, it's just that there are some bad comments about you on the internet. Aren't you going to clarify it? Gu Xingyi scratched his head and subconsciously looked at Xia Shiyao. At this moment, Xia Shiyao was fiddling with the manuscript paper, pretending to be serious, but the gaze she secretly cast from time to time, obviously absent-minded, proved that her attention wasn't even on the song at the moment. Gu Xingyi winked at her, and Xia Shiyao's small face abruptly reddened, busily glancing away from her gaze as a thief. No need to clarify, that's all true. Gu Xingyi answered Yang Jianlin, the phone followed by silence. Half a day later, Yang Jianlin's voice came out. Why? I don't believe it. I have the impression that you... I'm sorry Minister Yang, to interrupt. What I want to say is, how much does Minister Yang know about me? Those on the internet are true, there's nothing to clarify. If you do something wrong, you have to be punished. As for those remarks on the internet, let them say it. As long as the people I care about understand me, that's enough. Gu Xingyi interrupted Yang Jianlin's words and said calmly, his gaze was always on Xia Shiyao. He didn't care what others thought of him, he hadn't wanted to be liked by so many people, he only needed this person in front of him to like him and that was enough. The phone fell into silence again. Hearing Gu Xingyi's words, Yang Lin's heart was very bad. He only needed the people he cared about to understand him. What about himself? Okay, I'm just asking you, nothing else. It's okay, I'm hanging up then. Yang Lin's voice was obviously not right. Gu Xingyi didn't think too much about it, and after the phone hung up. You're too cold. That's not good. Gu Xingyi had just put down the phone when Xia Shiyao's voice came from his side. Gu Xingyi's head was full of questions. Was he indifferent? It seems like it's quite normal, right? One is speaking the truth and quite polite. That imperial sister should like you. Xia Shiyao said again, only this time her eyes were slightly dark. Yang Qianlin? Likes herself? Couldn't be? Gu Xingyi scratched his head, feeling a wave of headache, but he only treated her as a normal friend. Ahem, how do you know? Feelings. I believe in my feelings. Xia Shiyao raised her head and stared at Gu Xingyi, her tone firm. You have the wrong feeling. Also, it's all known that I'm a man with a wife and child. And I'm not going to go getting feelings for someone else, it's rude. Gu Xingyi continued to scratch his head and explained. The love in his heart, that should be serious and exclusive, otherwise it would be impolite to anyone. Looking at Gu Xingyi's sincere gaze, Xia Shiyao gave a soft but her heart still had some sense of urgency. Gu Xingyi doesn't like others, but it doesn't mean others won't like him. That imperial sister is very good, much better than her, she knows. Xia Shiyao continued to fiddle with the curved manuscript paper in her hands, as if there was a treasure there. Gu Xingyi looked at such Xia Shiyao suspiciously, thought carefully about the conversation he had with her, then suddenly figured out something. With a smile in his eyes, he pushed Xia Shiyao's arm. Is this jealousy? Xia Shiyao's entire body flustered, her face evenly red. Nope. No. The voice was quite loud, only this reaction was even bigger. Broken case. Just jealous. Gu Xingyi had a smile on his face as he continued to look at her. A jealous Xia Shiyao is also very nice to look at The more Xia Shiyao covered up, the more flustered she became. She could feel Gu Xingyi laughing at her. This feeling made her shy and annoyed. Finally, she couldn't resist Gu Xingyi's gaze any longer and threw the manuscript paper in her hand onto the bed as if she was posing. Right. I'm just jealous. Who let there be such a big beauty who likes you? Gu Xingyi's smile grew more and more prevalent as he suddenly leaned down and approached her, his voice full of compulsion. So, why don't I give you a stamp so that you won't be jealous? Gu Xingyi's face came so close that Xia Shiyao could feel his breath slap on her face, a feeling that made her heart beat like a drum, faster and faster, as if it was going to jump out of her throat. Then, she slowly closed her eyes, and her small mouth pouted slightly. In fact, Gu Xingyi was also tense, and when he saw Xia Shiyao close her eyes, he felt happy in his heart, secretly pinched his palms, closed his eyes, and slowly came up. Far ahead, far ahead. Right at this critical moment, Gu Xingyi's cell phone once again rang indisputably, startling both of them. Xia Shiyao even directly flung herself onto the bed, covering her face with the quilt, never daring to come out again. Gu Xingyi's eyelids jumped slightly, and he picked up the phone with a murderous rage. Hello? Which one? If you don't have anything big going on today, don't blame me for making you have something big. Gu Xingyi now hated to kill the person who had called. No sound came from the phone. Gu Xingyi frowned and looked at the caller ID. It was Chen Feng? Crazy man? What are you doing? Not talking either? Gu Xingyi bared his teeth. This retrograde son better not be okay, or else he would blame him for being righteous. After waiting for a while longer, Chen Feng's voice finally rang out, his tone filled with a shriveled air. Old Gu, what's going on online? Did you bully your sister-in-law? I'll be damned. Is this what you called about? It hasn't. I haven't even bullied her yet. You called. Gu Xingyi's voice was tinged with resentment as he once again looked at Xia Shiyao, who was hiding under the covers, and sighed again, his face filled with regret. Forget about that for now. What's wrong with your voice? Being taught a lesson by society? Chen Feng's voice was clearly not right. Gu Xingyi also came back to his senses after his anger subsided, and waited for a few more moments before Chen Feng's voice continued to come through. Sort of. Been taught a hard lesson. Are you free now? Can you come over, accompany me to drink 2 cups? You don't need to drink, accompany on the line, I'm on this side, just you a friend? Gu Xingyi's eyes slightly converged. Last time he vaguely felt that something was not right, did not expect that now Chen Feng really had an accident. He didn't hesitate and directly said to Chen Feng on the phone. Okay. Send me the location, I'm in Magic City now, I'll be there in 3 hours. Good. Chen Feng answered and the phone hung up. After Gu Xingyi hung up the phone, he helplessly gently patted Xia Shiyao who was still hiding under the covers. Your honorable wife, get up for a bit? Send me to the high-speed train station. Xia Shiyao had just been listening to Gu Xingyi's phone call and naturally knew that he had something to go, although she didn't know what exactly, but she had just heard Gu Xingyi's words quite serious. She didn't dawdle, directly burrowing out from the quilt, her smothered reddish little face reappearing. Good. Are you going to pack? I just have a backpack. It's just that I don't know how long it'll take to come back from this trip, so I can only put it here with you first. Gu Xingyi put his carry-on luggage inside the backpack and lifted it up to talk to Xia Shiyao. Xia Shiyao nodded. She had Sister Yin here, and Lele, they could both help carry Nai when she was on the show. It was very convenient. After packing up, Gu Xingyi checked out of the room and the two of them got on the car. Because it was a temporary departure, they could only take the high-speed train, but this distance high-speed train was not much slower than an airplane. On the way to the high-speed rail station, Xia Shiyao looked ahead and focused on driving the car. Gu Xingyi sat in the co-pilot and looked at the serious Xia Shiyao. This time I'm going to find Chen Feng. You've seen him before, my college friend. He seems to have encountered something, shouting for me to go over to accompany him for a while. Gu Xingyi told Xia Shiyao directly, saving her from worrying. Xia Shiyao softly her heart also relaxes. That Chen Feng, she has an impression, a very simple person, his character is still good. From the hotel to the high-speed train station, it took less than 20 minutes. Now it was just noon, the high-speed rail station was crowded. Gu Xingyi put on a mask and didn't let Xia Shiyao get off to send her. The two of them were hot topics right now, especially Gu Xingyi, who was black and red. Wearing a mask also prevented her from being recognized. I'm leaving. You don't need to send me off, be careful on your own way back, and I'll be there to watch your match if it's not too late. Gu Xingyi finished, smiled and rubbed Xia Shiyao's head. He suddenly liked rubbing her head now. Oh. Xia Shiyao's almond eyes flickered slightly, still a little unaccustomed to the emotions of parting. Alright, go back. Gu Xingyi got out of the car, slammed the door shut, and watched as Xia Shiyao drove slowly away from the high-speed rail station. At 3:30 in the afternoon, half an hour later than Gu Xingyi expected, mainly because of the delay in waiting for the train, Gu Xingyi arrived in Jiangchang. While on the high-speed train, Xia Shiyao called to report her safety and told herself to go back early. Nai missed him. Gu Xingyi snickered when he saw the message, wondering if it was Nai who missed him or her. Stopping a cab, Gu Xingyi went straight to the location Chen Feng had sent. It took another 10 minutes for the car to reach its destination, a 10-story commercial building, and Chen Feng's rented studio was on the 6th floor above it. When Gu Xingyi arrived at the studio, the door to the place was unlocked, so he naturally walked in. The windows were closed, the room smelled of alcohol, and there were beer cans all over the place, much like the scene when he first crossed over. Chen Feng was sitting paralyzed on the floor, holding up a can of beer and just drinking it dry. Gu Xingyi first opened the window as soon as he could, letting the fresh air circulate outside, before walking over to him and sitting down, removing his mask. Chen Feng hiccuped, his face pale and bloodless. When he saw Gu Xingyi, he raised the can of beer in his hand in greeting, his eyes disheveled and disoriented. Coming? Good brother. You're the only one who won't abandon me. Gu Xingyi disgustedly fanned in front of his nose twice. The smell of this alcohol, he smelled like he wanted to vomit, and it reminded him of bad memories. Tell me, what kind of major blow was it that made an optimistic person like you fall apart? Chen Feng was silent for a few moments before taking another drink from the can of beer, then squeezing it flat with force and dropping it on the ground. I mostly just really can't figure it out. Why? What did I do wrong or what? They want to do this to me? Chen Feng said through clenched teeth, casually copying another can of beer.
Gu Xingyi didn't stop him, he knew that right now Chen Feng needed to vent.
Double backstabbed? Chen Feng took another big gulp of beer and nodded. This pair of dogs. Old Gu, I really didn't expect this, and I can't figure it out. Nope. Lao Gu, did you guess it a long time ago?
Chen Feng suddenly remembered what Gu Xingyi had said to him when they first met, telling him to look at things more carefully in the future. Gu Xingyi shrugged and patted Chen Feng's shoulder again. At first I was just skeptical, in the middle of the night whose girlfriend called another man and it's your partner, not to call you instead of hitting her, it's just that this belongs to your personal emotional problems, I'm not good to intervene without authorization. Chen Feng's expression was a bit frozen, half a day later he let out a bitter smile, yes. If Gu Xingyi had been straightforward in the first place, maybe he would have gotten angry over it.
So, what's the situation now? Gu Xingyi continued to ask. As you can see, the entire studio, there is just this one empty shell, they have long been inside and outside the partnership, the studio hollowed out, my design is gone, the shares are gone, Of course, my girlfriend is also gone.
Chen Feng was disheveled again, his body completely collapsed, and once again tilted his head back to drink.
Gu Xingyi frowned at his words. I can understand if the girlfriend is gone, how did the shares get snapped away?
I transferred the shares to Ruan Chang. Chen Feng smiled sarcastically, this kind of thing, it was indeed a bit of a second stroke, it was only because Ruan Qing's acting skills were too high, he was momentarily mesmerized.
Gu Xingyi sighed in her heart, she could only accompany him silently, he was in this state, as if it was useless to say anything by himself, she could only wait until he was sober.
After smothering 2 more cans, Chen Feng suddenly turned his head over.
Right. I haven't asked you yet. What's going on with you? That post online?
Oh,
it's a long story, so let's just leave it at that. You just need to know that the old me was an asshole, that's all. And by the way, it was because of those things that I completely quit drinking. Those crap things in the past, Gu Xingyi didn't want to mention them again and simply skipped over them.
Chen Feng nodded his head and didn't ask more questions, but in turn patted Gu Xingyi's shoulder.
Then we belong to the same end of the world? Nonsense. Gu Xingyi was directly anxious. It's not like I'm the same as you, I'm fine with your sister-in-law and have a baby daughter, don't live too comfortably in the day. Rely. Are you here to comfort me or to strike me down?
Chen Feng was struck down a bit and once again smothered a sip, only because Gu Xingyi was by his side, he was obviously in such a better state than before.
Old Gu, if only I had your talent and was as handsome as you, wouldn't she have abandoned me? And wouldn't have acted for such a long time?
Now that I think about it, sometimes I really want to laugh, it's a good thing she was able to endure for so long. Looking at Chen Feng in this disheveled state, Gu Xingyi was a bit puzzled.
Crazy man, is it necessary to be so sad?
Chen Feng glanced at him with slanted eyes and suddenly asked,
what do you think? We've known each other for 2 years and dated for almost a year and a half, I really like her.
Old Gu,
let me just ask you, if Xia Shiyao leaves you one day, won't you be sad?
Gu Xingyi frowned, he hadn't thought about this question. He thought carefully and answered somewhat less surely, I suppose I would. After all, from crossing over, he had lived for them. Seeing this frowning and hesitant look on Gu Xingyi's face, Chen Feng suddenly gave Gu Xingyi a punch on the shoulder.
Shit! Is there still a need for hesitation here? Old Gu, do you know what love is or not?
Gu Xingyi was suddenly bewildered and fell into deep thought, he had always been a single dog before, how could he know what love was?
What was love? Did he really love Xia Shiyao? Gu Xingyi asked himself silently in his heart. Damn him! Is there any need to think about this? You think about love and who's the first person that comes to mind? That's not it.
Chen Feng slapped Gu Xingyi on the shoulder again, the whole person was completely speechless, letting him come to comfort himself, now how did it turn into himself enlightening him? Gu Xingyi was suddenly turned around by this slap.
Shit! He was a bullseye.
He was originally a person who had never been in love, and when he encountered this kind of problem at first glance, he couldn't help but think about it a bit more.
Did he love Xia Shiyao?
Yes. From the beginning when he only wanted to make up for the two of them, to later thinking that this kind of life was not bad, to later seeing the color. Until some small contacts in life made him slowly fall in love with her, Gu Xingyi was originally a very serious person, and what could impress him was never those big sensational events, but rather some small and uneventful things. As Chen Feng said this sentence, when you think of the word love, who appears in your mind, that is who. Gu Xingyi grinned a silly grin, and Chen Feng's heart was like a knife.
It seemed like he had somehow eaten a mouthful of dog food.
It was also at his most difficult time. It was true that the best of brothers knew how to irritate themselves the most. Chen Feng only felt the depression in his heart washed away in a flash, and he only wanted to jump up and violently whack this then.
But, I guess, Ruan Qing doesn't know about your family history, right?
Gu Xingyi was busy changing the topic, only this topic obviously made Chen Feng even more disheveled as he shook his head. No, I've always thought that she's a good girl and wouldn't care about that, I just didn't expect it. The corner of Gu Xingyi's mouth involuntarily twitched,
who is a good girl like this? Yoho, isn't this the domestic violence guy on the internet? Chen Feng, Wan Cheng was really right to leave you, this kind of friend you make?
Just as Gu Xingyi was about to speak again, a voice suddenly rang out from the studio door. Chen Feng's face steeply gloomy, Gu Xingyi twisted his head to look. The person who came was a fair and handsome-looking man, only his face was too white, so much so that Gu Xingyi felt that those individuals who used to call themselves white boys were all slurs.
This is the real white man.
The woman is naturally with Gu Xingyi had a side of Ruan Xing, she is still the second dress, but this time to see compared to the last time, the makeup is drawn more thick, the person is also more enchanting some.
Ha! It's none of your business if I make friends? Wang Jun, Ruan Xing, you guys have the nerve to come here. Can't it be that you guys also want to set off on this empty shell studio? Chen Feng said angrily.
It was only then that Gu Xingyi realized that this little white boy was Wang Jun.
Chen Feng, you don't want to be like this. We are also doing this for your own good.
Hearing Chen Feng's words, before Wang Jun could say anything, Ruan Cheng beside him opened her mouth first, with a look of I'm doing it all for your own good.
Groove. For my own good. You're so damn funny. Being good for me means putting a green hat on me? Chen Feng. Wang Jun and I have always liked each other. Before you, we had a crush on each other, we just didn't realize it before.
Chen Feng, we didn't come here to fight with you this time. It's hard for me to look at you when you're giving up on yourself like this. Why don't you join our studio? With your ability, you'll definitely be better off in the future. Wang Jun beside her also chimed in at this time. Right. At least we understand each other. You insisted on the animation dream for so long, cannot be so wasted is not it? You and Xingqing cannot be a couple, can still be friends. Gu Xingyi heard this, cannot help but want to laugh, so to say, that in the end who gave who a cuckold? But also today he realized, what is called woeful adultery, what is called a nest of snakes and rats, what is called when the bitch also want to set up a house of cards, these two people really will be these words embodied to the fullest. Chen Feng was even more furious when he heard the words of the two men, he stretched out his finger to point at Wang Jun. Being your fucking friend, what do you have besides this face? The design is mine. The money is mine. Even the woman beside you was mine before. What the hell were you thinking? Let me join you again? To be your friend? I, Chen Feng, don't have the habit of being a bitch. Wang Jun on the opposite side frowned, obviously Chen Feng's words had poked his heart, but he slowed down and still spoke with a smile. Don't get excited, these are all mine now. That smile was indescribably cheap. Chen Feng directly got up from the ground and wanted to storm out, but was stopped by Gu Xingyi. Alright, try not to make a move if you can argue, Wang Jun and Ruan Cheng, right? You guys know me? Gu Xingyi asked smilingly, his face indescribably gentle. Wang Jun sneered, even if he wasn't from the entertainment industry, he knew Gu Xingyi's big name, a regular in the hot searches, it's just that this big name is now a notorious one. What's wrong with knowing that? Domestic violence man, huh? He. Chen Feng was about to storm off again, but was stopped by Gu Xingyi, who nodded, still with a smile. This made Chen Feng unable to help but feel a bit stifled. Gu Xingyi blocked in front of Chen Feng and continued, then you guys should also know that I'm a lyricist? Wang Jun and Ruan Qing snorted at the same time. What did a lyricist have to do with their animation world? Gu Xingyi's identity was no good at all in his place. Chen Feng also felt that Gu Xingyi was talking shit. Who cares if you're a lyricist here? Wang Jun looked at Gu Xingyi playfully. Knowing that, what can I do? Oh, then you must not know that I know a little bit about anime as well. It's like being slightly knowledgeable about lyrics and music. Hearing this, Wang Jun suddenly had a bad feeling as he frowned at the man in front of him with a confident smile on his face, his eyes slightly austere. But then he laughed again, shaking his head to throw away the distracting thoughts in his mind. This was something completely in two directions, unless he, Gu Xingyi, was a demon, how could he possibly threaten himself? Are you threatening me? A slight understanding won't do. Gu Xingyi suddenly stopped laughing and looked at the other party with pity on his face. A slight understanding is enough. With my slight understanding coupled with the madman specialization, bullying you two rookies is still no problem at all. Wang Jun suddenly didn't want to talk to Gu Xingyi anymore. This then always spoke softly with a thorn in his side, not at all like Chen Feng, who only knew how to be reckless, and the one thing he wasn't afraid of the most was other people being reckless. So he decided not to pay any more attention to Gu Xingyi, and instead turned his gaze towards Chen Feng once again. Chen Feng, how's the consideration going? Do you want to join us? Or do you believe his words? Ruan Qing also advised from the side, a false sense of reluctance even showing in her eyes. Yeah, Chen Feng, this is really an opportunity to fulfill your anime dreams. Join us and tomorrow will be better. Chen Feng also calmed down at this time. He took a step forward and stood beside Gu Xingyi with a cold smile, ignoring Wang Jun and looking at Ruan Qing instead. Ruan Qing, we've been together for a year and a half. I've never done anything wrong to you, and there's even less of a hint of overstepping the rules in my behavior, and today you even said that. Well, then let me tell you, friends and all, I'm not willing to do it with a dog.
Chen Feng glanced his eyes towards Wang Jun again. And, listen carefully. Gu Xingyi is my brother. I believe in him. You guys are also worthy of comparing yourselves with him?
Chen Feng's words fell, turning Wang Jun and Ruan Qing's faces somber as they gave Gu Xingyi and Chen Feng a death glare and twisted their heads to leave. However, Gu Xingyi and Chen Feng's voices still came from behind them.
Ah, leaving just like this? I still have one sentence left to say? We have an old saying over there for you to hear. 30 years east of the river. 30 years to the west. Don't kid yourself that you're poor. Scram. I'm not poor. I'm a rich second generation.
Wang Jun and Ruan Chang, who hadn't gone far yet, turned red in the face all of a sudden, especially Gu Xingyi, who added a sentence afterward, making Ruan Qing's face even more ugly.
Hear that? Rich second generation ah. Wang Jun and Ruan Chang walked away in a sorry state.
Their silhouettes had just disappeared. Chen Feng could no longer maintain his image and sat on his butt on the ground, his expression as hard as it could be, tears streaming down his face involuntarily. Gu Xingyi knew that he had been bracing himself before. After all, he was the girlfriend he had been talking to for a year and a half, and just now, like that, was already his limit. Old Gu, I really like her. Chen Feng shouted with a sobbing voice. Gu Xingyi didn't know how to comfort him. Comforting people this kind of thing, it was really hard for him. He only knew how to support him with his actions. After seeing Chen Feng like this, Gu Xingyi could only pat Chen Feng's shoulder and hand him a can of beer. Go ahead and cry, get drunk tonight and start over tomorrow, show them that they are nothing without you. Chen Feng took the wine and muffled another mouthful. He didn't blush when he drank, he was just getting paler and paler. Old Gu, how can it be that good to start over? The domestic animation I designed in almost 2 years, it's gone, it was cheated away, in a short period of time. How can I still come up with any good themes? The national anime market was already failing. This time when they take away that anime, it's just 2 pigs coming in, and it's still on fire. Gu Xingyi nodded. He knew that Chen Feng's talent for producing anime was really high. Just look at the way those two shamelessly retained it. But Gu Xingyi wasn't bragging when he said he knew a little about anime before. It was just that right now, Chen Feng was obviously drunk and didn't have the heart to think about this, so he decided to talk about it tomorrow. Chen Feng finished, and no more words, just immersed in sadness. Beer is more cans and cans of drinking. Gu Xingyi silently accompanied him, watching him even end the hand of the wine or a little trembling. Chen Feng completely drunk. Outside has been early lights. Gu Xingyi do not know where he lives, can only drag him to the nearest hotel. Chen Feng is quite honest, only the mouth has been constantly muttering love, liar and so on, causing the hotel receptionist lady has been looking at them with different eyes, which makes Gu Xingyi very headache. Opened a double room, threw Chen Feng on the bed, covered him with a quilt. Gu Xingyi wiped the sweat on his forehead. This then, grow fat on this bad, meter solid really heavy. Gu Xingyi went to the bathroom to take a shower, and then came out, refreshed. Chen Feng is still muttering. Gu Xingyi blankly glanced at him, ignored him, turned back to his own bed, took out his cell phone. There was a WeChat on it, sent by Xia Shiyao in the afternoon, which he hadn't seen. How did things go? Gu Xingyi would smile. Nothing big. Almost done. At this hour, Xia Shiyao should already be asleep, Gu Xingyi thought. In the next second, a WeChat message sounded. Aha! Seconds back. Was she looking at her cell phone the whole time, or had she been waiting for her message? In the Magic City apartment, Xia Shiyao wrapped her arms around Nai Nai, who had long since fallen asleep, and looked at the message on her cell phone, pursing her lips slightly. I wonder what Gu Xingyi is busy with today. It's only now that he returned the message. Your wife is worried that I've been up all this time? Gu Xingyi flew back, the smile on his face growing even wider. Nope, just happened to wake up. Just saw your message. Ha! Woman! Just hard-mouthed. Soft everywhere else. Gu Xingyi smiled without saying anything. Then, your honorable wife, go to bed early. I'll be back tomorrow without any surprises. Aha! Xia Shiyao also unconsciously put a smile on her face and gently typed down a word. Right. Good night. Gu Xingyi's message came again, and Xia Shiyao blinked her pretty almond eyes. Good night. Xia Shiyao put down her cell phone, before she contentedly burrowed into the quilt, cuddling the milky, creamy little Nai Nai as she happily slept. Gu Xingyi on this side also put down his cell phone, glanced at Chen Feng who had already slept like a dead pig, then sighed, found a pen and paper, and stayed up late to write something. The next morning, when Gu Xingyi finished her morning run and bought some buns and donuts and came back, Chen Feng only got up with puffy eyes. Gu Xingyi rushed him to finish washing up, and the two of them ate breakfast. Chen Feng stuffed his buns and looked at Gu Xingyi's 2 large dark circles under his eyes, a little puzzled as to how this was even worse for him than his own puffy eyes after drinking. Did you go stealing chickens and dogs last night? Chen Feng asked in a low voice. Gu Xingyi gritted his teeth and stared at Chen Feng unkindly. It's not because of you. Chen Feng was shocked upon hearing this. He hurriedly checked his body and felt nothing strange before settling down a little, then looked at Gu Xingyi with a skeptical look. His body also slightly stepped backward. Ahem, old Gu, I like women. Screw you.
It's still not for you. Believe it or not, I'm going to tear up this anime title right now. This time, Chen Feng was even more shocked. His eyes widened as he looked at the book Guxingyi was holding up in his hands with some disbelief. What did you say? Anime? You mean you wrote an anime title overnight? Guxingyi's face was still unfavorable. Last night for this anime, he recalled his head bald. On one hand, it was for Chen Feng. On the other hand, he wanted to go back earlier to accompany Xia Shiyao and Nai Nai. You guess. What else can I do? Ahem. Don't be angry. What you said yesterday was true? Chen Feng still looked at Guxingyi with surprise. He said yesterday that like with the lyrics, the anime was also slightly understandable. He only thought at that time that Guxingyi was angry at Wang Jun and Ruan Qing. He didn't expect that in one night, Guxingyi really came up with an anime title. Of course. Dude never tells lies. Here's just a rough outline and characterization. Wait for me to go back and slowly give you the whole thing in detail. Actually, Guxingyi wanted to write it out directly last night, but he didn't know exactly how anime was going to work. So he could only write a rough outline with the main character's personality images, and when he went back he would search the internet and learn about anime scripts before giving Chen Feng a complete anime script. Guxingyi said, throwing the book into Chen Feng's arms. Chen Feng was dumbfounded and opened Guxingyi's black eyes. His heart was even more touched. This was his brother. Although he didn't say anything on his lips, he used practical actions to show his feelings. Chen Feng opened his mouth, but not a word came out. Then he lowered his head and opened the book, reading it carefully. Only to see that on top of the first page, there was a large name written. One man down. Chen Feng froze. The national comic he had designed was called Above All Beings, and this one Guxingyi had given him was called One Person Below. Was this a coincidence? Immediately afterward, he turned to the second page. It told of a world of inhumans, and then Zhang Chulan appeared, who had been carefully hiding himself. Until one day Sister Bauer appeared. From then on, he was chased by walkers, hacked by strange people, and caught up in unheard of trouble. Not shaking Billy and Zhang Chulan, digging a pit to bury someone's Sister Bauer. As Guxingyi said, this was just a rough outline with characterization images. But the more Chen Feng looked at it, the more he was amazed. It was so much better than the one he had designed. With just the brief outline, Chen Feng was mesmerized by the ups and downs of the storyline. This profound characters. He really wanted to crack Guxingyi's head open right now to see just how this thin brain grew. Chen Feng's hands holding the book began to tremble. This is a fucking treasure. Chen Feng raised his head violently and looked at Guxingyi, his voice trembling a little. Old Gu, did you really write this? For me? Or else? Guxingyi nodded calmly. In this world, this was what he had written. One Man's World. The original world's explosive national manga, written by Mier, once took the anime world by storm. He believed that nowadays in this world, it was still able to blossom with the luster that belonged to it. Old Gu, do you know the value of this thing? You're just going to give it to me? Guxingyi put a smile on his face. There were some things between brothers that didn't need to be said, just like Chen Feng. He obviously knew that he was the online Xingyao, but he never mentioned it. He didn't care about how famous he was, he just cared about all the bad things he said online. What? Crazy man, can't you see it? Then give it back to me and I'll tear it up? Guxingyi glanced at Chen Feng and said with a deliberate smirk, putting on the act of going to snatch the book back. Nah, what's given to me is mine. Chen Feng was busy protecting the book in his arms, like an old chicken protecting its young. Guxingyi laughed a bit and patted Chen Feng's shoulder. Well, people, it's all about looking forward. We still have an old saying there. It's called a blessing in disguise. Crazy man, what are your plans next? Chen Feng looked at the smiling Guxingyi, and he too suddenly smiled. Although he didn't know why Guxingyi had suddenly changed so much, talking in a set way, writing songs, and writing anime, he didn't really care about any of these. What he cared about was a phone call, this feeling that Guxingyi would come running no matter how far away he was. Good. Old Gu. I won't let you bury this anime. I'm going to find some more people and reopen this studio, so that the name One Person will resound through the anime world. Hearing Chen Feng's words, Guxingyi's eyes revealed relief. He didn't care what Chen Feng could make of this anime. He saw that Chen Feng was able to regain his confidence, and that was enough. Then you should keep your eyes peeled when looking for someone this time. Ha ha, Guxingyi joked, and Chen Feng awkwardly scratched his head. Won't happen. How could I possibly fall twice in one place? Trust me, the people I'm looking for this time are definitely professionals. I won't say much more then. When I go back, I'll send you the complete anime design, Su Young. Go for it. The two looked at each other and both laughed. After that, Guxingyi didn't stay in Jiangqing any longer, and Chen Feng also started to continue to be busy. He was going to go and shamelessly ask for investment from his family again, and then go to pull people's heads. At 1 p.m., Guxingyi returned to Magic City on time. Tomorrow Xia Shiyao was going to participate in the 8-in-4 competition. She had been busy practicing her new song for the past 2 days. When Guxingyi arrived at the apartment, there was only Sister Yin with little Nai Nai at home in the apartment. Little Nai Nai hadn't seen her father for 2 days, and now that she suddenly saw him, she quickly jumped into Gu Xingyi's arms. Gu Xingyi picked her up in a hug, then nodded her head in greeting to Sister Yun. Sister Yun, is your mother in good condition? Sister Yun looked at Gu Xingyi with a complicated face and nodded her head in the same way. The last surgery has been done, it was successful, and she's currently recovering, and the nanny is taking good care of her. For this matter, Sister Yun's heart is grateful to Gu Xingyi, and Xia Shiyao is also very good to her. Xia Shiyao will be all the activities in the future. 10% of the proceeds of the songs are given to her. Talu Lele likewise, is also given 10%. So Sister Yun now has some mixed feelings towards Gu Xingyi. He helped himself, he is good to Xia Shiyao now, but he bullied Xia Shiyao before. Gu Xingyi didn't think so much about it. He nodded his head when he heard Sister Yun's words. That's good, then it will be hard for Sister Yun to take care of Xia Shiyao more in the future. This is all due. Sister Yun waved her hand. Even without this, she would still take care of Xia Shiyao, but Sister Yun could understand. After all, Gu Xingyi is Xia Shiyao's husband, it was reasonable to say this. After thinking for a while, Sister Yun continued, Shiyao is practicing her song in the company right now, won't you go and take a look? If she knows you're back, she'll definitely be happy. Sister Yun, however, had long ago discovered that since Gu Xingyi left yesterday, Xia Shiyao had been staring at her cell phone from time to time. At that, Gu Xingyi's eyes lit up. Visiting the class? He liked it. It was just the right time to listen to his wife's heavenly voice again. Gu Xingyi decisively agreed, and the three of them rushed towards Soundsea Entertainment. At this time online, netizens are still not waiting for any information from Gu Xingyi, even the victim Xia Shiyao. There is no news. People have speculated, is not Xia Shiyao and Gu Xingyi is discussing the divorce thing. After all, now this is exposed, public pressure on Xia Shiyao is very favorable, whether she is controlled or how, can rely on this incident to get rid of Gu Xingyi. There are even good netizens who have specially set up a group to denounce Gu Xingyi and show solidarity with Xia Shiyao, and the group is updated with the latest news of the incident every day. The latest news in the group was that someone had seen Xia Shiyao appearing at Soundsea Entertainment with only a small assistant by her side. Gu Xingyi's Douyin was still cursing underneath, but right at this moment, Xia Shiyao's Weibo was suddenly updated with a top message. The netizen who first discovered this Weibo had a quick wit. He was a member of the vocal group. He didn't even have time to click on it to read it. He immediately ran to the group to report this latest news. Brothers, big event. Xia Shiyao's siege blog has been updated. There should be a result. This time, a stone stirred up 1,000 waves. Everyone all got excited and started calling out various friends, and what's more, they swiped under Gu Xingyi's Douyin, and there were also some entertainment media hidden in the group, who also smelled that this time it would be another hotspot. They released all sorts of news at the first opportunity. Everyone had been waiting for more than a day for the information, and now that one of the parties involved had finally spoken out, there were countless people flocking to Xia Shiyao's siege blog account in an instant. However, when they clicked on the top message, the content of the 2 sentences inside the text made them instantly dumbfounded. How fortunate it is to meet a good man in this life. When a gentleman corrects his mistakes, everyone looks up to him, and so does my heart. This is? The netizens said that they recognized every word here, but when connected, they were completely lost. They have been denouncing for so long, but the victim gave them this? In an instant, the netizens' hearts ached, as if they had been stabbed in the back, and they couldn't even believe that this was from Xia Shiyao. Of course they knew the meaning of these 2 sentences, that's why their hearts exploded. For a while, underneath this roundup blog, a flood of comments hit. Basically everyone was wondering about this. Could it be Gu Xingyi controlling Xia Shiyao's siege blog? But they had no way to get an answer right now, and could only keep posting I don't believe it. Underneath the blog, the netizens had no choice but to post I don't believe it. The netizens had no choice but to wait for tomorrow's Starlight Festival. By then, everything will be revealed. They'll have to ask Xia Shiyao if it's true on the spot. When Gu Xingyi and Sister Yun arrived at Soundsea Entertainment with Nai Nai, Xia Shiyao had just finished posting her blog and was practicing her song in the recording studio. She had thought for a long time before sending out that blog, and originally, she didn't want to pay any attention to the beats on the internet, but when she saw that those people kept angrily cursing Gu Xingyi, she couldn't help herself from wanting to defend him. After sending it, she blushed for a long time. That bold sentence was her greatest courage. But after sending it, her mood was obviously much better. Even when she sang, it was much more natural. Gu Xingyi held little Nai Nai, and Sister Yun guided him to take the elevator straight to the 11th floor, which was full of recording studios, and it was probable that Xia Shiyao was here now. They didn't call to tell Xia Shiyao in advance, just to give her a surprise. Just after arriving at the 11th floor, Gu Xingyi and the others hadn't seen Xia Shiyao yet, but they happened to run into Cheng Di, who had come out of the recording studio. Her eyes clearly lit up when she saw Gu Xingyi and little Nai Nai. This was the first time Cheng Di had seen Gu Xingyi in person, and her first impression was that he looked very kind and not as vicious as the internet said.
She was one of Xingyao's earliest batch of fans, when that account of Xingyao wasn't completely on fire yet. When she heard the song A Lifetime of You, the mysteriousness of Xingyao holding his guitar and not showing his face attracted her. And she also particularly yearned for the love in that song. How many people had adored your youthful looks?
Do you know who was willing to bear the relentless change of the years?
Cheng Di had always thought that the person who could write and sing such a song had to be such a romantic person, and since then, she had been silently following Xingyao. This time, although she hadn't believed the online revelations, she had also been silently paying attention to it, and the first time she saw the siege blog posted by Xia Shuriyao, she was so envious that the two of them could have such a love that people longed for. One for the sake of his wife, displaying his talent, came to Magic City alone. One got to meet a good man, how fortunate, brave for love voice. She also wanted such sweet love. Gu Xingyi also noticed the sweet-looking girl who suddenly stopped, and he also recognized her, Cheng Di, one of the favorites to win the Star Song Festival this time. He smiled kindly at her and nodded, then held little Nai Nai in his arms as he prepared to continue on his way.
You guys are here to find Xia Shuriyao, right? She's in the second recording room on the left in front.
At this time Cheng Di suddenly spoke. Gu Xingyi turned back curiously at the words and looked at Cheng Di, a little girl she had never met before, dressed in a long goose yellow dress that exuded a spiritual aura.
Thanks.
Gu Xingyi thanked her and just wanted to turn her head and continue walking, but unexpectedly Cheng Di suddenly spoke again.
Xingya, can you give me an autograph? I'm a fan of yours.
Cheng Di was a bit squirmy, her voice stuttered, and she looked as if she was a little girl meeting her idol. Gu Xingyi was a bit surprised. His current online reputation could only be answered with a bad answer, not expecting this famous little girl would also graciously admit that she was her own fan. Gu Xingyi couldn't help but feel a little better about Cheng Di's impression. He smiled and put the little Nai Nai in his arms down, holding her little hand as he walked over to Cheng Di.
Good. I didn't realize that I could still have fans now, or a big singer.
Cheng Di blushed a bit evenly when she heard Gu Xingyiao say that, and spat out her tongue in a slightly cute manner, then actually took out a notebook with her and handed it to Gu Xingyiao.
Hello Xingyiao, my name is Cheng Di, just sign this notebook. I really like those songs of yours.
Okay, Cheng Di, thanks for liking it too. When Gu Xingyi took the book, he then saw that all that was recorded in this book were actually those few songs that he had written.
Gu Xingyi touched his nose unnaturally, then signed his Xingyiao's big name and returned the notebook to Cheng Di. He didn't expect Cheng Di to be an avid fan. Gu Xingyi was a bit uncomfortable. He just call me Di. Cheng Di joyfully took back the notebook and looked at the signature on it, full of joy. Xiao Di. What are you doing?
At this time, a male voice suddenly came from the elevator. Gu Xingyi's line of sight crossed to Cheng Di, and saw a gentlemanly man with gold-framed glasses walking towards her with a frown.
Nothing.
Cheng Di hurriedly put away her notebook, looking well-behaved, and said to the Sven man,
Uncle, why are you here?
The person who came was none other than Yin Ping. Yin Ping walked to the front of the few people. He naturally saw Gu Xingyi. His face was a little cold, pulling Cheng Di's arm and leading her towards the elevator entrance. While walking, he also lectured Cheng Di. Your mom asked me to bring you something, and
don't go in front of people when you meet anything. Do you hear me? I know.
Cheng Di kept nodding her head in agreement with her uncle, and secretly turned her head to spit out her tongue at Gu Xingyi. Gu Xingyi couldn't make sense of it at all, not knowing how she had offended this man. But this was just a small episode. Gu Xingyi shook his head without thinking deeply, turning around and heading towards the recording studio where Xia Shuriyao was. Gu Xingyi knocked on the door. It was Tao Lele who opened the door. She was obviously a bit surprised when she saw Gu Xingyi. She was just about to call out to Xia Shuriyao who was practicing her song inside, but was quietly shushed by Gu Xingyi. Tao Luolu understood in a second and immediately closed her voice. Gu Xingyi led little Nai Nai quietly inside, and Sister Yun closed the door behind her, standing in front of it with Tao Lele to look inside. This wasn't the first time Gu Xingyi had heard Xia Shuriyao sing, but no matter how many times he watched her sing, Gu Xingyi felt that she treated the song with extreme seriousness, and her earnest and focused appearance was beautiful. Xia Shuriyao was singing with her full attention, and didn't notice Gu Xingyi and little Nai Nai standing outside in the slightest. The corner of Gu Xingyi's mouth rose into a smile. The song with the accompaniment sounded even better when sung from Xia Shuriyao's mouth. Little Nai Nai snuggled up to Gu Xingyi's leg, her big eyes staring at her mom. Ignorantly she also liked this confident look of her mom. The Xia Shuriyao who was singing was like two people from her usual self. The kind of charm that emanated from her bones made people fall for her. When Xia Shuriyao finished her song, and she habitually turned her head to look outside, she saw the figures of Gu Xingyi and little Nai Nai, and her eyes couldn't help but widen, even with a bit of mo. Gu Xingyi had a gentle smile on his face. Little Nai Nai's pair of almond eyes curved into a crescent moon, and that smile was so bright that it seemed to light up the entire room. Seeing this cozy scene, Xia Shuriyao suddenly smiled like a flower and walked over playfully, softly saying, "You're back." The tip of Xia Shuriyao's nose was densely covered with dots of fine sweat, appearing extraordinarily playful and vivacious, which was what the 20 should look like. Gu Xingyi nodded, his eyes containing a smile that was hard to hide.
Well, Your Honor, surprise?
Xia Shiyao's face flushed all of a sudden, and she saw Tao Lele and Sister Yun in front of the door covering their mouths and snickering.
How could this person be like this? There are still people here. Just call her honorable wife.
Xia Shiyao lowered her head, no longer looking at him, and instead picked up little Nine Eye. Only the crystal-reddened earlobes and the lingering smile on that face betrayed her thoughts at the moment. It was a surprise that Gu Xingyi could suddenly appear in front of her. The next day, the much-anticipated second phase of the Star Song Exchange competition arrived as promised. Originally, the heat of the first phase of Star Song Exchange had reached heavenly heights because of Xia Shiyao's singing of a song called The Wind Rises, and this phase was also due to Gu Xingyi's incident, which had led to several platforms starting to live broadcast this competition in collaboration with Star Song Exchange. Sure enough, from early in the morning, there are countless netizens squatting in the various platforms of the live broadcast room, waiting for the arrival of this game, and the Magic City Stadium in front of, but also long ago gathered a large number of people, most of them are pure Melon Army, which there are a lot of Xia Shiyao Solidarity group members. There are also some mainstream entertainment media, they also want to get the first-hand news, so early came to the arena before. From this, it could be seen that this Star Song Exchange was a spectacle brought about entirely by the topic of one person. Until 8 o'clock in the evening, when the official live broadcasting room was just opened, and the broadcasting of all the major platforms was also opened synchronously, countless pop-ups flooded the screens of all the live broadcasting rooms. The director of the Star Song Exchange, Ren Chao, saw the dense pop-ups and smiled from ear to ear. No matter how Gu Xingyi is, whether he is black or red, the heat he triggered is real, and this is great news for Ren Chao. But at this moment, he also immensely hoped that nothing would go wrong between Gu Xingyi and Xia Shiyao, and how nice it would be to be in peace. As long as the two of them didn't have any problems, the next installment, as long as Xia Shiyao was there, that meant Gu Xingyi was there, and if Gu Xingyi was there, that meant the traffic was there. After all, one meal is saturated and one meal is full. Ren Chao can still tell the difference, so he is truly praying that Xia Shiyao and Gu Xingyi can be good. Inside the Magic City Stadium, this time the scene was much more grandiose than last time. After all, the program group made money, and the venue set they were willing to invest in. Gu Xingyi this time and little Nai Nai both wore masks and followed the crowd, quietly entering the scene. The sky inside the venue has become starry, a Milky Way falling from the dome of the sky, straight to the stage above, like a summer night. Deep starry sky shrouded in the head general, mysterious and the people yearning, and this time the host has also changed to a new host. The host of the show is also a new host. The host of the show is also a new host. And this time, the host, also changed to the famous host Chen Shuer. She was wearing a dress at the moment, stepping on the river of stars, slowly walked onto the stage. Welcome everyone to Star Song Exchange. I am the host, Chen Shuer. It's a pleasure to meet you all in this grand program. Now that our competition has reached its second installment, only 8 of the original 16 contestants remain on stage. And today, for more singers will leave. This is the cruelty of the competition, but also the charm of the competition. At this moment, I believe that the audience present with the live broadcast is all nervous, are looking forward to their own support of the contestants can be successfully promoted. So, without further ado, let's first look at the big screen, our 8 players' profiles. Chen Shuer's words fell, turning her lithe body. Together they looked at the big screen, on which the profiles of the 8 contestants appeared one by one. It was only when the last player's profile was revealed that Chen Shuer turned back to her body and picked up the topic to continue. Alright, the profiles of our 8 contestants have been viewed. Next, welcome our 4 mentors to the stage. On the stage, the Milky Way suddenly split into 4 paths, and the 4 tutors bathed in the Milky Way, appearing one after the other, and as they appeared, they all sang their own famous songs until the last tutor finished singing, and they collectively waved to the audience. Thunderous cheers, applause and whistles erupted from the stage. Amidst the cheers of the audience, the 4 mentors walked up to the judging stage one by one and sat in their seats. Chen Shuer looked at the several mentors and smiled, then raised the microphone in her hand again. Backstage Xia Shiyao had long since taken her place. She was wearing a mask and quietly came in from the staff channel. There were just too many people in front of her, and so many of them were holding up her sign that she was a little nervous. Especially she saw, there are some people held up against Gu Xingyi, against domestic violence sign. She saw the heart is particularly difficult. She did not know Gu Xingyi CC, she is worried that he saw, the heart will also be sad. Gu Xingyi of course saw, he is not blind, so big sign, really shaking eyes. But he didn't feel anything. It didn't matter. As long as it wasn't Xia Shiyao and Nai Nai, no one could break his defense. And this is what Gu Xingyi did in the past. What does it have to do with him? Gu Xingyi? After getting even with Xia Shiyao, he had long since looked away. Gu Xingyi shifted his gaze to the stage, where today's candidates have been randomly assigned by the audience. Xia Shiyao is the second match today. Her opponent is Xiao Feibai of Shengshi Entertainment, who is also the favorite to win the championship. As if the heavens had deliberately arranged for Xia Shirya to have to overcome 5 hurdles and 6 generals in order to win the championship. For 2 consecutive matches, they were all strong opponents. Lu Qian in the last match, if not for her broken Dao heart, 10% of her strength only played out 40%, she would not have lost so miserably. At this moment, Xiao Fei Bai in the background also received the news. His face was like a dish, his heart was also surprised. Among these players, the one he didn't want to face the most was Xia Shiryao.
There is a bug behind this woman.
The man who brings his own hot search. Fortunately, this time that man's image collapsed, and it was not known what happened to Xia Shiryao and Gu Xingyi, and this time the song was still not written by Gu Xingyi. This made Xiao Fei Bai feel much more comfortable in his heart. He recognized Xia Shiryao's singing skills, but he was not afraid of her either. Unless Gu Xingyi struck again and wrote a treasure song, Xiao Fei Bai believed he could still put up a fight.
The first match was Cheng Di, and her opponent was the only remaining singer from Tianmei Entertainment.
Cheng Di's voice was very different from Xia Shiryao's. Her voice was born sweet, and with her petite body and that cute baby face, she sang little sweet songs that sweetened the hearts of the audience under the arena. It was also the first time Gu Xingyi had heard her sing, and the last time she competed. Xia Shiryao was the first to appear, and Gu Xingyi left the arena after her match. This time, Gu Xingyi did hear Cheng Di's song. He nodded his head. The song was really good, perfect for Cheng Di to sing. This little fan of his own, his singing skills were really good too. Worthy of being the favorite to win the title. Her opponent, who was not as strong as Lu Qian, naturally lost to Cheng Di in this match. In the second match, it was still Xia Shiryao who went on first. Today she wore a white shirt with a floral skirt, simple, hair is still cute pill head. This dress, compared to the last time, this time she is more youthful and beautiful. When she stood on the stage playfully, everyone seemed to see a young girl full of youthful vigor. At the first moment, Xia Shiryao searched for Gu Xingyi and little Nai Nai with her eyes, and when she saw their waving hands, the corner of her mouth curled up slightly. The spotlight hit her face, and she smiled a moving smile that tilted the country and the city, causing Gu Xingyi to look a little dumbfounded. Before the song even started, someone in the audience below shouted out, "Xia Shiryao, may I ask if you posted that roundup blog? Xia Shiryao, do you really like Gu Xingyi? Or is he coercing you?" For a while, the scene was noisy. Xia Shiryao gripped the microphone tightly, looking at Gu Xingyi under the stage, suddenly thought of the first time when she saw him, the pure, clear and that some love in his eyes. Thinking of this, Xia Shiryao's pair of almond eyes became brighter and brighter. Then, with a smile in her eyes, she raised the microphone. Loudly, she announced to the audience on stage as well as in the live broadcast room. I like Gu Xingyi. He's great. Some people. Some likes. It's destiny. In the galactic brilliance, her eyes traveled through the sea of people and intertwined with Gu Xingyi's gaze. Gu Xingyi was in a trance, as if he saw the 9 heavenly maiden looking away from himself across the starry river. Destiny? And how is it not destiny? This was the point that Gu Xingyi felt the most, destined to cross over, meet her, and fall in love with her. The scene also due to Xia Shiryao's words all of a sudden became a pin drop. She said faded. The smile and happiness in her eyes could not be faked. She really liked him and she really felt happy. Only then would she say such words. Whether it was the audience in the arena or the audience in the live broadcast room, they were all silent at this moment. This joy that overflowed the screen would not be something that someone who had been subjected to domestic violence for a long period of time would be able to fake. At this time, the sound of music also slowly sounded, and on the large screen behind the stage, the title of a song called Courage slowly appeared. Lyricist Gu Xingyi, composer Xia Shiryao, singer Xia Shiryao. They collaborated to create a song? Courage? The prelude sounded, and people unconsciously immersed themselves in the music, slowly experiencing the melody as they followed it. Xia Shiryao also raised the microphone at this time, her gaze still locked with Gu Xingyi. This song was like she was telling Gu Xingyi, "I now have the courage to love you." The intro ended, and Xia Shiryao's voice rang out softly, as if she was talking about a trivial matter. Finally made this decision, I don't care what others say, as long as you are just as sure. I'm willing to end of the world will go with you. I know everything is not easy. My heart has been warming up to convince myself that I'm most afraid of you suddenly saying you wanna give up. Numb. Whether it was the audience at the scene, or the audience in the live broadcast room, they were all completely numb at this moment. This is a naked confession, right? It was spreading dog food, right? That's it? That's all it takes to say she's miserable? Domestic violence? I don't know. If this is called misfortune, then single dogs like me would like to try misfortune too. At this moment, Gao Chang and Su Bin were also watching the live broadcast, their faces as blue as if they had eaten 100 dead rats. Why? They just want to know why. Gu Xingyi treated you like that and you're not angry? And you're still here confessing? Fortunately, Lu Qian has now gone in, cannot see this scene, otherwise, she'd directly have to tell heartbroken, in place to ascend to heaven. The next moment, let everyone more numb came. Love really needs courage. To face the gossip. As long as you give me a look of affirmation. My love has meaning.
Listen, is this human language? The netizens collectively vomited blood. Hoping we're all gossip mongers, yes.
You're very courageous.
We're convinced. No more spraying. People only need one look to be sure of love. The original owner has come out in support of Gu Xingyi, so why are they all so worried? Backstage in the guide room, Ren Chao's mouth was already grinning up to his ears. Another great classic song. And the main thing was that Xia Shiyao and Gu Xingyi were still close. Ren Chao was relieved. And happy as hell. At the moment, in his heart, Xia Shiyao was a treasure, and a big treasure with bugs. On the stage, Xia Shiyao's song was still ringing, and the firm courage in her song made the crowd understand her meaning completely and thoroughly. We all need courage to believe that we will be together. I can feel you in the crowd, in my hand, your heart. Got it. Got it. No more shows. We were wrong. Whoa. I thought today was going to be a critique session. It turned out to be a dog food night. Numb. But this song is really good. I want to forgive Xingyao too. I'm afraid how should I live without his songs in the future? Forgive. Must be forgiven. Xia Shiyao has even come forward to speak out. What are we still entangled in? You're just going to forgive this kind of person? No way, no way? Upstairs. What's wrong? Why are you still jumping out at this time? Are you the original owner? Who gave you the courage? Xia Shiyao? Ha 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 ha. I laughed. Xia Shiyao gave you the courage. But this song is really good. It reminds me of the past. It's a pity, at that time, if I could have been as courageous as Xia Shiyao, the ending might have been different. It's hard to open one's heart when love is in the air. How rare a thing it is to have such courage. May those who are brave enough to pursue love be happy forever. The online pop-ups, when Xia Shiyao sang the song, gradually calmed down, although the netizens were still a little twisted in their hearts, but the original owner of the family was in love, even sprinkling dog food. What else were they, the melon eaters, going to say? Can't it be that the emperor is not too anxious? They didn't have this bad habit. Xia Shiyao's declaration of love and the song Courage completely conquered the audience, not only because of this great song, but also because of her courage to defy the odds. Backstage, Xiaofei Bai, his face as colorful as a vegetable, his heart at the moment, but there is no courage at all. He is really afraid of what will come. Originally, he was praying that Gu Xingyi didn't write a song for her, but now it's good that they created a song together. If it was just a good song, he would have recognized it. It's not impossible for him to win that way. But the problem now was that not only was the song good, but the song was too appropriate. It was written for this situation. It was too in line with Xia Shiyao's current emotions. One song, one declaration, directly turning this night's competition scene into a night of dog food. How can this win? Xiaofei Bai smiled bitterly and shook his head. The song he prepared was a little bit worse than Courage, the atmosphere of the scene was even worse, and his emotions were not more focused than Xia Shiyao's, and he only had the singing skills to compare with her. The competition has not yet ended, Xiaofei Bai knows the result. At this time, Xia Shiyao had already finished her song, she bowed to the audience and the tutors, and slowly retreated from the stage. Until the music ended, the crowd suddenly realized that the song had already finished, they had just been immersed in the feelings brought by the song and had not yet slowed down. Xia Shiyao's figure had already disappeared from the stage, and only then did the scene suddenly erupt into warm applause. They all admired Xia Shiyao, a person who dared to bravely pursue love deserved their support. It was Xiaofei Bai's turn to go on stage. He quickly organized himself. No matter what, he had to give it his all. This had nothing to do with anything else. This was a singer's professionalism for the song. Xiaofei Bai really deserved to be the favorite to win the title. As soon as the music started, he quickly entered the stage. His tone was good, crisp and bright, singing a cheerful song. The atmosphere of the scene could not help but warm up. The audience waved their hands fluorescent sticks, swinging rhythmically with the light-hearted music. The several mentors on stage also showed their approval. Although this song was not as good as Courage, it was already good that he could play so well after Xia Shiyao sang it. At least it was much better than Lu Qian, who was also the favorite to win the title in the last match. Xiaofei Bai's fans were also slightly regretful. They also knew that their favorite bean had tried his best. After all, there was only one Xingyao in the world. Not everyone could create such a high-quality song in this short period of time. Gu Xingyao, who was under the stage, was also listening attentively to his singing. Although they are rivals, but music has no borders, good music should be taken seriously. The result was unsurprising, although this time there was no crushing of votes like the first phase of the competition, directly zeroing out the opponent. But this time, Xia Shiyao still won easily with 4:1 votes. Xiaofei Bai's vote was a friendly vote from a mentor who liked his voice and his serious attitude. Xiaofei Bai also gladly accepted this. He had expected this result. Can only say that the skills are not as good as others, in the future to work harder. The second phase of the Star Song Festival came to an end at 11 o'clock in the evening.
Xia Shiyao, Cheng Di, Miao Ankuan and Wang Chen, a contestant from a small entertainment company, were the four who successfully advanced to the quarterfinals. In addition to Xia Shiyao and Wang Chen, the other two were the previous favorites to win the competition. This made the viewers even more enthusiastic about Star Song Exchange. After all, a competition with dark horses is only interesting, and the championship will be fought for unexpectedly. Nowadays, the calls for Xia Shiyao to win the title were getting louder and louder online, with 2 songs in a row, proving her individual ability and Star Yao's perverted composing ability. These two were not a pair, and now the netizens were not buying it. Originally before, the netizens still felt that Xia Shiyao was not worthy of Gu Xingyi, that was Xingyao. What virtue and ability can you, Xia Shiyao, have to gain his favor and write songs for you? But slowly, everyone realized that things were not as simple as they thought. Especially after the end of this period of the Star Song Exchange, netizens suddenly realized that before they thought completely wrong, not Xia Shiyao can't match Yu Guxingyi, it's Yu Guxingyi can't match Xia Shiyao. This kind of treasure goddess, who can't cherish it? So, after the end of the Star Song Festival, a post about this topic rushed to the top of the hot search list again. Gu Xingyi's self-redemption comes from the courage given by Xia Shiyao. The meaning of the original post was simple. You, Gu Xingyi, can be forgiven by us solely because you have a good wife. Be content you. And right at this moment, Soundsea Entertainment was not willing to be lonely and rubbed off on this hot search, posting a siege blog and etching Xia Shiyao. Congratulations to our divisions Xia Shiyao and Cheng Di for advancing to the top 4. Also to explain to everyone, Gu Xingyi is not as bad as the rumors. He and Xia Shiyao are running in both directions. Xia Shiyao was able to sign up for our company solely because Gu Xingyi came to Magic City alone in the first place and ran for her. Well, netizens saw this and realized that the two of them were mutually fulfilling and running in both directions. Loved. This kind of relationship is too good, they expressed their admiration. The love that goes in both directions already makes people happy, and this is a divine couple, so everyone likes it even more. Previously, the owners of Xia Shiyao's Solidarity Group and Gu Xingyi's Denunciation Group silently changed their group name to Xia Shiyao Gu Xingyi CP Group after the competition. People in the group also chatted unconsciously. The two of them better be together for the rest of their lives. I'll die. Don't worry. I don't think Xingyao is a person who doesn't know what's good for her. If the two of them dare to separate, I'll be the first to smash Xingyao's douyin. Ahem. Actually, I'm a fan of Gu Xingyao. Ha, I also want to have a daughter like that. Right. I forgot about it if you didn't tell me. This then is called Gu Xingyao. Xingyao is our favorite little princess. Bah. You fake fan. Just now you said you forgot. The group master silently dived in and watched these groupmates chatting enthusiastically, then with a slap of his head, the group name was changed again. Xia Shiyao Gu Xingyao Gu Xingyi's relatives group. Don't ask why Gu Xingyi is at the end of the list, the question is that he is the ugliest of this family in comparison. Oh, that's right. There's also the ex-convict. When Xia Shiyao came out from the backstage, only Gu Xingyi was left outside waiting for her. Xia Shiyao blinked her eyes and wondered where Lele and the girls had run off to, even Nai Nai had been taken away. And Gu Xingyi's straight eyes made her face a little hot, just how bold she was on the stage, Xia Shiyao was now how shy she was. She lowered her head, her originally pursed small mouth lightly curled up, and her rosy face became more and more scarlet. Xia Shiyao stared at her toes, not daring to look at him again, this man, on the main road, also not shy. Which one stares at a girl like this? Gu Xingyi didn't notice anything wrong in the slightest, looking at his own wife by himself, the gods can't control it even if they come. He only felt that Xia Shiyao's comment about being fated today simply spoke to the tip of his heart, that he was fated to cross over and love her. Xia Shiyao couldn't stand Gu Xingyi's fiery gaze any longer, she raised her head and cut him a glance. With this glance, Gu Xingyi took a step back in panic and touched his nose in embarrassment, such Xia Shiyao was invincible. The flavor of this glance was lethal. Seeing Gu Xingyi like this, Xia Shiyao snorted out a laugh, blanked him and asked, "Where's Nai Nai?" Lele and Sister Yun took it back. Gu Xingyi laughed awkwardly, he didn't know why, he suddenly wanted to stay with Xia Shiyao alone, his heart was at peace when he was alone with her. Xia Shiyao let out a soft the blush on her cheeks hadn't disappeared, obviously knowing Gu Xingyi's intentions. Her little girl look, not to mention how tempting it was, anyway, Gu Xingyi had completely fallen. Gu Xingyi took a deep breath and managed to suppress his restless heart. He took the initiative to walk forward, holding Xia Shiyao's warm and soft little hand, walking forward. The two of them walked quietly like this, taking a walk under the streetlight. The streetlight stretched their shadows, and at this moment, the hearts of the two were exceptionally close. Gulp! As they walked, the quiet atmosphere between the two was suddenly broken by a loud sound. Xia Shiyao's originally slightly curved little mouth slightly opened, looking at her stomach in disbelief, at this time her stomach indisputably rattled, making Xia Shiyao want to find a crack in the ground to go under.
It was too embarrassing.
Xia Shiyao lowered her head, her face flushed red.
Gu Xingyi laughed out loud and clear, his laughter echoed in the night sky.
Only when Xia Shiyao squeezed his hand gradually harder did Gu Xingyi stifle his laughter, his eyes shining brightly as he looked at Xia Shiyao. Such a Xia Shiyao was the most real.
Ahem, I'm hungry. Let's go eat some late-night snacks.
Xia Shiyao didn't say anything, just gently nodded her head, and then was led by Gu Xingyi all the way to the snack street in this neighborhood. The night market at the end of summer was very lively, especially this kind of snack street. A small street was crowded with people, the aroma of all kinds of snacks drifted, making both of them a little hungry. Xia Shiyao hadn't eaten much at noon, it was more than 11:40 at night, she had been hungry for a long time.
Now smelling the aroma of so many snacks, she couldn't help but swallow her saliva.
This scene naturally fell in Gu Xingyi's eyes, he secretly smiled, he didn't expect Xia Shiyao to be a snacker?
Then it was really hard for her in the past. How long had it been since she had tasted these snacks? Following the crowd, the two walked into the snack street.
At this moment, they were like an ordinary young couple in the marketplace, Gu Xingyi buying all sorts of snacks and feeding this snacker beside him. Regardless of the original life or here, Gu Xingyi seldom shopped, and Xia Shiyao, the number of times shopping is even more fewer, used to be an orphan, work-study when going to school, after graduation went to be a singer, even less time to shop. She had forgotten the last time she came to this kind of night market snack street, when was it? But at the moment, she was really in love with such a snack street, mainly because it smelled really good. Right now, for example, before she even spoke, just her almond eyes glowing, looking towards the roasted chicken leg stall on the street, Gu Xingyi would walk straight over, and when he came back again, he would inevitably have 2 skewers of roasted and fragrant chicken legs in his hands.
Just this simple thing.
Xia Shiyao knew that happiness had really come to her. This feeling made the corners of her mouth stay up, and her heart was even warmer. Gu Xingyi also enjoyed this kind of time, this should be the so-called love affair. In the eyes of others, he and she were an old married couple who had been married for many years, and even had children. But in reality, they were just like a young couple who had just gotten together, experiencing many things for the first time. The two of them just strutted around the snack street. This time was the time that Xia Shiyao ate the most, all sorts of snacks. She ate a little bit of all of them.
The ones she couldn't eat went into Gu Xingyi's stomach. Xia Shiyao. Gu Xingyi. Where?
At this moment, someone on the originally noisy snack street suddenly shrieked out in alarm, and the people next to them immediately inquired, and at once, most of the people on the entire snack street looked from side to side. Until they saw those two familiar faces, they were immediately stunned. Holy shit! It's really Xia Shiyao and Gu Xingyi. Xia Shiyao looks just as good as she does on TV. This face. It's so perfect.
Gu Xingyi must have been very lucky in his past life. Most people recognized them at once. Even those who didn't recognize them were asking what was going on.
The entire snack street immediately stirred, and many people gathered around the two of them. It was the first time they had seen a living star in such a noisy snack street, not wearing a mask, not to mention a bit of camouflage.
Did they not realize how hot they were now? Gu Xingyi and Xia Shiyao were also in a state of confusion.
They did forget about this layer all of a sudden, mainly because both of them were not famous before. How could they think that this would happen? It was only now that the two of them reacted as an afterthought. These days the two of them were all over the hot searches, and it would be hell if they weren't recognized.
After being recognized, the entire snack street was in chaos.
Completely messed up. Regardless of whether it was those who recognized them or those who were simply hilarious, they all crowded here in an instant.
Crap!
Gu Xingyi, who reacted with a shocked curse, pulled up Xia Shiyao, who was still naively holding up the snacks, and fled. Fortunately, the snack street's roads are intricate and crowded. Gu Xingyi turned east and west, and in a short while, he got rid of the large group of people trailing behind him. The two have turned from the center of the snack street to the edge of the position, like a thief with a mask, and even Gu Xingyi also bought a duck tongue cap, covered in Xia Shiyao's head. Gu Xingyi, who had settled down, wiped his sweat and looked at Xia Shiyao, who hadn't completely regained her senses.
Being a star is trouble. It's too scary.
Xia Shiyao's eyes under her duck tongue cap blinked, touched the mask on her face, and raised the snack in her hand again.
Can't eat like this.
The voice was a little aggravated.
Gu Xingyi sighed. How do I feel that this woman is getting stupider and stupider, just this and still only thinking about eating. I'll wrap it up for you, let's find a quiet place to eat.
Xia Shiyao looked at the snacks in her hands, thought for a moment, and only then reluctantly handed the snacks to Gu Xingyi. Her eyes kept on it, that look, as if she was afraid that if she didn't pay attention, Gu Xingyi would give it to her to steal it. Gu Xingyi was speechless. He wrapped up the remaining snacks, and took napkins from his pocket, naturally pulling over Xia Shuriao's small hand to gently wipe the oil stains on her hand.
Don't worry. It's all yours, Gu Xingyi said softly while wiping.
Xia Shuriao looked blankly at such a gentle Gu Xingyi. Her eyes couldn't help but moisten, but in the depths of her eyes, a bright light emerged that was hard to hide.
Let's go.
Gu Xingyi surveyed for a moment, only retracting his hand when he saw that the delicate little hand had been wiped clean, a smile rising on his face as he said. Xia Shuriao lowered her head and blindly followed Gu Xingyi forward. It wasn't until the two came to a square in front of a shopping center that Gu Xingyi pulled Xia Shuriao to sit on a bench, handing Xia Shuriao the snacks that were still warm in his hands.
Now you can eat in peace.
Xia Shuriao nodded her head, took the snack from Gu Xingyi's hands, took off her mask, and ate it in small bites. Gu Xingyi tilted his head, his hands holding the back of his head, looking at the starry sky in the sky. The starry sky in this world was so beautiful. The moon stars were sparse. Even though it was already midnight now, the moon in the sky still illuminated the earth brightly. Just for a while, Xia Shuriao wiped out all the snacks. Gu Xingyi handed over a tissue.
Wipe your mouth.
Xia Shuriao pursed her lips and took the tissue. She always felt like Gu Xingyi was taking care of herself like she was taking care of Nai Nai. After she wiped her mouth, when she raised her head, she happened to see above the shopping mall, that big movie theater signboard. Xia Shuriao's eyes suddenly brought brightness.
Let's go watch a movie, okay? Gu Xingyi scratched his head. It's this time of the day, if he doesn't go back, will it be bad?
But seeing the light of anticipation in Xia Shuriao's eyes, Gu Xingyi's heart immediately softened. He stood up and stretched out his hand to point in the direction of the movie theater.
Walking.
Xia Shuriao's face immediately blossomed with smiles. She had wanted to go to the movie theater once a long time ago, but she just never had the chance. Now she could finally go, or accompany him. When the two of them arrived at the movie theater, it happened to be the last one about to start, which made Xia Shuriao a burst of happiness. This if they came a little later, they wouldn't be able to catch up today. The two quickly bought tickets to enter, probably because of the late night. The movie theater is not many people, only 3 or 2 small couples, sitting in the place are more remote. Gu Xingyi and Xia Shuriao naturally bought a seat directly in front of the screen, or the center section. Because there are not many people, the two people naturally took off the mask. When the lights also dimmed, the movie began.
This is a youth-type romance movie.
Gu Xingyi watching is relatively boring. This kind of movie he basically never seen. Xia Shuriao is seriously watching. Gu Xingyi is more like to see Xia Shuriao's serious side face. Especially in the middle of the movie, the plot of the male and female main characters flirting with each other. Gu Xingyi could clearly see Xia Shuriao's pretty face gradually flushed, and her eyelashes fluttered unnaturally. Then she suddenly turned her head and looked at Gu Xingyi, just in time to catch Gu Xingyi peeking at her. Xia Shuriao instantly panicked for a moment, her pretty face turning even redder. This man, not watching the movie, looking at her for what? Gu Xingyi smiled. It was true that this type of movie was still suitable for girls to watch. They were more easily impressed by the movie, and Xia Shuriao was no exception. Domestic youth-type love movies, the ending is always not so beautiful, and it is true that at the end of the day, the male and female main characters are still separated. When the movie ended and the cinema lights came on, Gu Xingyi could clearly see that Xia Shuriao's eyes were a little red.
Women were just emotional.
This kind of movie was not even as shocking to Gu Xingyi as a single look from Xia Shuriao. As Gu Xingyi held Xia Shuriao and got up to leave, they saw that the couple in the corner was still cuddling and getting tired of each other. Seeing this scene, Xia Shuriao's pretty face instantly filled with blood, while Gu Xingyi shamelessly also looked at one more glance. He quite envious of this kind of young people, passionate like fire. The two of them walked out of the movie theater. Gu Xingyi could feel that Xia Shuriao's hands were a little sweaty. She was nervous. He didn't move to look at the side of her face, and sure enough, she was even reddening her ears. The two of them strolled under the moonlight like this, without any of them taking the lead. Gu Xingyi was doing it because he was admiring Xia Shuriao's shy appearance at the moment, while Xia Shuriao, on the other hand, was simply being shy. In the end, Gu Xingyi squeezed the soft, boneless little hand in his hand and took the lead. Don't be so nervous, huh?
It's not like I'm going to eat you.
Hearing that, Xia Shuriao instantly became even more nervous.
What do you mean eat yourself? What does he want?
She raised her small face, her eyelashes fluttered, and there was some sense of panic in her eyes.
This was overly nervous.
Seeing her like this, Gu Xingyi suddenly wanted to tease her. Doing whatever he thought of, Gu Xingyi suddenly stopped and yanked Xia Shuriao, who was walking forward, towards himself. Xia Shuriao was suddenly staggered by this tug, and under panic, her hands held on Gu Xingyi's chest, raising her face to look at him in disbelief.
The next moment,
Gu Xingyi's face suddenly came closer. Xia Shuriao could feel his hot breath spraying on her small face. Xia Shuriao's eyes widened in dismay, and in an instant, even her heart stopped half a beat. Gu Xingyi saw her white and red face instantly turn red, saw the sudden flash of dismay in her eyes, saw her small mouth gently move, and gulped. Too cute. It was also too foul. Gu Xingyi had only wanted to tease her, but this time, his Dao heart instantly collapsed and he couldn't keep it. So he chose to go all out with his heart, directly lowering his head and gently dropping a kiss on her face. Xia Shiyao at this time has closed her eyes, and then she felt a warm touch on her face, then, waiting for half a day without a little movement, Xia Shiyao secretly opened her eyes. Gu Xingyi was looking at her with a narrow smile on his face. So angry. This bad guy. Xia Shiyao's hand on Gu Xingyi's chest pushed him hard, and she huffed as she turned around and walked forward. Gu Xingyi was pushed and stumbled, scratched his head and hurriedly followed. Xia Shiyao walked ahead, her small steps a little fast, and she had to take big steps before Gu Xingyi could catch up with her. Cough angry? Teasing his wife for a while, chasing his wife to the crematorium, Xia Shiyao didn't pay any attention to him. Cough, I really can't help it, not on purpose. Gu Xingyi hurried to explain, he really can't help but kiss up, not on purpose. Xia Shiyao still didn't pay attention to him, just small steps faster. Gu Xingyi could only continue to follow Xia Shiyao with a bitter face. The two of them, one after the other, walked for half a day. Xia Shiyao did not see Gu Xingyi catch up to pull herself. Then she was even more angry. Why didn't she realize he was so stupid before? Simply foolish. After walking to the parking lot outside the stadium, Xia Shiyao pulled open the car door and got into the car. Gu Xingyi hurriedly took 3 steps and followed into the passenger seat. Xia Shiyao's pretty face is still cold, let go of the handbrake, ignition, start in one breath. The car drove away. 20 minutes later, the car arrived at the apartment. Gu Xingyi watched as Xia Shiyao walked inside the apartment, turning him away. Tao Lei walked out of the apartment in disbelief. She saw her sister Shiyao's small face scarlet, exasperated as she walked into the bedroom. Just as Tao Lei went out the door, she saw Gu Xingyi with a painful mask on his face. Tao Lei frowned. Are you bullying Sister Shiyao again? Gu Xingyi's eyes dodged. No. Nope. Seeing Gu Xingyi's thief-like appearance, Tao Lei became even more certain. Good. Sister Shiyao just finished confessing to you in front of everyone, and you're bullying her. Are you still not a human being? Tao Lei was obviously furious. Her sister Shiyao had defended him like that. Why would Gu Xingyi still be a bully? It's not what you think. Gu Xingyi hurriedly waved his hand to explain, scratching his head and telling the general situation. Tao Lei's eyes widened as she listened, an unbelievable look on her face, but Gu Xingyi's expression didn't look like a fake, and Tao Lei remembered the redness on Xia Shiyao's face, which made her believe Gu Xingyi's words. Then she looked at Gu Xingyi with a complicated face. This. Give you the chance and you don't hit the mark. You don't even know where the point of Sister Shiyao's anger is. Hopeless. Knowing the truth, Tao Lei was somewhat speechless and decided not to pay any more attention to this man who was as stupid as a pig, turned around and closed the door and walked in. Gu Xingyi looked at the closed door of the room in front of him and sighed. I should have known better than to tease her. This is good. Hard. Gu Xingyi turned around, hung his head, and was about to leave with a disappointed face. The door of the apartment behind her suddenly rang again at this time, and then a car key was shoved into Gu Xingyi's hand, with some warm feeling on the key. Gu Xingyi turned his head, and saw Xia Shiyao's pretty face with a pout. Idiot. You want to walk back? Gu Xingyi smiled, his heart relieved. It was good to be able to care about himself. Then he carefully asked, not angry? Seeing Gu Xingyi like this, Xia Shiyao couldn't hold back any longer and snorted out a laugh. Dumb and Dumber was kinda cute, just a bit unsettling. Wasn't angry in the first place. Xia Shiyao said with a pout, giving Gu Xingyi a blank look. Are women also fickle? Then who the hell was the one who just got angry and ignored people? No matter how stupid Gu Xingyi was, he wouldn't have said those words out loud at this time, and he nodded sagely. Right. There was no anger. I was the one who misread it. Not wanting to ignore him, Xia Shiyao glanced at him and turned back to the apartment again. Gu Xingyi laughed hee and swaggered away with the car keys. All the way to the hotel, Gu Xingyi, who had taken a shower, had just laid down on the bed when he received a WeChat from Xia Shiyao. Good night. The corners of Gu Xingyi's mouth gently rose as he returned the same. Your wife. Good night. A night without words. Early the next morning, Gu Xingyi drove to the apartment. He was taking little Nai back to Jiangcheng today, and the return ticket he had booked when he arrived was today. His life as a baby daddy was going to continue again, and Gu Xingyi was still looking forward to it. So after breakfast, the group came to the airport, Xia Shiyao and little Nai intimacy for a while, until the time was almost up, before handing the little guy over to Gu Xingyi, eyes full of reluctance. Gu Xingyi was equally unwilling to let go, but he still held Xia Shiyao's little hand and softly said, Go back, remember to call back often.
and no matter what's going on, talk to me, don't hold it in, got it? Xia Shiyao nodded. Gu Xingyi pinched her small hand before reluctantly letting go. Let's go, Gu Xingyi said, hugging Nai Nai and turning to walk inside the passageway. Wait! A sudden gust of fragrant wind hit him, and Gu Xingyi just turned around. He and little Nai Nai reaped a fragrant kiss from Xia Shiyao on their faces, then Xia Shiyao took 2 steps backward and pursed her lips. Go back! Gu Xingyi laughed lightly, looked at Xia Shiyao's delicate face and waved his hand. From now on, the fireworks on earth, the mountains and rivers are far and wide, none of them are you, none of them are you. The river and the sea share the rest of life, the rest of life is all you. The airplane arrived in Zhengcheng at 11:10 at noon. Returning to his long-lost home, Gu Xingyi first cleaned up and down the house, and then made a good lunch before resting down. After eating and drinking, father and daughter naturally lay down on the sofa as usual. It can only be said that there is a father and a daughter. Gu Xingyi himself do not know when. Little Nai Nai learned this lying posture, and have modeled a perfect replica of it. Looking at the little Nai Nai who was following his own example, Gu Xingyi sat up straight again, and he suddenly remembered a very important thing. That is, little Nai Nai is now 3 years old. It's time to go to kindergarten. And since kindergarten would start in September, there was still a month to go, so Gu Xingyi had to find a kindergarten to enroll in ahead of time. Thinking of this, Gu Xingyi looked towards little Nai Nai who had also sat up straight on the sofa. Nai Nai, do you know about kindergartens? Nai Nai blinked her big eyes, thought carefully for a moment, and nodded at Gu Xingyi. I know ACA. Kindergarten is a place where lots and lots of kids are. Nai Nai has seen it on TVD. Gu Xingyi had a smile on her face and rubbed the little one's head. Nai Nai is so smart. Then does Nai Nai want to go to kindergarten? This time, Nai Nai didn't answer immediately. She frowned her little brows and thought for a long time, her big eyes staring tightly at Gu Xingyi the whole time. It wasn't until Gu Xingyi thought the little one was resistant to going to kindergarten that she opened her mouth. Nai Nai wants to go, but Nai Nai can't let go of daddy. Gu Xingyi took a serious look at little Nai Nai and carried her into his arms. Go to kindergarten, you can also see daddy every day. Daddy will send Nai Nai to school every day. Pick up Nai Nai after school. Kindergarten, there are many children to play with Nai Nai, and the teacher will teach Nai Nai to sing children's songs. Good behavior. There is a small red flower can be received. Oh, Gu Xingyi said patiently. Nai Nai's current personality and habits are largely from her own and Xia Shiyao's words and teachings, but Gu Xingyi knew that she hadn't received systematic education and training after all, and couldn't be compared to a school teacher. Hearing Gu Xingyi's words, Nai Nai then nodded her little head. Then Nai Nai is going to kindergarten. Good. Then daddy will help Nai Nai find a very good kindergarten. Oh. Gu Xingyi smiled and stroked little Nai Nai's head, placing her on the sofa again before picking up his phone and searching for a nearby kindergarten. Then, Gu Xingyi realized that kindergarten enrollment was over. Enrollment stopped in July. Gu Xingyi scratched his head. How can this be done? At that time, he had not yet crossed over. The original owner of that livestock had not considered these problems before. Gu Xingyi could only continue to search online, which kindergartens in the neighborhood were better. In the end, Gu Xingyi chose a nearby kindergarten named Jianghua, which had a high rating and a good reputation online, especially from the parents. With trepidation, Gu Xingyi brought all sorts of materials and led Nai Nai to Jianghua Kindergarten by car. This place is really not far from where they live. By car is only 10 minutes of time. Once off the car, Gu Xingyi winds up asking the security guard in front of the door, and smoothly came to Jianghua Kindergarten's enrollment office. There were only 2 female office workers aged around 40 sitting in the office chatting. Gu Xingyi knocked on the door, and they both turned their heads at the same time to look at Gu Xingyi at the front door. One of them immediately stood up and politely inquired, "Hello, what can I do for you?" The other stared at Gu Xingyi's face and frowned slightly. She always felt how this man was somewhat familiar, but she couldn't recall who it was. Little Nai Nai was still a bit scared at the moment, hugging Gu Xingyi's thigh and hiding behind him. Gu Xingyi also responded politely, with a somewhat embarrassed look on his face. "Hello, it's like this, I forgot to enroll my child in kindergarten in June due to a momentary oversight. She's already 3 years old this year. Do you see that there are still spots on your school side?" The woman who stood up shook her head. She had seen this kind of careless parents many times. Not to mention kindergartens like Jianghua Kindergarten, which had a very good reputation. Nowadays, I'm afraid that even the average kindergarten wouldn't have any more spots, although every kindergarten would reserve a few specific spots for emergencies. But she could tell that Gu Xingyi obviously wasn't one of them. "I'm sorry, sir. We have a full quota here," she said to Gu Xingyi with a slight expression of regret. Gu Xingyi was a little disappointed when he heard this, and behind him, little Nai Nai also poked her little head out at this time, her big eyes looking around in confusion. She had only seen this place on TV and was very curious about everything here. "Xingyao. You are little Princess Xingyao, aren't you?"
The staff member sitting there suddenly voiced out when she saw little Nai Nai, the excitement in her tone overflowing. She had just seen Gu Xingyao and thought she looked familiar but couldn't recall, but when she saw Nai Nai, she immediately recognized her. She had a son, and both she and her son were fans of Nai Nai, and she was a fan of Nai Nai's mom. The staff member standing froze when she heard this and muttered under her breath, "Xing, Star Yao?" Then she turned her gaze to the tiny Nai Nai, and her eyes also glowed steeply. As moms they weren't familiar with Gu Xingyi, but they were too familiar with Gu Xingyao. "It's really little Princess Xingyao. My precious baby. Wow, it's just like online, so cute." Gu Xingyi was also taken aback by this sudden reaction from the two. He scratched his head, so it turned out that both of them were Nai Nai's fans. For Nai Nai's mom fans online, Gu Xingyi still knew more about them. They all called Nai Nai as little Princess Xingyao. When Nai Nai saw the two men looking at her with glowing eyes and calling her name, she first timidly looked at Gu Xingyi, and after receiving Gu Xingyi's eyes of encouragement, she finally stepped out from behind Gu Xingyi. "Hey, hello ants." This was what Gu Xingyi usually taught her, to greet people when she saw them. "You. Hello, quickly let me touch. Wow wow wow. I've actually met the real little Princess Xingyao, so happy." Both of them squatted down, one stroking Nai Nai's hair and the other pinching Nai Nai's little face, causing Nai Nai to wrinkle her pretty little eyebrows. At this time one of them suddenly looked up. "Hello, Mr. Gu, can you wait here for a moment? I'll give our headmaster a call to inquire, and I think our headmaster will be happy to accept Gu Xingyao to attend our school." There was such a good thing? Gu Xingyao hurriedly nodded his head, and he couldn't help but feel a little emotional, so Nai Nai was so powerful that her mom's fans were even more enthusiastic than normal celebrities' fans. So next, one staff member hurriedly went to the side and dialed up the head gardener's phone number, while the other remained coaxing Nai Nai, simply in love with her. Gu Xingyi, on the other hand, became a complete outsider. Not long after, that staff member finished the call and came over with a happy face. "Mr. Gu, you have all the information with you, right? I'll help you enter the quota now. Thanks. Trouble." Gu Xingyi nodded his head busily and said thank you, handing her all the information in his hand. He had searched online before he came to find out exactly what information was needed. The quota was quickly entered successfully. The staff returned all the information to Gu Xingyi, then rubbed little Nai Nai's little head and said, "Well, the registration has been successful, Mr. Gu. The following to pay attention to keep the phone open. Our teachers will find time to go to the home visit, recognize the child, and convenient to understand the child's situation, Mr. Gu. Patiently wait on it. In addition, our school's opening time is September 1st, Mr. Gu. Must not forget this time." Gu Xingyi took the information and was busy shaking her hand again. Good. It's really troublesome for you. I'll pay attention." With everything taken care of, Gu Xingyi then left with Nai Nai under the reluctant gazes of the two staff members. After leaving the door of the kindergarten, Gu Xingyi breathed a sigh of relief. His intention was to give it a try, but he didn't expect it to really work out. And kindergarten enrollment before even half to home visits, this is Gu Xingyi did not know before. Gu Xingyi was a little nervous at the thought of this, first-time father, the child's first teacher to come to the home visit. He was a little numbclaws. However, this is all a must for parents. Gu Xingyi could only force down the tension in his heart, and brought Nai Nai back home. Nowadays, Gu Xingyi had a lot of tasks, the things that Nai Nai needed to prepare for kindergarten, the song for Xia Shiyao's next match, the complete title of the anime that Chen Feng needed. All of these needed him to prepare, sparing Gu Xingyi, who had traveled over, a bit of a headache. Gu Xingyi was busy in a frenzy, but fortunately, everything was still going well. And at this moment, Magic City. The sky was pattering with light rain. In the Sea Moon Hotel, Yin Ping was having a meal with a woman dressed in fashion. This woman had long hair with big waves, and at this moment, she was very ladylike as she shook the red wine in her cup, took a small sip, and gently placed it on the table again. "Minister Yin, it's thanks to your promotion that I was able to fire in the first place, but this matter you're talking about now is not a good thing to do." Although she was already around 30 years old, when her voice came out, it had a sweetness to the point of being cloying. However, Yin Ping obviously liked this kind of whiny voice of hers, and even the eyes that looked at her had an appreciative light in them. Xiao, don't worry, I've already greeted Wang Bing. If Xia Shiyao's next match is really Chang Di, he'll vote for Chang Di. Together with your vote, we're in the clear." Yin Ping looked like he was confident. He was even a little smug in his heart. A wage earner would always be a wage earner. How could he fight against a capital like him? The Star Song summary had a total of 4 judges and mentors. He had already convinced 2 of them. Now as long as Ran Xiao agreed, Xia Shiyao would definitely lose the next match. Ran Xiao narrowed her phoenix eyes when she saw Yin Ping's gesture. "Oh, even if you convince Wang Bing, together with my vote, it's only 2 votes, how can you say it's stable?" Yin Ping still had a smile on his face as he held up the gold-framed glasses on the bridge of his nose.
What if I add Xue Xiaoqian's one vote? Xue Xiaoqian? That upright man? How could that be?
Ran Xiaoxiao frowned. If she said someone else, she might still believe it, but when it came to Xue Xiaoqian, she would never believe it. Yin Ping smiled mysteriously, poured Ran Xiaoxiao another glass of wine and snorted. There's nothing impossible, you don't need to care about that, you just need to say whether you're helping me or not. Ran Xiaoxiao thought for a moment, looking at Yin Ping's look of determination, she lifted the cup up again, and after taking a gentle sip, she said to Yin Ping, "Cheers."
Yin Ping's face immediately opened up with a smile.
"Cheers." After a meal, Yin Ping reluctantly sent Ran Xiaoxiao to the car and watched her go far away. She was also a popular actress now, and could no longer be manipulated at will like before, which made Yin Ping a little slightly lost. However, he soon covered up the loss and a smile spread back on his face. Nowadays, of the 4 mentors in Star Song Exchange, 3 of them he had already gotten through to. If Xia Shiyao met Cheng Di, what would she win with?
Do you really think that the water in the entertainment industry is that clean? Naive.
Moreover, he also invited Wu Fan, the godfather of music, to write a song for Cheng Di. There was no fear that the audience wouldn't buy it when the time came. As for Wu Fan losing to Gu Xingyi last time, he didn't care in the slightest. Wu Fan had personally assured him that the song would be good this time, and that it was purely because Lu Qian was useless last time.
It didn't have much to do with Wu Fan.
All the people and things were taken care of smoothly. Yin Ping proudly got into the car and drove towards Soundsea Entertainment. Of course Gu Xingyi didn't know about these things. He was currently checking the internet for manga titles to write about while writing the plot of one man's life in a thick notebook. Even though he had a deep memory of the anime, he still felt tough when it came to writing it. The descriptions and transitions of the scenes that were the most difficult for him, as well as the characters' personalities and dialogues, he had to rack his brain to pick out a little bit. This was exceptionally tough for him who wasn't a writing major. Even for a supporting character, he had to think for quite a while before he could use words to portray him out, but this was also much faster than the average person. Knowing the average person, it would take at least years and years to get him to write about a subject. Building something from nothing and standing on the shoulders of giants were 2 entirely different things. And this wasn't a rush. He'd have to write it and have a manga artist draw it again before it could be made into an anime. With his current speed, he believed that in a month at the latest, he would be able to narrate the first season of One Man's World in its entirety. As for Xia Shiyao's song, he also already had an idea. It was a song that suddenly came to his mind when he was playing a video with Xia Shiyao today, a song specifically written for long-distance relationships. Gu Xingyi knew that as the match progressed, it would get tougher and tougher at the back, and he was afraid that he would lose miserably if he didn't come up with some king bombs. The main thing was that Xia Shiyao's base was too small. Unlike other famous singers, her fans had already taken shape and would only grow. Compared to other singers, Xia Shiyao's road to fame is short, more controversy, less fixed powder, which is also her disadvantage. The only way to make up for this disadvantage is to continue to come up with good works. Busy until the evening, Gu Xingyi put little Nai Nai to sleep before he came back to the living room and sat at the table. He laid the songwriting paper flat and didn't write immediately, but instead silently beat the beat and hummed it in a small voice first. This song wasn't just the lyrics that were unrivaled, the most important thing was the tune of the song, and its intro. Only after humming it once did Gu Xingyi put pen to paper, writing down the tune in its entirety, then labeling all the instruments used in it. When the pen was down and the song was complete, Gu Xingyi picked up the piece of paper and read it again before a smile hung on his face. This prelude. It's fucking unbeatable. 3 days passed very quickly. In these days Gu Xingyi had immersed himself in the creation of One Person Below. Except for the song he wrote for Xia Shiyao, he felt that he must have O Chen Feng in his past life, or else he would have been more tired of writing anime for this than writing a song for Xia Shiyao. But fortunately, Gu Xingyi was getting more skillful the more he wrote, and now he didn't even need to deliberately focus on the layout, he could smoothly write the format all right. It was true what they say, where there's a will there's a way, there's nothing that hard work can't solve. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Gu Xingyi brought little Nai Nai and sat on the sofa on time, casting his cell phone and watching the live broadcast in real time. Today is the 3rd installment of the Star Song Exchange. For Into 2, he has been a little impatient to hear that song from Xia Shiyao's mouth. How amazing it is.
Magic City Stadium.
Xia Shiyao was already on the stage, and it was time to draw lots. Only this time, before the draw, the program group even added a contestant interaction session. The host was still Chen Shuer, who was dressed in a dressy outfit, and as if she had mastered the traffic code, she came up and took the lead in interacting with Xia Shiyao. Contestant Xia Shiyao, may I ask if your song this time is still composed by Gu Xingyi? With a smile on her face, Xia Shiyao gently nodded her head and gave an affirmative answer.
Yes. Chen Shuer smiled faintly with a look of anticipation, and immediately followed up with a question. Can you tell us what the name of the song is this time? And also for the draw this time, who do you hope to draw the most? Kill and punish. Gu Xingyi saw this. Straight away, he called out that this is more than unsuspicious. Asking like this, no matter which one Xia Shiyao answered, the other party would feel slighted, right? At this moment, even the pop-ups in the live broadcast room began to spit. Holy shit! The host is trying to mess things up. What are you afraid of? There's strength that isn't afraid of messing things up. I'm sure Gu Xingyi that song, which one isn't a classic? Right. I've listened to a few of the songs, so good melodies and lyrics, simply awesome. It feels like Xia Shiyao doesn't panic when she meets anyone. Alas! The songs are good, but I just don't know when they'll be online. I've listened to it over and over again with full lossy sound quality. It's too hard. Didn't you say you'd go online after the competition? The first album. I'll definitely buy it. No more. No more talking. It's all the same. Let's see how Xia Shiyao answers. And on the scene, Xia Shiyao still had a smile on her face. She simply thought for a moment before answering directly. I won't say the song title, you guys will see for yourselves later. The people I wanted to draw the most I didn't think about. Hey, I think they're all very strong. No matter who I draw, I'll give it my all. In front of the TV, Gu Xingyi heard Xia Shiyao's answer and smiled as well. Xia Shiyao answered politely and skillfully so as not to offend anyone but also to show that she would try her best. Chen Shuer didn't ask anything. Her face looked a bit disappointed, but she quickly adjusted and continued to ask some small questions, which were all answered by Xia Shiyao one by one. After that, Chen Shuer interacted with a few other contestants for a bit before starting the official draw. Backstage Rin Chao, see online real-time traffic data, happy, like this kind of competition, after a few periods of traffic will always slowly go down. The main each phase is basically the same, not much innovation, completely rely on the singer's song to support. After a long time, the audience will naturally lose. But the star song we now are the third period, the data flow is even a period than a high. This is Gu Xingyi and Xia Shiyao brought the heat, each period a famous song. The gods came to the top cannot be wow. At this time on the stage, the drawing of lots had already ended, and Xia Shiyao's opponent for today's match had already been determined. It was Cheng Di. Cheng Di looked at Xia Shiyao's absolutely beautiful side face. Her mood was a little nervous and excited. She didn't know what song Gu Xingyi had written for Xia Shiyao this time, but she could guess that the song written by her idol was definitely better than the one she had in her hands. But she would still give it her all as well, and she would be happy to be able to compete with Xia Shiyao on the same stage, even if she lost. Losing to Gu Xingyi's song was not a loss. And to hear another good song, it would be great. Next, the four mentors, Gao Yu, Ran Xiaoxiao, Shui Xiaoqian, and Wang Bing, sang each other's famous songs and took the stage in turn under the attention of the crowd. The atmosphere at the venue was also lit up. After all, these veteran singers have countless amounts of traffic from their own fans. In this installment, Xia Shiyao and Cheng Di were the second match. The first match was between Miao Anquan and Wang Chen. Miao Anjuan sang a passionate love song, and is dancing while singing. The opening is warm and extraordinary, really is the new generation of the popular Little Flower. The strength, even Gu Xingyi are secretly smacked. The four contestants who were able to kill their way out of the competition, there really wasn't a single one of them who was a flamboyant player. Although Miao Anjuan sang well, Gu Xingyi still felt that his own Xia Shiyao was the eternal god. The next Wang Chen, he brought a rock song, heartbreaking music accompanied by Wang Chen's husky unique voice, another ruthless character. Even the audience was driven to sway their bodies. At the end of the first set, Gao Yu and Wang Bing's votes went to Wang Chen, while Ran Xiaoxiao and Shui Xiaoqian's votes went to Miao Anjuan. Both songs were good and they sang them very well. It's just that the mentors like different genres and everyone has a different understanding, so the votes achieved a tie. The final vote was decided by the audience, and in the end it was Miao Anjuan who won slightly, taking the final vote from the audience. On the one hand, Miao Anquan has a much larger fan base, and on the other hand, rock music really doesn't have a large audience, and for the average viewer, love songs are really easier to get into their hearts. Miao Anquan and Wang Chen slowly retreated from the stage. The host, Chen Shuer, came on stage immediately afterward with a microphone. Next up is our final group of contestants today, and also our competition for the biggest popularity king of this year's Star Song Exchange. Let's first welcome contestant Xia Shi. Chen Shuer said enthusiastically as Xia Shiyao slowly walked from the backstage. Today she was dressed plainly like a white-collar worker who had just gotten off work, a white body t-shirt paired with blue jeans, and wearing light makeup. Just this simple dress makes her more real than the previous two times, giving the audience the feeling that she seems to have walked into the world. Plain is true, more apparent proximity. This scene is still by Xia Shiyao first on stage to sing.
The host also retired at this time. The stage darkened, only a beam of light hit Xia Shuriyao's body. The music started, and on the big screen at the back, the title of the song slowly appeared. Flower C. Lyrics composed by Gu Xingyi. Performed by Xia Shuriyao. The audience was drawn in by the intro before they even saw the song title.
In front of the TV, Gu Xingyi's face was even more mesmerized. This intro is indeed unbeatable. One must know that this was old Zhou's song.
As we all know, those songs of old Zhou's, the intro is basically unbeatable. As soon as the prelude sounded, it could completely bring people into the world of music. On the stage, the program group rarely used special effects. A sea of flowers bloomed open, and Xia Shuriyao was just bathed in a sea of flowers, walking slowly. Seeing this scene, the audience, however, closed their eyes at this time. Following the music, it was as if they could feel themselves in the sea of flowers under the sun, their bodies and minds soothed. None of them marveled in their hearts.
Gu Xingyi This time, the song's prelude alone made them sink.
They didn't even need to think about the lyrics of the next song. Just this intro had already defeated the two songs from the previous competition. Xia Shuriyao blinked her eyelashes lightly. Her hand holding the microphone was a bit nervous. This time, the song was harder than the previous ones. She had practiced for a long time, and in her heart, the song, it was better than the previous ones. She didn't even know how Gu Xingyi's brain grew to be able to write such a song. She could only do her best to live up to this song. Xia Shuriyao fixed her heart and spoke softly.
Stilled, all the blossoms. Distant, clear love. The sky is depressed, but love loves it.
At that time, I didn't understand this is called love. The voice was soft, and all the audience with their eyes closed fell deeper into the world of music at this instant when the lyrics rang out, their hearts softly filled with a faint sadness and joy.
Sadness was the melody, joy was the memories, contradictory and not contradictory. You like, standing on that windowsill. It's been a long time since you've been here again.
Colored time stained blank, is the tears you shed haloed. The hearts of the audience suddenly trembled as they heard this. The sea of flowers in their hearts suddenly went blank, and in the haze, a light rain fell from the sky.
Everyone was bathed in this fine rain, waiting for the ending to come.
Xia Shuriyao on the stage, at this time, her eyes suddenly firm, picking up the microphone, her gaze as if through time and space, saw Gu Xingyi's figure.
Her song came out with it. Don't want you to leave, the distance can't separate you. Thoughts turn into a sea, outside the window can't enter.
Forgive for saying it too fast, love becomes a hindrance, the kite in your hand is flown too fast to come back. Xia Shuriyao's footsteps gently stepped forward with every line she sang, and her voice seemed to penetrate space and time, entering the hearts of the audience, and even more so, Gu Xingyi's heart. Gu Xingyi looked at Xia Shuriyao who walked step by step to the front of the stage, her eyes full of tenderness. The mentors were also all composed at this time, not even daring to breathe loudly. Especially Ran Xiaoxiao, she felt like she wasn't wrong about this song. If she didn't vote, she would be scolded to death. This kind of divine song was one of the best songs without a doubt, she felt, up until now. Xia Shuriyao was still singing, her hands slowly reaching out and waving. The audience at the scene also opened their eyes at this time, waving along. They heard this and had been shocked to the point of opening their eyes. Their eyes were all filled with Xia Shuriyao who was waving her small hand on stage. Backstage Ren Chao was even pressing his heart to prevent it from suddenly jumping out.
What is this a competition? This is a solo concert. Pure solo show. Don't want you to leave, memories can't be scratched. Oh you favor, I'm waiting for a do-over. The sky still shines, it loves the sea. Love songs are defeated, love no longer exists. Perfectly wrapping up, Xia Shuriyao gave the song its soul in this world. Gu Xingyi couldn't help but lift little Nine Eyes' palm and clap it. Xia Shuriyao's singing was fantastic. Old Zhou can also be relieved now, right?
He himself didn't let his song be buried in this world.
The accompaniment in the song gradually ended. Xia Shuriyao gently exhaled a breath. Her face was a bit flushed. She had just been brought into the song without realizing it too. She even waved her hands. Just very shy.
Warm applause erupted from the scene, one after another, as if it would never stop, more enthusiastic and long-lasting than any of the previous performances.
This was the audience's affirmation of the song Sea of Flowers.
Especially in the live broadcast, Gu Xingyi wanted to turn off the pop-ups, but he couldn't. These then were praising himself and his wife. I've never heard such a good song. Especially the intro.
Seal the deal. As soon as the intro of this song came on, I got pulled in ugh. First time I've ever had that feeling. It's amazing. The lyrics are great too. Just speechless. Another full lossy sound quality for looping recordings? Woohoo! When will the copyright registration go live? This heck. Starry Yao's songs are more seductive than the others, I'm convinced. We still have to wait for the Star Song Festival to end before the album will be released. I can't wait any longer. Let's hurry up and finish the Star Song Festival.
Upstairs.
Can't be.
Think about how many more songs Starry Yao will come up with next, just bear with it.
I can. That seems right.
The mentors on stage, especially Shui Xiaoqian, was also covering his heart at this moment. His heart ached as he couldn't cast his vote for the song.
It's a pity that he came here with a mission. How come this kind of thing against his conscience is his turn? Hard to bear. Want to cry.
As for Chang Di in the background, he had long turned starry-eyed at this moment.
Sure enough, it's Gu Xingyi, and this song is too awesome. Right. And Xia Shuriyao sang it so well. Woohoo! From now on, these two would be her idols. A song that successfully conquered Chang Di's ears. Chang Di already liked Gu Xingyi's songs, and now even Xia Shuriyao, who was singing, she was a fan. She felt that her song was not even half as good as Sea of Flowers. On that also that who still calls himself the godfather of music. Chang Di didn't really like Wu Fan's song before. If it wasn't for Yin Ping's strong request, she wouldn't have chosen this song.
Xia Shuriyao had already walked off the stage at this time and came face to face with Chang Di. The two of them nodded at each other in a friendly manner, and even Xia Shuriyao raised a small fist in a cheering gesture.
Chang Di instantly liked Xia Shuriyao even more.
The two of them smiled at each other. The host's voice on stage sounded again. It was Chang Di's turn to come on. Chang Di sang still a small sweet song, with her sweet voice, while Xia Shuriyao's last song brought a little bit of light sadness or washed away, this kind of sweetheart girl, deeply the majority of male netizens love. When the song ended, the audience also applauded, but the applause was obviously not as warm as when Xia Shuriyao sang Sea of Flowers. This kind of song for the audience has been a little flat, namely Gu Xingyi that then pulled up their level of appreciation, and even the entire Chinese music scene level are pulled up more than a chip. If it had been in the past, this song would have completely taken the country by storm, but unfortunately, now it was just a brother and a brother. When it came to the voting session, the first mentor to vote was Gao Yu, who first commented on the two songs, then unsurprisingly voted for Xia Shuriyao. After that it was time for Shui Xiaoqian, only to see Shui Xiaoqian in a difficult situation. He praised Xia Shuriyao's song in a very high profile, but when it came to voting, he voted for Chang Di. All the audience smiled. This was obviously a friendly vote. Just like last time, Xiao Fei Bai similarly received a friendship vote. However, what happened next was out of their expectation, out of Shui Xiaoqian's expectation, and out of Chang Di's expectation. No one had expected that Wang Bing, his vote had also gone to Chang Di. Shui Xiaoqian's face became more and more ironic. Chang Di's eyes unconsciously widened. This time, the scene all instantly quieted down, and everyone looked at the last tutor, Ran Xiaoxiao. This vote of hers became a crucial one. Ran Xiaoxiao instantly became the center of attention in the room, and she had long cursed Yin Ping 1,000 times inside. If the gap between the songs wasn't too big, she would still be able to round it up a bit, but now this situation was undoubtedly pushing her into the fireplace. She was a little hesitant for a moment, and her heart was struggling even more to the point of no return. This step, once she took the wrong one, what she faced later on could be the loss of her persona and all sorts of controversies, and she weighed the pros and cons quickly within her heart. The audience had already held their breath, and the scene had become a pin drop. No one had expected that things would develop into this. As for the audience in the live broadcast room, they were not spoiled at all, and one by one, the pop-ups had long been flying. Crap! What the hell? I can still understand Shui Xiaoqian's vote as a friendly vote. What's the situation with Wang Bing? Are you blind? Nope. Deaf? Can't you tell if it's good or bad? Is this a veteran top-rated singer? Shady. I can't believe it. Are the judges out of their minds? Or do they think we have IQ problems? There's obviously something wrong with this vote. Let's see. Take it easy. Isn't there still one more vote? If it's a tie, the audience's vote will definitely go to Xia Shuriyao, and she'll still win. I feel that even if I go up there, I'm better than this judge. If Xia Shuriyao is really eliminated, I'll directly transform into a Land Key Immortal. Shit. I'm still waiting for Xia Shuriyao's later songs. Not only the netizens exploded, Gu Xingyi in front of the TV set, even more narrowed his eyes. He now does not care about how the votes, fools can also see that there are problems. He is now only concerned about Xia Shuriyao. At this time, the camera just gave the two people on the stage. Chang Di's eyes were wide open, full of unbelievable look. As for Xia Shuriyao, Gu Xingyi was relieved to see that she didn't seem to feel lost because of the number of votes given by the judges. Xia Shuriyao was actually still a bit lost in her heart. But the reason she was lost was because she felt that Gu Xingyi's Sea of Flowers was really good, and it seemed like she was going to fail the song. And at this moment in the backstage guide room, the program director Rin Chao had long been furious and slapped the table with a clang. What do they mean? How dare they? He asked the assistant on the side like this. The assistant smiled bitterly and didn't say anything. He didn't know either. Ren Xiao's eyes were glowing with hostility. This was someone trying to smash his job.
The program had such an abnormal situation, and he, a director, didn't even know about it? The audience wouldn't think so.
The audience would only think that it was the program's team that had done something shady.
By then, he, as a director, would be sprayed as a fool.
Ren Xiao thought about it and got angrier and angrier. He must find out the black hand behind the scenes.
He must find out who was behind this. He ate the bear's heart and leopard's gall. But at this moment, he could only pin his hopes on Ren Xiao.
The whole audience is watching, and that's what this moment is all about. Ren Xiao vaguely felt that she had returned to her heyday, and that the audience on and off the stage was looking at her the same way. Seeing this scene, her heart surged, and she already had an idea in her heart. If you can be red again because of this, even if it's black-red, it's still traffic Anyway, even if things blow up later, she could shift all the blame to Ying Ping, and it wasn't like she was the only one.
Xue Xiaoqian and Wang Bing didn't similarly vote.
Making up her mind, Ren Xiao opened her mouth slightly. Her voice was not loud but deafening. I'm sorry, Xia Shiyao, I prefer Cheng Di's song, therefore, this vote of mine goes to Cheng Di.
Groove.
Ren Xiao, the director in the guide room, after hearing Ren Xiao's words, only felt his eyes go black, and the water cup in his hand was dropped on the ground in response, spilling the water in the cup all over the ground. The assistant beside him was trembling in fear, even the entire guide room was quiet. The host Qin Shuer was also a bit confused at the moment. She didn't know how to continue hosting. The votes had already been finalized. Was the next audience vote still meaningful? Moreover, the audience on the scene was obviously a bit agitated. The online curses were even worse for a moment, and the pop-ups completely flooded the screen of the live broadcast room.
I laughed. Really fucking invincible. No one can do anything about it if it's obvious that it's shady? Garbage program group. Garbage program. Garbage mentors. They're all garbage. Shady. Shady.
If this isn't shady, I'll eat 10 pounds.
Don't cheat upstairs. Even a fool can tell this is shady, huh? I've been chasing this for so long. This fucking ticket makes people speechless. I liked Ren Xiao before, I didn't expect it. What a surprise. Why are you just talking about Xiao? Didn't Xue Xiaoqian and Wang Bing also give their votes? It's really exciting. This vote was given, my heart was like a roller coaster, and in the end, it fell off. The internet exploded, either cursing or questioning. The scene was also agitated, many people shouted shady, refund and so on. On the stage, Chen Shuer sighed, now that the facts are like this, she can only announce it. Chen Shuer picked up the microphone, her face put on a professional smile again, but this smile is more or less a bit forced. Now that all 4 mentors have given their votes, now Cheng Di. Wait. Chen Shuer's words were suddenly interrupted, and the crowd looked at Xue Xiaoqian and Cheng Di who had spoken. Xue Xiaoqian's face was darkened, while Cheng Di had an anxious look on his face. The guide also had the sense to point the camera at the two, and when Cheng Di saw that Xue Xiaoqian had opened his mouth as well, she nodded, signaling her mentor to speak first. Xue Xiaoqian picked up the microphone, his face heavy. Sorry for interrupting, host, there's a problem with the tickets this time. I'd like to apologize to Xia Shiyao, to the audience, I'm sorry. I got a message from Ying Ping, the operations minister of Soundsea Entertainment earlier, and he told me that Cheng Di and Xia Shiyao belong to the same Soundsea Entertainment, so if the gap between the two sides was too big, he told me to cast a friendly vote for Cheng Di, so as not to make it too ugly for her to lose. But now it's letting Cheng Di advance instead. I feel that I have a responsibility. Today, because of me, it caused Xia Shiyao to be eliminated. I resign from my responsibility as a Starsong exchange mentor. Xue Xiaoqian's words were loud and echoed in the arena. The audience under the stage boiled over. They never expected that it wasn't the program group, but Soundsea Entertainment. They also didn't expect. Xue Xiaoqian was so rigid that he would blow himself up over such an incident. Gu Xingyi in front of the TV saw this familiar scene and raised his eyebrows. This Xue Xiaoqian, he was a bit interesting. His character was on par with old Xue in the original world. On the other hand, Ying Ping, who saw the scene, pushed away the heavily made-up woman in his arms, his hands trembling slightly, his face full of horror. He couldn't believe how Xue Xiaoqian dared. Wasn't he afraid of incurring curses? But at this moment, he could no longer care about Xue Xiaoqian. He knew that this time, he was finished. The woman next to him also knew at this moment that something was wrong. Her voice was trembling a little. Brother Ian, this. Scram. It's all you. If you hadn't been on the side saying that Xia Shiyao had taken your spot and that you wanted to teach her a lesson, could this have happened? It's over. It's all over now. Ying Ping roared, putting all the blame on the woman beside him. He still couldn't believe that Xue Xiaoqian would even jump out and voluntarily admit it after the vote results were out. No way. I can't stand by with my hands tied. Yin Ping wanted to struggle a little more, but at that moment, the phone rang violently, and the name of Chairman Yang Xian was displayed on it.
Yin Ping's eyes were steeply lifeless as he trembled and picked up the phone.
On the phone, Yang Envy's roaring voice rang out. Yin Ping, you get your ass over here right now and explain yourself.
Chang Di on the stage was dumbfounded. Although she didn't know the specifics, she could sense that the vote was wrong. She had wanted to shout out that she was abstaining from voting, but Xue Xiaoxian's words made her completely dumbfounded. She never expected that the originator behind this matter was actually her uncle. Her lips trembled twice, but she still couldn't say anything. Now what is the truth is no longer important. Her uncle did things, and what difference between what she did, even if to explain, probably no one will believe. At this time, the internet had already exploded. Just after Xue Xiaoxian finished his sentence, Weibo, Douyin was all about the hot searches of this incident. Ren Xiao couldn't have imagined that the traffic explosion he was expecting would be in this way. Countless crowds swooped into the major live broadcasting rooms like waves, most of them rushing in search of the hot searches. In an instant, the amount of pop-ups in the live broadcast rooms doubled several times from before.
Seeking hot searches. I heard there are shady practices. Xue Xiaoqian's character can still be guaranteed. Those two just don't know what kind of goods they are. Xia Shuriyao. Let's not compare. Let Guxingyi write you a few more songs. Let's go play on our own. Go online to Huayin. We'll buy the album. In full view of everyone. How dare you play this game? Do you think the audience is stupid? A weak word. Chang Di's singing is really quite good. No one is saying she can't sing well. The key is to compare. No comparison, no harm. Understand? I just want to know if Chang Di knows about this. I liked her before. She's a sweet girl. How could he not know?
It's all shady just to let her win. I'll eat 10 pounds live if the person in question doesn't know.
Another cheat to eat and drink. Just Chang Di not also shouted, wait a minute? Do not understand. Genuinely do not understand. It's all one company. Why do we have to do this?
The netizens were heatedly discussing, even the scene was noisy and they were whispering. How well Xia Shuriyao sang, how good the song was, they all knew it in their hearts, they didn't expect this to happen, it was too much. The only calm one in the scene was Gao Yu. He looked at Wang Bing and Ran Xiaoxiao who were ironing their faces with interest and snorted. These two people were really out of their minds. For the sake of a Yin Ping, they did such a stupid thing. He didn't know that Wang Bing was on the verge of cursing Yin Ping and Ran Xiaoxiao at the moment. He had received benefits from Yin Ping to vote for Chang Di, and he had hesitated when he had just voted. He just couldn't afford to give up those benefits, and there was still a Ran Xiaoxiao behind him. He thought that even if he voted for Chang Di, Ran Xiaoxiao would only need to vote for Xia Shuriyao, and in the end the result would still be Xia Shuriyao's victory, and then everything would be fine. After all, he didn't believe Ran Xiaoxiao would vote for Chang Di in that situation. However, no one expected that Ran Xiaoxiao would suddenly get carried away and would really give Chang Di another vote. Ran Xiaoxiao was even more completely flustered. She originally wanted to use this to gain some attention and conversation, and then afterwards she would sell herself short and blame it on Yin Ping. But after Xue Xiaoxian messed up like this, she was the last person to vote, and the traffic was gone. The reputation was also completely finished. Xue Xiaoxian could still say that he did it because of the friendship votes, but she was the last one to vote, so there was absolutely no way to wash her hands of it. Ran Xiaoxiao's state of mind completely collapsed. The host Qin Shuer is completely embarrassed in place. She has been engaged in hosting for so many years, but this is the first time she has seen this kind of situation. Even though she is experienced, at this time, she does not know how to round off the scene. Ren Chao is also suffering from a headache right now. This vote has been cast. How can we do it now? Can't it be that the previous ones don't count and we can vote again? But it seems like this is the only way now. It's hard to deal with. This kind of broadcasting accident was too much of a headache. If Yin Ping were here right now, Ren Chao would want to strangle him directly. Ren Chao had no choice but to sigh and prepare to personally step in to resolve this matter. Unexpectedly, at this time, Chang Di suddenly opened her mouth. She held the microphone, her eyes were lifeless, but her voice was loud. I'm abstaining. She knew that the program group must be having a headache right now, and that the only best solution was for her to come forward herself. Whether it's Xia Shuriyao's performance, or the song Sea of Flowers, both are too much better than mine. I'm equally unconvinced about the voting results, so I choose to abstain. The one who advances this time should be Xia Shuriyao. She deserves it. Chang Di spoke. She didn't explain about Yin Ping, she just stated her thoughts. The audience in the arena once again exchanged words, and the netizens online, too, were all talking. They didn't know if Chang Di's words were out of sincerity or because of pressure, and for a while, the internet was also a mess of noise. Various hot search topics still continue. This 10 minutes time, the previous things have been on the top 10 hot searches, and now Chengdi's speech is followed by the hot searches. Hot search 50, now basically all of them were the events of this year's Star Song Exchange. Right at this moment, Xia Shuriyao moved. She had been very subdued from the start of the voting, but now she pursed her lips and walked over to Chengdi, pulling her small hand. "You're good." The voice was not loud, only Chengdi could hear it. However, her actions made everyone understand that Xia Shuriyao, she and Chengdi were on good terms.
So Chengdi should not know anything about this matter either?
Otherwise, how could Xia Shuriyao have this kind of attitude?
The netizens thought about it carefully.
After the voting ended, Chengdi was standing out with Shui Xiaoqian, only for her to let Shui Xiaoqian speak first before she had a chance to speak.
What she should have wanted to say at that time was to abstain from voting, right?
The online clamor also stopped because of Xia Shuriyao's movements. Holding Xia Shuriyao's warm and soft hand, Chengdi turned her head, then she saw Xia Shuriyao's sincere gaze. At this moment she suddenly wanted to cry a little. Not to blame herself, but to feel happy that she could like such a person. She was really worth it. Chengdi thought like this. She decided to go back, let her mom give her uncle a good cleaning and then ground him at home. It was too hard for her to have such an uncaring uncle. Ran Xiao also walked onto the stage at this time. He was quite grateful to Chengdi, because Chengdi's initiative to abstain saved him a lot of things. He took the microphone from the host. "Hello everyone. I'm the General Director of Starsong Exchange, Ran Xiao, and I'm very saddened by the fact that such a thing happened on our Starsong Exchange stage. And also very remorseful. Xia Shuriyao's strength is obvious to all, and I won't allow her to quit the stage due to something like this. But luckily, Tutor Shui Xiaoqian and contestant Chengdi came forward at the end and gave us the truth. Now I hereby announce that I am removing Wang Bing and Ran Xiaoxiao's votes, as well as terminating their contracts.
They will not be employed from now on. Also, this match is now reopened for voting.
We, Starsong Exchange, will never allow any injustice to exist." After Ran Xiao finished speaking, he bowed deeply to the audience before retreating from the stage. The host took over and the voting resumed, only this time, Wang Bing and Ran Xiaoxiao were sitting on pins and needles in the mentor's seat. The result of the revote was clear. Xia Shuriyao advanced successfully. Ran Xiao breathed a sigh of relief. Next he had to invite 2 more mentors to come. Luckily for Wang Bing and Ran Xiaoxiao it was they themselves who broke the contract, so naturally he didn't have to bother much on this matter. The one-wave match ended, but the online verbal attacks had just begun. Angry netizens directly found Ran Xiaoxiao and Wang Bing's entertainment company's Roundup blog, questioning them on how to deal with this kind of unethical entertainer. As for the culprit, Yin Ping, the blog of Sound and Sea Entertainment had been blown up long before. Finally, shortly after the match ended, Sound Sea Entertainment's official Goibo officially responded to the incident and released an apology statement. A letter of apology to the majority of netizens and Xia Shuriyao. Due to a problem with our management system, our former operations director Yin Ping utilized his position to bring serious injustice to our singers Xia Shuriyao in the Starsong Exchange competition.
It also brought bad viewing experience to the general netizens.
After a meeting of the company's board of directors, Yin Ping has been dismissed from his position and will never be rehired. Lastly, we have always adhered to the principle of fairness and impartiality, and we will never be lenient with the people who cheat, so we hope that the majority of netizens will supervise and support us to create a harmonious and stable entertainment situation. Shortly after the Sound and Sea Entertainment statement was issued, Ran Xiaoxiao and Wang Bing's companies also spoke out one after another. The two were greeted with the result of apologizing to the public with Xia Shuriyao and assuring them that similar things would not happen in the future. Once these two statements were issued, everyone knew that the two of them's careers had come to an end. Because of these statements, the heat of this incident slowly calmed down, and the netizens just wanted a result, and now that everyone was happy, they would naturally disperse. It was only after this incident that Sea of Flowers completely caught fire. Even people who didn't pay much attention to Starsong Exchange before knew about this song. In just one night, the airplay of Sea of Flowers surpassed all previous songs, and even The Wind Rises had to settle for second place. On the internet now, Gu Xingyi's few songs were riding high, with the airplay leaving the other songs far behind, bearing in mind that these songs hadn't even made it onto the airplay platform yet, and were still in full lost sound quality. One could imagine how hot these songs would be once Xia Shuriyao went live with her album after the Starsong Festival ended. Currently, Gu Xingyi only had one song, As Long as It's Ordinary, online on Huayin, and it topped Huayin's new songs chart, leaving the other singers with nothing to look forward to. They were all lamenting the fact that someone who wasn't in the entertainment industry had stiffly lifted the Chinese entertainment industry to a height where it didn't belong. Gu Xingyi didn't care at all about the online furor at the moment, as he was facing something that was much more important to him. Little Nai Nai's kindergarten teacher was coming for a home visit. On the first morning of the second day, Gu Xingyi got up early, tidied up the house neatly, and put fresh fruits on the coffee table. For the next 3 years, little Nai Nai would be taught by these two teachers, and Gu Xingyi still attached great importance to this home visit.
At 9 in the morning, Gu Xingyi brought little Nai Nai downstairs on time and waited for the teachers to arrive.
Not long after, two female teachers in uniform came up to the school, and they recognized little Nai Nai waiting downstairs at once. Gu Xingyi had a smile on her face and hurriedly walked up to shake their hands.
Hello, hard work you guys.
The two female teachers were one young, aged around 20 years old, and one older, around 40 years old. Uniformly their demeanor was very decent, and they both wore a very gentle smile on their faces. This kind of smile made people look at them and couldn't stop a feeling of cordiality rising.
Hello, Mr.
Gu, my name is Su Ling, I'm the teacher of the primary 3 class at the Jianghua kindergarten, and I'm a fan of yours. Su Ling, who was relatively young, smiled with 2 dimples showing on her face, and introduced herself to Gu Xingyi with a delighted face.
Another older teacher followed after Su Ling finished. Hello, my name is Lu Dan, I'm also the teacher of the primary 3 class at Jianghua kindergarten, I'm different from Su Ling, I'm a fan of little Nai Nai.
Lu Dan finished, squatted down and rubbed little Nai Nai's hair with a loving face. Little Nai Nai rarely had no fear of being a student, lifting her little face to gaze at this teacher who just seemed so nice. Gu Xingyi scratched his head with a silly smile. Why is this whole thing like a fan meeting? 2 teachers, it's hot here, quickly enter the house. Saying this, Gu Xingyi led little Nai Nai, leading the way for the 2 teachers in front, and the group came to the house. After greeting them and sitting down on the sofa, Su Ling and Lu Dan also took out the notebooks and pens they carried with them, and began to ask about some of little Nai Nai's basic situation. Gu Xingyi sat across from the 2 of them and answered questions like an elementary school student.
Mr. Gu, I don't know who usually brings the children, and who picks them up and drops them off at school.
Su Ling looked at the formal Gu Xingyi and secretly smiled. She didn't expect the famous Gu Xingyi to be this easygoing. The first 2 years Nai Nai was brought up by her mom. Recently her mom has been busy with work. It's me who has been bringing her up, and when it's time to go to school, it'll be me who'll be responsible for picking her up and dropping her off as well.
Gu Xingyi replied with some embarrassment. This full-time baby daddy of his didn't know what the 2 teachers across the street thought?
Su Ling nodded, recording into her book while continuing to ask questions.
There were a whole bunch of questions after that. What does the child usually like to eat? Allergic to what? Favorite cartoons? Favorite toys? Lifestyle? Personality? And so on, a series of questions.
Gu Xingyi answered them all in detail one by one. He was now incredibly impressed with these teachers. They really thought of everything they could think of and recorded it clearly. Knowing that they had to take care of so many children, this would be extremely rare. After asking Gu Xingyi questions, the 2 teachers magically pulled out small gifts they had prepared from their pockets and gave them to Nai Nai. Nai Nai glanced at Gu Xingyi, and only after Gu Xingyi nodded her head did she accept the gifts from the 2 teachers and said thank you. Su Ling and Lu Dan obviously loved little Nai Nai. They squatted down and spoke to Nai Nai. The Nai Nai in their eyes at the moment was well-behaved, polite, and pretty, and it was practically adorable to their hearts. Su Ling and Lu Dan interacted with Nai Nai for a while before sitting down on the sofa again, smiling broadly.
Mr. Gu, I wonder what Nai Nai's usual interests are.
After interacting with Nai Nai for a while, they all knew Nai Nai's nickname as well.
Loves to sing. Nai Nai takes after her mom and is more talented at music, Gu Xingyi said without even thinking.
Nai Nai liked to sing and had a good sense of tone, something he had discovered early on.
Hearing Gu Xingyi's words, a trace of joy crossed the eyes of both Su Ling and Lu Dan. They knew that little Nai Nai sang very well. They didn't realize that the child's hobby was also singing. Children whose hobbies and specialties were the same were the best to nurture. Then can Nai Nai sing a song for the teachers now? Su Ling squatted down, gazed at little Nai Nai, and asked with a smile. Aha!
Little Nai Nai had interacted with the 2 teachers for a while and was already familiar with them, and now that she heard that the teachers wanted to hear her sing, she was busy nodding her little head vigorously. She loved to sing. Whether it's daddy or mommy, singing looks good, and she also wants to look as good as her mommy and daddy. Then, under the watchful eyes of the 3 adults, Nai Nai sang the song of the White Rabbit that Gu Xingyi had taught her in her tender childish voice. The 3 adults were very cooperative as they shook their bodies and gave Nai Nai a beat. Nai Nai sang beautifully, and the brand new children's song was a sight to behold for both Su Ling and Lu Dan. As kindergarten teachers, their judgment of children's songs was quite sharp. If the previous online Nai Nai song Courageous Outburst wasn't suitable for 3-year-olds to sing, then this Little White Rabbit song would undoubtedly be well memorized by the children. The song was short and Nai Nai finished singing it quickly. The 3 of them applauded Nai Nai's performance together, and Nai Nai's big, happy eyes had narrowed into the shape of a crescent moon. She liked kindergarten even more now. Teacher Su and Teacher Lu were both very warm and fuzzy people. After that, Su Ling and Lu Dan chatted with Gu Xingyi for a while. They introduced Gu Xingyi to Jianghua Kindergarten's educational philosophy and educational content. Gu Xingyi listened attentively and nodded from time to time. After chatting, Lu Dan took out a home visit record sheet and asked Gu Xingyi to fill it out and put it away. This home visit was almost over. Su Ling and Lu Dan put away the record sheet, but they did not want to leave, but looked at Gu Xingyi with an embarrassed face.
Gu Xingyi scratched his head and didn't understand why they suddenly looked this way. It was Lu Dan who took the lead to speak. Mr.
Gu, it's like this, September 1st is not the beginning of the school year. Our school has prepared a welcoming assembly. At that time all the parents and the newly enrolled children should attend. The director asked each classroom teacher to prepare 2 children's songs at the welcoming assembly. The site should teach the children's songs and dances. In the past years, we have taught the same 2 songs every year, which were not very good, but also a bit difficult for the children. So many children could not learn them, and we were very embarrassed. This year, Mr. Su and I heard that your child has entered our class, so we would like to prepare 2 more innovative songs and dances.
I wonder if Mr.
Gu could try to compose 2 children's songs for us. Of course, this is just our personal request. If it's difficult, then forget it. Lu Dan finished in one breath with an embarrassed look on her face, and it could be seen that she also said it with a try-and-see attitude. Su Ling, on the other hand, blinked her eyes at the side, looking at Gu Xingyi with some anticipation in her eyes.
Like this, ah?
Of course you can, Miss. Lu don't need to be polite with me. After all, it's all for the sake of the children. After